What if I told you creating a stunning real estate website with WordPress is easier than you think? In this video, you'll learn step by step how to build a site that attracts clients and closes deals. Whether you're a real estate agent, a broker, or a web designer who's building this site for a client, I'm going to show you how to build a beautiful real estate website where you can show off your listings and organize them any way that you want. Now, there's only going to be 2 chapters in this video. I'm going to start by showing you how to build the website, then I'm going to show you how to use the website. Building the website is easy and fun. We're going to be importing a complete website template and then customizing that template with drag and drop. So you don't have to know any coding or have any knowledge in that department. Now, after I show you how to build the website and get it online, I'm going to show you guys how to use the website. And so that's chapter 2. I'll show you how to add listings to your site and how to add things like agents and agencies, as well as property types and so much more. I'll also show you how to create blog posts on your website and how to create cool widgets like a Google Maps widget with pop-ups for each of your listings on the map. After only a few hours of your time, you'll have your own real estate website up and running and ready for you to start closing deals. And the best part is you built it yourself, so you know how to keep it running. So let's get started with the first chapter of this video, which is building your website by signing up for a domain name and some web hosting. In order to get a website up and running and officially online, you have to sign up for 2 different things. And this is non-negotiable. You need a domain name and you need web hosting. Now, a domain name is just the address to your website. So it's where people will go to find your site. And it looks something like yourwebsite.com. Web hosting, on the other hand, is just renting space on a server that's connected to the internet. Now, there's a lot of hosting companies out there and you can choose who is right for you. I personally always recommend Hostinger for all of my followers because they have the most affordable prices and their service is absolutely top tier. I could go into all of the specific reasons why I personally love them, but I don't want to waste your time, so you can just take my word for it. They're a wonderful company to partner with, so that's who I'm going to be using for today's example. Now, I'm going to make this very easy for you to follow along. Just click on the first link that's down in the description, or you can go to createaprowebsite.com/hostinger, and you'll be met with a page that looks like this. When you scroll down, you'll be met with 3 available options for your hosting plan. I always recommend the business plan because of all of the amazing features that you get included with the affordable price. From here, you get to choose your period, basically how often you're going to make payments. I'm going to select every 12 months and then scroll on down. Afterwards, you'll want to create your Hostinger account and then fill out your billing information down below with your credit card. After signing up for your hosting plan and filling out your billing information, you'll be met with the onboarding screen. Next, you'll want to select I'll create a website and then select WordPress in the next option. Next, we get to create our login for our WordPress account. And then after that, we get to choose what type of website we're going to build. Now, I'm personally going to select the business and services website and then just move on. Next, it's going to ask if you want to download any pre-built templates, which I'm going to show you guys how to do in the next step because we do need a template to save time, but it's specific to the listing software that we're going to use. So just click on create a blank site. After that, you get to choose which plugins are installed by default onto your website. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck these 3 and then click next. You can also skip the AI content and then we get to choose our domain name, which is included in our hosting plan. I always recommend a .com because they're very common and professional looking. Click on finish registration and you'll be taken to your Hostinger H panel. All you need to do is click on the admin panel and you'll be taken to your WordPress dashboard. Now that you have your domain name and web hosting set up, it's time to install the listing software that we're gonna be using for the entire website. It's a WordPress theme called Houzez. On a new tab, go ahead and search for the Houzez theme. Go ahead and click on their website and then click Buy Houzez. Now, for $69, you get lifetime access to the Houzez theme, so this is really nice. Go ahead and create an account with Envato Market right here, and then fill out your billing information as well. Once you're finished checking out, you'll be able to click on the download button right here, and you'll see that I just downloaded the theme to my computer. Now, there's one more thing that we need to download from this website before we can go back to ours. From the purchase confirmation page that we're on right now, go ahead and click on the downloads page right here, and then click on the downloadable dropdown. Make sure you select license certificate and purchase code text file. Download it to your computer. Now we can finally jump back into our WordPress dashboard. From here, we can hover our mouse over the Appearance tab on the left-hand side and click on Themes. Next, click on Add New in the top left corner, and then also click on Upload Theme. From here, we're just going to upload that zip file that we just downloaded from Envato Market. Once you uploaded it, click on Activate. Now you can see that the new theme is active on your website. Next, we need to enter in our purchase code right here, which is that text file that we downloaded along with the theme. Open the text file from your computer and find the purchase code. Mine is right here, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it. Once you click Verify, you'll be able to see this little thanks for verifying message at the top of your screen. All right, so now that we have the Houzez theme installed, you might have noticed that either you're receiving a critical error in your Hostinger H panel or you aren't able to view your website at all, and that's perfectly fine. We need to adjust for a few basic server settings and install necessary plugins, and all of those problems are going to be fixing themselves. First, let's talk about the server settings. So if you go up to the search bar on a new tab and just search for the Houzez theme PHP settings, you can see this first link right here from Fave Themes, and so we'll just click on it. And if you scroll on down a little bit, you'll see that it gives you requirements for Houzez. Well, right here is requirements for Houzez, and you'll see we need WordPress 6.4 and up, which you should be keeping your WordPress and your PHP updated no matter what. But we've got WordPress, PHP, and MySQL version requirements, I suppose, which all of these should be up to date no matter what, so you shouldn't have to do anything. But we are going to pay attention to our recommended PHP configuration limits. And this is really easy to change. We're going to go back into our hosting or dashboard. And again, I don't expect you guys to know any of this as a beginner or a real estate agent just trying to build a website. So all you got to do is just follow along with me, change the settings that I change, and you're good to go. But anyways, we're going to be inserting all 4 of these numbers into our PHP configuration. So back in our hosting or dashboard, we're just going to drop down to the advanced tab over here. Make sure that you're still on the website that you're editing. And if not, you can just go to the websites tab and you'll see your website, because I'm assuming you probably only have one. But anyways, make sure you're on the website that you want to edit, go to the advanced tab, and we're going to drop down to the PHP configuration. And so from here, we can take a look at our PHP version, which is 8.1, which is way above 7.6, so we're good to go there. So next what we're going to do is go over to the PHP options. And so from here, we'll scroll on down and we'll find these 4 limits inside of our PHP options right over here. So first one is max execution time is 300. And so we'll go into our configuration here, max execution time, which is right here. And I'm not even that far from the top. Here's the top and you can still see it at the bottom. So right here, max execution time. By the way, off camera, I went ahead and already set these settings. So whatever your max execution time was, just go ahead and set it down to 300, which is the recommended from Houzez theme. So next we're going to go to the memory limit of 128. So we'll go over here to PHP configuration and we'll go into the memory limit. Now mine is 1024, so there's no point in going all the way down to 128, but just you can go to 1024 if you guys want to, just like me. So next what we have is the post max size, which is 48. So we'll go back to PHP configuration. Post max size is 2048. You guys can drop this if you want, but this is just the max size that you can post in megabytes, for example. And you'll see that down below. It's the maximum size in bytes of data that you can be posted in the post method. Might as well have this maxed out, but if you guys want, you can drop it down to the 1024, but we're good to go, we're covered. And then lastly, we have upload max file size, which is 48. So we'll drop on down and here is upload max file size. And so I went to 1536, but you guys can also go down to 1024. But again, this is just the maximum size in bytes that you can upload. So it's not like you have to drop it down too low. This is saying that I can upload a little bit bigger than what Houzez theme recommends. And so that's just a personal preference, but that's up to you guys. So once you guys are done with your server settings and everything's at least above what they're saying are the minimum requirements, then we're good to go. So we can close back out of that random tab. We're back on our WordPress dashboard, but also make sure you hit the save button. So click save right here. Everything's going to be posted to your PHP configuration and now it's official. So we can just go back to the overview and we're back on that same page. And we can go back to the dashboard. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and install necessary plugins for the Houzez theme. So in order to do that, we're going to go over here from our WordPress dashboard over to the Houzez theme. So the Houzez settings or options right here. On the left-hand side, hover your mouse over it and you'll see plugins. And I always open everything up on a new tab just so I can always bounce back if I have to. And that's personal preference. You guys can just click on the link if you want to and it'll take you to the same place. But personally, I always like being able to bounce back to different tabs. Now, you'll never see me have like 30 million tabs up here, but I do like having 2 or 3 so I can always bounce back quickly without having to wait for like loading pages or something like that. So that's just like a little pro tip for you guys. But anyways, under the plugins tab, right here, we've got installed plugins. And you'll notice that all of these tabs over here are the exact same thing as all of these tabs right here, which is totally fine. I just wanted to point that out for you guys. So under the install plugins section right here, you'll see that I've already activated all of them, installed and activated all of them, except for Slider Revolution right here and HubSpot. Go ahead and install all of these plugins that I have installed right here. So you want the Houzez theme functionality, Houzez Studio, the Fave Themes Insights, one-click demo, Houzez Login, the CRM, the Redux Framework, and Elementor Page Builder, as well as MailChimp. I can't talk. Just make sure you have those installed, and all you have to do is just click on Install Now, and then when Activate pops up, you just click on Activate. That's it. And so that's how you can make sure you install all of the necessary plugins, and we already have all of the server settings, so now your website shouldn't be giving that critical error, and you should be able to view your website whenever you want. So that's kind of nice. All right, so now we have all of the plugins installed, and we can finally download the demo website that we're gonna be customizing. All right, so in order to install the demo content and the full website template, we're gonna go over here to the Houzez theme theme again, and hover your mouse. We're going to scroll on down and go to Demo Import right here. And so I'll open this up on a new tab. Now, just a heads up, if you want to open up your website and view what it looks like, you always just hover your mouse over this little website name right here, and you can click on Visit Site, or you can just open it in a new tab, which is what I'm going to do. This is what your website looks like so far. This is the default WordPress website that gets downloaded whenever you create a WordPress website. So it's nothing special. It's not very cool. It's got a bunch of dummy content and everything, as you can see. We're going to download a complete template that's going to look so much better than this, and it has all of the real estate capabilities that we need. So I just wanted to show you, this is what your website looks like so far, but we're about to install the template right now. So under Demo Import, you'll see that we can scroll on down and you have all of these different demos available for you to go for. If you guys want to take a look at one closer, you can go ahead and click on it. So for example, like this, and we can click on Preview Demo. So you don't just click on it, you have to click on Preview Demo, my bad. And when you do that, you have a demo website that you can fully interact with and scroll through and take a look at. So you guys can pick which ones you guys like the most, but click on the exit button right here. You'll notice that every time I preview a demo, it opens on a new tab, which is really nice. So you don't have to click on the back button and wait for it to load again. You guys can take a look at all of these different ones and see which one you like the best. And you guys can choose whichever one you want. You don't have to pick the exact template that I use for this tutorial because everything I show you is going to be applicable to all of these different demos. The only contributing factor to which one I'm going to choose today, which is going to be this one right here, is because it's one of the smaller demo sites. The rest of them can get kind of big and complicated with tons and tons of different pages. Some of these are going to be really big websites. So I just want to give you guys that heads up. But you guys can scroll through here and they have a ton of beautiful, beautiful looking templates. I got to say, these are all fantastic looking real estate websites. Check this one out. I really like the picture of the city in the background right here. Oh, and it's doing that Ken Burns effect where it slowly zooms in. That's really fancy. And it switches to the realtor. That's really cool. So a lot of these look really fancy, but they get kind of complicated because you'll have a ton of different pages built into the website. So again, I'm just going to stick to number 5, which is up here. So import number 5 right here. We're just going to click on import demo. It's going to say, hey, do you want to import all of these plugins that are recommended? So to ensure the best experience, installing the following plugins is strongly recommended and in some cases required. So it's up to you guys. They're, I guess, optional, but some of them are required. I'm just going to check all of these because I want my template to work completely. And when you're ready, you can click on continue and import. Then in the background, it's going to go ahead and install these plugins, and then it's going to install the template. All right, so now you can see the import was complete. Now, by the way, this took me, I don't know, like maybe 5 minutes to import. It's quite a big template with lots of pages, lots of settings and everything like that. So this is gonna take a little bit longer than usual website templates to download. So don't let that freak you out. Just be patient and let it complete and do its thing. So anyways, once it's finally done and we see that the import is complete, we can visit the website or go to our theme settings. So let's just go ahead and visit the website just for fun. Now, as you can see, it doesn't look like when you go to my domain that this is correct. Let's try refreshing, and if that doesn't work, there we go. If it doesn't work, we can always do a hard cache reload, which, by the way, if that didn't work for you, you can hit Control or Command Shift C, I believe. It's going to open up your Google DevTools if you're using Google Chrome, and if you right-click on your refresh button, you can do an empty cache and hard reload, which will sometimes refresh the page if you're having like a caching issue, for example. Like whenever you make a change, but it doesn't show up on your website. So anyways, that being the case, we do have our complete template downloaded and ready to go. So now anytime someone goes to your domain name, so www.capwrealestate.com, this is what they're going to see. What a beautiful website. It's simple, it's modern, it's clean, elegant. I love it. You can scroll through the entire thing. You guys can interact with your entire website. You can go to the About page and see what everything looks like. We can go to the For Rent page. And so these are all the properties that are for rent, you know, $1,900 a month, $9,000 a month, $1,600 a month. You get the idea. And so right here, this slider for alias rent not found, we'll be able to fix this problem later, so don't freak out. But that's the For Rent page. We can go to the For Sale page. Again, there's a slider here, which we can remove in the back end later, but you keep scrolling down. The website looks beautiful. And so these are all the properties that are for sale. So we've got them broken up by for sale and for rent right here, which is really nice. And then we can go to the agents page. And so this is where we can see all of the real estate agents that you have on your website. And they can, of course, click on each real estate agent just like this. They can see all of the information about them. They can see all of the listings that are underneath this agent, which is really cool. They have all of the contact information over here. They can find the agents. They have everything that they need, which is so cool. So that's the agents page. We also have a blog page, which is what's going to help having return visitors to your website. If you have all these blog posts that have important information or really helpful information, skills that you can learn in the real estate market, stuff like this. When people click on it, they have a full blog post with pictures, text that they can read through. They can leave reviews and stuff down here. So it's really cool. And then finally, we have the contact page. And the contact page is very simple and minimalistic, but that's all it needs to be. It's got all of your information over here on the left-hand side, like your address. Well, these aren't even addresses. This is like Amy Miller. So this is like your public relations manager, public relations associated, and you have like their contact information and what office they're in, which is really cool. And then this is where people can just send general information. And I'm also going to show you guys how to customize your contact form to include as much information as you want. So you guys can make it as big or as small as you guys want as well. And then last part of the website is you have this little account button right here where you can go to the CRM board, which is where the login is for realtors, where they can create listings and where clients can log in and they can create, you know, their own insight properties and stuff like that. Saved searches. So if you saved a couple different properties that you really liked, that's right here. You can also go to the My Profile button, and this is where you can add a profile picture and where everyone has their own account. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to show you guys how to make changes to all of that. Don't worry. But for now, we can just go back to our WordPress dashboard and we can go ahead and move on to the next step. All right, friends, you're doing great. Now we've got all of the building blocks set up and a complete website downloaded. All we have to do now is swap out some pictures and text and the website is yours. I'm going to show you guys how to use Elementor, which is the drag and drop that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. In my opinion, Elementor is the funnest part of building a website. So I'm going to show you guys how to use it, and then you guys, with that knowledge, can try to customize your own website exactly the way you want. So in order to customize our website with Elementor, first we have to open up our website. So I'm going to go ahead and click on our website name up in the corner, and that's going to open up our website. And then from here, you'll be able to see right here in this admin ribbon, which by the way, is not visible to your clients. It's only visible to you when you're logged in as the admin. Inside of your admin ribbon or bar, you'll see Edit with Elementor right here. And that's what we're going to click on. Now, by the way, every once in a while, WordPress is a little bit glitchy. If you don't see that, hang on, let's just click on Got It really fast and get these out of the way. You can also close out of this right here. If for some reason you don't see that in the admin bar right here, this little Edit with Elementor button, because sometimes it's glitchy. What I've noticed is every once in a while that happens. We can go over here to the Pages tab. We'll open up all pages just like this. And then you can find the home page in all of these pages. Where is it? Homepage right here. You'll see the Edit with Elementor button right there. And you can click on it and it'll take you to the exact same place, which is inside of Elementor. So Elementor is the drag and drop page builder that we're going to use for customizing the entire website. It's super easy to use. Like millions of websites use it. It's probably, in my opinion, and probably the opinion of a lot of other people, the top web page builder that's for free that you can use for building websites, especially with WordPress, on the internet. It's just so popular now. Now, one thing to pay attention to, you'll notice that they have premium widgets right here. So there's an Elementor Free and an Elementor Pro. You don't have to have Elementor Pro for this tutorial. So we're just going to close up the Pro tab. I just want to clear that up for people. In case you were wondering if this is a paid plugin, it is not. We are using the free plugin right now. With the free plugin, you do have access to all of these widgets down here, which is a ton of them. You have access to all of these up on top. And then down below, you also have all of your Houzez elements, which come included with the Houzez theme that you paid for at the beginning of the video. So that lifetime $70 that you paid to have access to Houzez, you now have access to all of these special Houzez widgets inside of Elementor, like property cards and all that stuff, which the property cards are like this down below. Well, here, hang on a second. Let's go to a different page on my website just to show you an example, I guess. You don't have to follow along with me. Let's just go to For Rent. These are the property cards. That's a special widget inside of the Houzez theme that you don't normally get when you go just with Elementor Pro or Elementor Free and you don't have the Houzez theme. So just an example of one of the really cool widgets that comes with the free version, but it comes with the Houzez theme, which is pretty cool. So anyways, we're using the free version of Elementor. So first I'm going to show you guys how to use Elementor. Then I'm going to show you guys like page by page how to kind of customize everything going down the list. And then after that, I'll show you guys how to use Elementor to customize your search bar as well as your contact page. So let's go ahead and first talk about how to use Elementor. Now, the obvious thing is you see the menu over here on the left-hand side. This is where you have all of your widgets. And if you ever want to add one to your website, all you have to do, for example, if I want to add an image, is just click on it, drag it over, and wherever that purple line is, that's where you're about to put whatever element you're putting down. So I'll put it right here. And now you'll see in between the text and the search bar, I have an image. And then all I would have to do is just click on the image and I could select from any of the pictures that I already have installed. Let's just pick this one, for example. And that's how I would place an image on my website, just like that. I can also just right click and say delete and it's gone. So anytime you want to add a new item to your website, like a button or some text or a heading, or which is like a title or a video, for example, you just click on it, you drag it in, And now you have a button right there, and I can right click and say delete. So that's the first thing, is that's the drag and drop that I was talking about with Elementor. Now, obviously you're not going to be doing too much dragging and dropping because the entire website is already built for you, which is really cool. Really all we're going to be doing is just switching out pictures and text and you're done. Because if you think about it, all you have to do is just change this background to be pictures of houses that you're selling, and now it's your website. And then we can change the text as well to say your business name or something like that. Next, we also have this top ribbon up here, as you can see. The most important thing that you need to know is the publish button that's right over here on the right-hand side. This pink publish button, whenever you click on it, takes whatever changes you just made, publishes it live to your website on the internet, and saves your work. So you'll see me hitting publish all of the time, just to save my work while I'm working so that I don't lose any progress. You can also see the little eyeball icon right here. Whenever you click on it, it's going to open up your website as a preview, as you can see, a preview on a new tab. So you get to view whatever changes you're making on your website, and then you can just close out of that tab and enter back into Elementor. You have your mobile responsive mode up here in the center, which is how you can edit your website for mobile, for example. So if I was looking at a cell phone screen, this is how my website is going to look, which the template is already built to be responsive for mobile, so you don't really have to make any changes. And then we also have tablet or laptop view. So this is how it would look on a smaller screen, and then desktop, which is what you're on right now. So that's pretty cool. Now, whenever you want to make changes to an object, all you have to do is hover your mouse over it, and you can click on the little pencil icon like this, or on most widgets, you can literally just click on them. Like if I want to change this text, I just click on it, and now you'll see I'm changing the discover our finest selection right here. So if I wanted to change this text on my screen, or any text on my website for that matter, you can always just click and directly start typing onto your screen. So this one's not working for some reason, and it looks like it's because it's a section title. But if I were to scroll down right here and click on this one, it's another section title. Boy, do we have any regular text widgets in here? Section title. Yeah, none of them are section or widgets that you can actually click on. Most of the time inside of Elementor, if you have a regular heading widget, which by the way, if you click on the plus button, it brings back all the widgets you can add. If I had a heading just like this, most of the time you can literally just click and start typing directly on your screen. You see my cursor right there and I can start typing. So it looks like this is a special Houzez theme widget that we're using, and it won't let you just click on it and start typing, which is perfectly fine. Normally in Elementor you can, but just because you can't do it here, it's not a big deal. Whenever you click on it, you'll see that I'm editing the section title. Discover your place to live. Discover your place to live. So you'll see that whatever text displays here is just right here. So all I got to do is just click on it and I can start typing, and it's going to display on my website. So that's pretty simple and easy to use. And again, if I want to change the subtitle text, it's just down below. So that's how you guys can make changes to objects. All you have to do is just click on the object, and then all of your settings appear on the left-hand side. Now, speaking of all of your settings, let's go ahead and click on this title text again. Speaking of your settings, we have 3 different tabs for the settings that we can change. We have the content tab, the style tab, and the advanced tab. And sometimes the content tab is actually just the layout tab, I think. Sometimes it switches back and forth, but it's basically the same thing. So under the content tab, whenever you click on an object, you're basically editing the content that's inside of the widget. For example, this is the text. If you were editing, for example, well, this is more text. These are pictures. Let's click on this. So it's a grid builder. When you're under the content, you're editing what grid or what content is being shown inside of this grid, if that makes a good enough example for you guys. We'll click back on the heading. Under the style tab, you're obviously changing the style of the widget. So this is where you're going to change color, typography, font, size, alignment half the time. That's usually the stuff you're going to find under the style tab. And then under the advanced tab, you have things like margins and padding, which we'll play around with every once in a while. Margins, not so much. Padding most of the time. When it comes to padding, you can unlink the values together. And if I want to add space underneath, I would add space to the bottom, right? So I just added some padding underneath the bottom, right? And then if I add space to the top, I would add space to the top. So it's pretty self-explanatory. We can link the values together, clear them out, and it'll go back to normal. Most of the time, we're not really going to touch a lot of the stuff in the advanced tab. Every once in a while, there's a use case for it, but for the most part, we're just going to bounce back and forth between the content and the style tab. And then again, whenever you're done making changes, we always click on publish to save. So for the most part, that's how you use Elementor. So now what I'm going to do is go through the website and show you how to change the text, the pictures, and everything like that as we go through the website, so you have an idea of how to change this and customize it to be yours. Now, most of the time when I do tutorials on how to build websites, I come in here with a bunch of pictures that I downloaded off camera, and I change the entire website to look completely different. But I don't really see a use case for that here because we're building a real estate website, and the pictures in the background are pretty generic. Generic enough where you could use them if you wanted to. Obviously not these pictures, because this needs to be a picture of the actual apartment you're selling. But the background pictures of these sections and things like this don't necessarily have to be anything in particular. They can be your pictures, or they can be the free pictures that you're seeing here. So that being the case, I'll show you how to change them, but I'm not going to completely change this template to look completely different, mostly for the sake of time, because this is going to be a long tutorial. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on how to customize the website. So first of all, if you want to change the background pictures, you want to edit this background container. Inside of Elementor, you've got containers, which are these here. This is an example. Oh, it's columns and widgets. Let me guess. Is this a section then? Edit section. Okay. Wow. So inside of Elementor, you have two different ways of editing. You've got containers and you have intersections. So it looks like by default, the Houzez theme is using the intersections layout, for example. So when we're editing this, you've got sections, which you'll notice every time I hover my mouse anywhere in this section, for lack of better words, this pink square goes all the way around the edge, right? So this is the hero section. Scroll on down, you'll see now my mouse is over this, which is kind of like an exclusive section, and it's this pink box all the way around. And then I scroll on down a little bit further, and I have this pink box that goes all the way around this section down below. So that's the section. And you can always hover your mouse over the 6 dots right here, and you'll see that I can edit this section, right? Same thing with this one up above, if I could ever get my mouse up to it. Sometimes you can't, and if you can't get your mouse up there and it keeps disappearing, you can always just right-click out here in the ether and say edit section just like this. So inside of a section, you have columns, and columns are the gray dotted box right here. You'll see I can edit the column. And then inside of columns, which stack horizontally, you have widgets, which stack vertically. And so now you'll see that this is a intersection, which an intersection is just a little bit more of an advanced thing. It's how you can put another column inside of a widget. But you'll see that this is a widget right here. We click on it and it's a widget. Whenever you click on the plus button, all of these are widgets or elements. I think Elementor calls them elements now because it updated its website, but they used to be called widgets. And so these are all just the elements that you can add into your website. So with that being the case, if you want to edit the background, we have to edit the section. So you just right click out here and say edit section. And then over here on the left-hand side, we can change things like the width. We can change the height. With right now it's set to fit to screen. So basically when you first load into the website, it's going to fit to the bottom of the screen down here. I could change this to minimum and then I can drag this and make it as tall or as short as I want, right? But we can just save as fit to screen. So these are some of the settings that you can change. But again, we're trying to change the background image. We're not really trying to change layout because the template's already built for us. So we're going to go to the style tab and this is where we can change the image. So if you want to change the background image, all you have to do is click on choose image right here. And you'll see that we have the media library, which is basically all of the pictures that are currently uploaded onto your website. So you'll see all of these pictures that we can use that came with the template or the demo content. And then you can also click on upload files, and then you can select files from your actual computer. So you can go to your downloads, you can go to your pictures, documents, whatever you want, and you guys can install whatever pictures you want onto your website. So for this example, let's just change the background to something a little bit different. Let's just choose this picture right here. I kind of like this one, and we'll say select. And now you'll see that whenever I click on select, it throws that picture into the background. Now this one is obviously not sized to be correct for the background. It's a little bit blurry or pixely. So we can go back here and we can select the original picture. Or what we could do is try to hit Control or Command Z, which will undo the change we just made. And now we have that picture in the background. Control Z or Command Z is basically just the undo button, by the way. So that's how you can change the background image. Now let's just say, for example, you want to darken the background. You can go over here to the background overlay, and you see that right now there's a background color of black, and we have a slider. I can make it completely black, or I can remove the black entirely. But you see how in the highlight areas of this picture, it's really hard to see my text? That's why whoever created this demo created a background overlay. So you can add a background overlay, which basically applies black over the picture, and you can make your text a lot easier to read. You can also, of course, change the color to be red, for example, or you can make it blue, for example, or green, because green is kind of the same color as the buttons. And then I could reduce the opacity if I wanted to, or increase it to make it look very green. Maybe I make it a little bit darker of a green, so something like this. So there's a little bit of a tint of green to it. You guys can decide what overlay you want, but I'll just stick to black like that. And then we can also reduce it maybe just a little bit. Perfect. Back under the background tab, you can choose to use classic, which is going to be a picture. You can go gradient, which would go from one color to another color. So let's go red to blue, for example, just like this. And so you can choose to do a gradient. You could go over here to video, and then you could install a YouTube video to play in the background, or you could do a slideshow and just choose multiple pictures. But I'll just stick to classic because there's really no reason to change it to anything else. Now you'll notice underneath the image, we also has like image settings that we can change. The image resolution is full. You can reduce it if you want to, and then the resolution for the picture is going to be horrendous. I wouldn't recommend doing that. You can just leave it as full. example, and there we go. But you have image resolution. You can change the position. So right now it's default, but I could focus if I wanted to on the left-hand side of the image. I could go center left, and right now it's not going to do anything because, here, let's do this. Let me reduce the size to like 720. There we go. And I could say center left, and it should focus on the left side. Okay, it's not doing it. But basically what position does, if the image is too big for this spot, what it will do, oh, that's why it's on cover. If I go to default, contain? Well, no. Okay, cover. Most of the time you can choose where you want to focus. If I want to go top left, it would focus. As you can see, it shifted a little bit to the top. It's just this picture isn't big enough to actually try and zoom in and focus on different parts. But you can change the position to focus on the center. And as you can see, it scrolled down a little bit and now it's focusing on the center of the image. Again, depending on the size of your image, you can focus on different portions of the image. Actually, it would be a lot more prominent if I did it right here on this picture, edit section, style tab, and it's a slideshow. But I could change the background position to focus on the center, which it already is. I could focus on the bottom, and then it'll focus on the bottom of the pictures, as you can see, or I could focus on the top. So let's go top center. Where is it? Top center, like this. And now you'll see it zoomed up to the top, as you can see. But we'll go back to default for now. But anyways, whenever you're editing the section, that's what the position does. Attachment, you either have fixed or scrolled. Fixed means as I scroll, it's stuck to the background and does this cool parallax effect. And then if I choose scroll, it basically moves with the website, which is a lot more standard. But I think fixed is very artistic. Oops, wrong one. I think fixed is very artistic, and when used sparingly, it's really cool. Add like this 3D effect to your website. And then you have repeat. Repeat happens whenever you have it set to like default, for example. You can change repeat to be on, so repeat. And then it repeats the image like tiles, which I don't think looks very good unless done artistically. So most of the time you'll set it to no repeat, and then you'll set it to cover as the size, which cover means take this picture and stretch it perfectly to fit into the background. So normally you're gonna use cover. So anyways, that's how you can change the background. You'll notice that you can change the background of any section. So if I edit this section, right now it's not even using a background type, but I could select classic, and I could change the color to red, for example, or I could clear that by clicking on the little clear button right here, and I could put an image in the background, for example, just like this. And so that's how you can pick pictures for the background, but I'm gonna click on the trash can just to remove that, and we'll just click on classic again to completely remove any background settings. But now you guys get the idea. You can scroll through your website and add a background to anything by just saying edit section, go to the style tab, and you guys can customize it however you want. For the most part, I wouldn't recommend changing too much about this template except for just swapping out pictures to be your own, and then also changing out the content, like modern apartment, change this to the address of that apartment, and then you would change it to the pictures that you had your photographer take pictures of the apartment. You'd put those in here, obviously. I feel like it's pretty obvious to you guys what you're going to switch and what you don't need to switch, so downloading a template makes it a lot easier. Anyways, moving on. If you want to edit your section header, you just click on it like this. Oops, Controller Command Z. It looks like when I clicked on it, I kind of dragged it like this for a split second. But you click on it like this, and you guys know that you can already change the text by just typing right here. We can go to the Style tab, and we could change the text color. So, for example, the section title and subtitle. Oops, sorry, that's not the color. This is the typography, so we could change the font, which is using Playfair display right now. We could change the size to be a lot bigger if we wanted to, for example. So I'm going to just kind of put it back. You guys can change the letter spacing. You can transform it to uppercase if you want to. This is where you change the typography, right? And that's for the title and subtitle. You can also change the main title and subtitle color. So I could change this to red, for example, or I could just clear it and go back to the default color, which is gray, or we just go back to white. You guys get the idea. Under the Style tab, you can change things like color, typography, and then you have some spacings like margin and stuff like that. So that's how you can change this text. Scroll on down. I'll show you guys how to do this in a little bit, as well as the contact form, because it's a little bit special and it's going to take a lot longer. But we can scroll on down, and next we have this Our Featured section, and we have two empty spacers right here that just add space. Now, if I click on the preview button, the eyeball in the top right corner, you'll notice when I scroll down, you don't actually see the spacer. When you're editing the website, it's showing you what the spacer looks like, and you can add space or reduce space depending on what you want to do. Let me go ahead and clear that out. It's showing you visually, graphically, that there is a spacer there, but your visitors aren't going to see it. It's just adding space. Now, that is a weird way of doing it. You could just go to the Advanced tab of the text right here and add some padding like I showed you earlier, but they added an individual widget for some reason, which spacer widgets are pretty much out of date at this point because you have margins and padding. Before you had margins and padding, you had spacer widgets, but they're still there for some reason. Anyways, you just click on it and you can just drag the spacer, and then you click on the text and you guys know how to edit your text. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have our first complicated widget, which is the Property Cards widget. Now, Property Cards are very simple if you think about it. You just get to display how many columns and rows. You can change how you want the properties sorted by. Basically, this is just kind of like a SQL query. If you're familiar with databases or something like that, you're basically just putting on a bunch of filters on how you want your information displayed. This is automatically pulling from all of the properties you have on your website. You don't have to follow along with me, but if I go back to my dashboard and we go over here to real estate and we go to properties, this is your database of all of the properties that you have on your website. And you'll see that this is only page 1 of 3 down here in the bottom right corner. So there's a lot of properties on this website, right? Now we're on page 3. I could go back to page 2. More properties to look through. All of these properties have categories like city, what type of property they are, the status, are they for rent or for sale? They've got pricing, they have when they're posted, actions, they have what's included here. There's so many different things that you could filter by. That's basically what this is, just so you guys know. So let's close out of that tab. You have a ton of properties on your website, and you're just choosing to display a certain number of them. So if we go over here to the left-hand side under properties, we have the layout tab, which layout is just how they're viewed, they're templates. So if I click on this, it's kind of like a bigger, 2x2, or we could go 3x3, right? And so you're also selecting columns right here. You'll see 3 columns or 2 columns. Depending on how many properties you have or how many you're displaying, so number of properties. If, for example, I was showing, 9, let's go with 9. I would want to show 3 properties per column because that would make an even number, right? If I chose 2, but I was showing 9 properties, there's going to be 1 extra down here. You see how it's not symmetrical? So pay attention to how many you're showing and how many columns you have. So if I was showing 8, for example, and I was showing 3 columns, oops, I keep clicking too fast. 8 with 3 would make this kind of a cool, oops, wait, hang on, where is it? Where are all of our properties? Here they are. What it would do is make this unsymmetrical view because I have 3 columns, but I have an even number of properties. So I'd want to change that to 9, for example, and now it's symmetrical. So for example, if you only want to show 6 properties, then you'd probably want to stick to 3 columns, but you can also divide it by 2 and still make it look where you have 2 on each line. So that's completely up to you guys to decide how many columns you want. Basically, do you want them big pictures or small pictures, right? 3 columns is going to make them a little smaller. 2 is going to make them a little bit bigger. And then depending on how many properties you want to view, you can up or down the number of properties that are visible. We have image resolution. Again, you can choose if you want to show them all at a specific resolution or if you just want to show them all at full resolution. If you're getting a ton of pictures from your client, your photographer, and they're all different resolutions, you might on your website want to lock it to one specific resolution. But if all of your pictures are always going to be 1080p, from your photographer and you requested that, then you can always just show full. So that's kind of where you can choose your image resolution. Sort by is very self-explanatory. You're choosing how you want them to be sorted by. You can sort by title, so alphabetical. You can choose to sort by price, high to low, low to high, date. So you could say, for example, this is our featured exclusives. So you might want to say price high to low, right? So all of the properties with the highest prices are our featured exclusives, right? Or maybe you would change this text instead of featured exclusives, maybe you say our newest properties or new additions. Well, if these are the newest properties, you would want to change your sort to be date new to old. So these are the properties that were most recently new to the website. Does that make sense? Basically, whatever your title text is, you want to change how they're sorted, just to be intuitive. But we'll leave it as default for now because, again, this is just a tutorial, so it's not like I have to have it organized in a specific way. So next we have offset, which I think is kind of just a weird setting to have. Most of the time in your website database, you're going to have your properties up to date in order of what you want. But for some reason, if you need an offset, what this does is, let me just show you. You'll notice that in whatever sorting manner you have, you can offset by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties. For example, we're sorted by default. So modern apartment is first, then we have luxury villa, then we have ample apartment. Okay, if I offset by 1, it means I'm going to offset the first one gone. So luxury will move to the front. So watch, if I offset by 1, now luxury is in front, and then it goes to ample, and so on. If I offset by 2, ample will be next. There we go. So now ample is next, and you'll notice it's not showing modern and luxury. It went straight to ample. So you can offset. For example, you can say, sort by price, high to low, and then offset by like 3. And now you're not showing your most expensive, you're just showing the third most expensive. Does that make sense? That's your offset. I don't find myself using it very often, but you know, it's there and I just wanted to show you guys how to use it. Okay, so next we have post status, and post status is basically just, is it active or is it sold? So you guys can choose this. Or you're just sorting them by active and sold. You might want to change this just to active. And then afterwards, you have pagination, which is basically just showing, do you want a load number? Here, hang on, let me scroll down. Do you want a load more button, or do you want to show pages? And that's what pagination is. Or I don't know if I'm saying the word pagination correctly, or is it pagination? However you say that correctly, that is just basically choosing if you want a load more button, if you want to have pages where they can scroll through. If you don't have that and you have load more, you would just click on it and it would just throw more options down below and you'd have to keep scrolling. So that's up to you guys how you want to sort your filter there. Next, you have filters, which filters, you can filter by like type. So loft, single family home, villa, and I'll show you how to add more property types later in the video, but you can sort by those property types. You can sort by status, so are they for rent, for sale, are they foreclosures, new construction, new listing, all of that. You can add labels if you want, which labels, again, I'll show you how to add labels to properties, but you would search by labels. You can search by country. So for example, if I want to show our featured, sorry, I was trying to highlight the text. Our featured exclusives in America, for example, right? I could choose under filters to show America right here, right? I could say our featured exclusives in Texas, and then I could choose my state would be Texas. And again, we haven't added any of these yet, so we're not able to throw them in, but later in the video, I'm going to show you guys how to create property types, property categories, and everything. But this is where you can filter by those categories. For example, you could also do it by area. You could do properties by agents. So when I showed you guys up here in the navigation, we have our agents, and under each agent, they might have a certain number of properties that they're representing. You could say, you know, properties by our top agent, and then you could filter by your top agent, whoever that is. Let's just say it's Samuel. And then whatever properties are underneath Samuel, I guess he only has one property. That's all that's going to display. And we can just click on the X button to remove it. And then you can also do by agencies, by minimum price, maximum price. It's very standard stuff. You basically have a database of a ton of properties, and you can choose how you want to sort them, filter them, and group them, basically. And then lastly, you have show hide. So I can show or hide the compare button, which the compare button is this little plus button right here. So if I say no, now it doesn't show that. I can hide the favorite button, which is the little heart right there. I can hide the preview button, which is the little expand icon right there, which is that guy right there. And then I can show or hide the featured label, which is this little green label right here. And you see how we're saying featured? Well, all of these properties are under the featured category. And so that would be one of the filters, I'm assuming. Let's see. Yeah, featured properties right here, so only featured. If I change it to any, I'm sure that we have some for sale, some are featured, some aren't. You guys get the idea. But apparently they, by default, have only featured because that's the text they chose, which makes sense. So basically, however you decide to organize your properties in your property cards, just make sure your title is applicable to how you organize them. But whenever you're done making those changes, you can go to the Style tab as well and change things like the typography of the property tag. So you could change this font if you wanted to. You could change the spaces and sizes. So you can come here and add some spacing if you want to. The box shadow. So you see how each one of these, whenever you hover, has that box shadow. You could change that here. You can change the colors as well. So for example, the price, if you want to change the price color, for example, you could make this green. And now the price is green, as you can see. We can just clear it and go back to the default. But you could change the titles, for example. So let's just find title color right here. You could change that to red, so it's really eye-grabbing. Or maybe you want it the same green as your website, right? So maybe you would change this to like a green color and match it to the green for your website, which is probably something like this, somewhere around there, kind of matches. You can also click on the globe icon, which apparently we're not using our theme colors, so that's unfortunate. So ignore that, you can't really use the globe icon, but you could try and match it as close as you can to that if you want, which I would not personally recommend doing. You need to go find where this theme color is being activated, copy that color code, and paste it in here. But anyways, that's how you can change the color of everything. You can change the color of all these icons down here. So these are the icons. You could change this to red, for example. So now they're red. You could change the labels, which is this green color right here. So if you wanted to, you could actually change it to red, just like this. Oh, the label is this. So it's an apartment, a villa, apartment. My bad. So we'll clear that. But you guys get the idea. You guys can change the grid background even. So if you want to change it to red, it's the background of this bottom portion. But again, I'm just going to clear it. And then finally, you have the pagination. So down below, again, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And if I am, let me know down in the comments. But pagination or pagination, you can change the style of the button. So you could change the color, the background color, the hover color. So every time I hover, see how it goes green? And then the standard color is transparent. You could change that, but that's completely up to you guys. So again, you guys have the content and style tab to do whatever you want. Whenever you're done, click on publish to save your work and make it live on the internet. And we can scroll on down to the next section. So next we have in the background, the edit section, you have like this gallery of pictures and it says discover our finest selection. Maybe you want to include pictures of your finest properties. Well, you could do that. Just click on the pencil icon and you have all the properties that are in the gallery. So we're editing it right now. Click on the little X button and it removes it from the gallery. You can also rearrange the order in how they're displayed. As you can see, it's sequential in how they're displayed. You can remove them. Click add to gallery and you can pick different products or different pictures from your gallery. And you can also upload files, of course. You can click on select files right here. But under the media, let's just select 3 random pictures. I don't know, we'll pick this one, and this one. Actually, hang on, let's not make it random. Let's choose the most premium property. So you can click on the little minus. Let's choose this one because that looks really fancy. Let's choose maybe this one because that looks really cool. And then something else that looks really grand. Let's do this one because it's got the really cool high floor-to-ceiling windows. Click on add to gallery, and then we can choose the order at which they're displayed by dragging and dropping, and then we just say insert. And now we have different pictures displaying in the background. Let's change that background size to cover. We can change the background position to center, and we can also make sure that well, for some reason these are red. Maybe it's because these pictures are too small. Well, it's 1000 right here by 700. What's this one? 1000 by 700, 1000 by 700. They're not that small, but they're a little pixely in the background. You could up your resolution size just a little bit so that you wouldn't have this fuzziness and have high quality images, but that's perfectly up to you guys. It looks like the template decided with cheap images, but that's not my problem. We can change the duration because it's changing really fast and it's kind of bothering me. So duration is in milliseconds, which there's 1000 milliseconds in 1 second. So it's going every 3 seconds. Let's change it to like every 6 seconds. And so now it's going to be a lot more of a relaxed transition. It stays for a little while. After 6 seconds, it switches to the next one. Let's make this even more friendly. Let's turn on the Ken Burns effect. So it's slowly zooming, right? That looks really nice. And then we can also change the transition speed. So the transition speed is really fast. Let's change this from half a second up to like 1.5 seconds. So now watch how relaxed this transition is. It's really slow, lasts for 6 seconds. The transition is nice and smooth and slow. I like that as opposed to what it was earlier. It was just making my eyes get distracted. I might change this down to 5,000. So every 5 seconds, it's going to swap. That feels really good to me. Usually, anytime I have a slideshow, I do 5,000. And then lastly, we can just change the background overlay. Let's go ahead and change it from gradient over to classic, because that's what was adding this weird white line over here, by the way. If we go back to gradient, they had this white line being displayed to kind of do like this cool graphic design in the background. That's up to you guys if you want to keep it. Personally, I was just going to go with a classic, change this to like black, for example, and then we can change the opacity out here to be a little bit lighter. So something like this. Personally, I think that looks a little bit better than having that weird white line in the background. That's up to you guys. And also, if you think that the size of this section is cutting off the pictures, you can always go and edit the section by clicking on the 6 dots. We can go to the layout tab, and remember when I changed the minimum height, you just drag it and make it a little bit taller if you want to. So now it's showing a little bit more of the picture. That's completely up to you guys. So now let's talk about what's in the green box. First of all, obviously, you can just click on the little gray box right here, which is this column, and we can change the style. You see how it's green right here? We could change that from green to whatever color we want, but it's using the same green as the entire website. So personally, I would just leave it the way it is. In a little bit, I'll show you guys how to change the global color so that instead of green, you can change it to whatever your company color is. But for now, I wouldn't change it individually because that would break it from being able to change it globally. But if you want to, that's how you would do it, is you would just change it by clicking right here and you can change it to whatever color you want. You can make it green, blue, yellow, pink, whatever you want. But instead of clicking clear, let's hit Control-Command-Z twice and we'll go back to the green. So now you can click on the text. You know how to edit a section header. You can change the typography and color, and you guys know how to change the text. Let's talk about a button next. When you click on a button, it's very, very, very simple. You have what text is being displayed. So instead of discover, you could say learn more, and then put 3 dots, for example. Or because the section title says discover our finest selection, maybe you just want to say discover. And so that button makes sense, right? So again, with a button, you only have the text that's displayed, and then you have the link that it's going to take you to. So it's just the title and the text. And then of course you can go to the style tab and change the color and the item color. For example, I could change the text color to be red, for example, and then it would be red. So let me actually select red. There we go. And now it's red, right? We're going to say clear. I could change the background color to be, instead of transparent, so without hovering, you see how it's transparent? I could change it to be blue and completely opaque. And so now the background color is blue. right? Let's go ahead and clear that. And so it's clear again. So now whenever you hover, there's transparency there. You can go to the hover instead of normal. Normal is when my mouse isn't on it. Hover is when my mouse is on it. So you see how it's green text with white background? See how it's a white background with green text? Well, you could change the text color and the background of the hover as well. So that's how you can change that. But back under the content tab, you just have the text that you change and the link. So for example, if I change this to youtube.com, for example, and I hit publish, and then let's go ahead and preview the tab. If I go down and I click on that button, it's going to take me to YouTube, just like that, as you can see. So wherever the link is, that's where it's going to take them. And I'm just going to leave it with a placeholder again, because you would put in your own link to a new page or however you guys want to link this. We'll just leave it as a hashtag for now. Okay, so now you guys know how to customize buttons and things like that. We'll click on publish to save our work again. It looks like those changes weren't made. So I noticed whenever I hit preview, the button was gray again. Sometimes that's just a caching issue. See how it's gray over here, but under Elementor, it's transparent. Maybe actually, because remember how I hit clear, we can go to the style tab again, and under the color for the normal, instead of going clear, maybe we actually want to completely transparency or add transparency like that. And then click on publish again. And let's see if we fixed that problem by clicking on preview. Okay, perfect. So we fixed it. Sometimes that's happening. That's why it's really important to always click on the preview button to make sure you're double checking your work. Okay, so once you've clicked on publish to save, we can move down even further. And next we have another title, which again, you know how to change. And then down below, we have this grid pattern right here. Basically all this is a grid that the developer of this template created. It's very complicated. There's a ton of columns, inside columns, a column with an image, column with an image. These are all formatted correctly with a whole bunch of settings. So I personally wouldn't change this except for just swapping out the pictures. Don't try to come in here and change this one and go into the padding and margins and change the width and the widget space, which is 20. Don't come in here and then try and change this one, you know, because it's 20, but then the height's going to be different. I would leave these the way they are and just swap out the picture. And to do that, all you do is just click on the picture and you'll see that we're editing a grid builder. And again, you just have all of your settings over here. So again, don't mess with all of the columns and the intersection. Just click directly onto the actual widget and we see the grid builder and you'll see that we have, you know, data. It's dynamic, which means it changes. We have the choose taxonomy, which is city. You can choose the category, which is taxonomy. You can choose country, label, area, whatever you want. Because they chose city, they chose which city to use, right? I think they have Miami in here. They have different cities you can choose. They chose New York for this picture. There's Miami over there. Los Angeles, right? The exact same thing happens. If I click on this one, I can change Los Angeles, city, dynamic, all of that stuff, right? So going down the list again, we have listing count. Yes, we can also turn that off and it's going to take off that little property, you know, 30 properties in this apartment, 10 properties in New York, for example. You can take that off right there. The property text is property. So this is just keeping count of how many properties you have in the New York category, which again goes into your dashboard. That goes into your states and cities. Let's go with city, for example. This is under your massive database of properties. And again, we're going to cover this later, so you don't have to follow along with me. But you see how we have New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Chicago, right? These are categories we built or that the developer built. And then if we go over to properties, and again, you don't have to follow along with me, I'm just showing you what's going on. You'll see that we have all these properties and some of them are in Los Angeles, some of them are in Chicago, right? And so whichever ones are inside of, for example, let's go by New York and I filter, it's only gonna show the New York properties, right? And you'll see here's that picture that it's pulling. That's exactly what this is doing. It's just filtering by city. And then of all of the cities, we're filtering by New York because there's a lot of cities. And then because we're using New York, we're using a dynamic picture from the New York category. We can turn that off and then use a custom picture if we want to, right? And then I could put a different picture, for example. And now there's a totally different picture back there. Or we can just remove it and use the dynamic image that's automatically pulled from your New York properties, right? So I just wanted to show you, it's either gonna automatically pull images from the actual category, or you can upload a custom one by clicking like that. And that's just how this element is built, right? And then again, we can go to the style tab and change, you know, the hover animation like this. The grid type is square, we can do portrait, and now it's gonna be the long style versus the short style, right? But again, I wouldn't mess with the grid type because it's kind of perfectly organized. You could maybe remove this one and then make Los Angeles a portrait style and make it a full long one. Let's actually do that right now. I could delete that one, click on Los Angeles, and I could change this to portrait, for example. And now, as you can see, I've got 3 long and 3 shorts. So you can pick how you want these to look. Just be careful when you're making your changes, right? But now you guys know how to customize these. And of course, the text that's being displayed is literally the city. So for example, if I change this to Miami, oops, I obviously don't know how to type. There we go, Miami. Now it's going to display Miami. But I'm gonna go ahead and just back up and let's just go back to New York, which obviously I do not know how to type. So there we go, we're back into New York. So now you guys know how to make changes to this grid. So let's click on publish and then we can scroll on down even further. So scrolling on down, you're gonna see we have another one of those section titles, as you can see, and you guys already know how to make changes to both of those. So you guys can make whatever change to the text you want. So instead of choose from different listing templates and blah, 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 you can write out meet our agents. These are the agents that we have in Austin, Texas, or wherever the hell you are. It's completely up to you guys what text you guys wanna put there. But now we have these three little tiles that show off our agents, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make changes to those as well. So all you have to do is click on it, and you'll see that we have this new edit agent field. Now this is not a regular Elementor widget. This is going to be one of those Houzez widgets. So if I clicked on the plus button, I bet you'd have to scroll all the way down here and we'd see something that's called Houzez agents or something like that, I bet. Let's see here. It's going to be in here somewhere. Yeah, agents. There it is, or agents grid or agents whatever. It's definitely going to be one of these Houzez widgets, which is brand new to Elementor whenever you start using the, the Houzez theme. But it's really easy. The exact same thing. Anytime you want to edit something in Elementor, you click on it and then you can see that we have module type. So we've got grid and then we have carousel. So if you swap to carousel, you can have multiple all the way across and you could have multiple pages as you can see, but there's only one. For example, if I chose, oh, minimum is 3. Yikes. Here, let's go however many there are. I don't know how many agents there are total. There we go. So if I change the number of agents to 7, now under carousel, you'll see that I can constantly switch like this, which is nice, as opposed to doing a grid where you have all of your agents like this, right? Now, obviously I'm choosing 3, but you could choose 4 if you have 4 agents, and now you have all 4 of them visible. So it's kind of the same thing as this one up here, your product or your property tiles, but we can come back down here. So I'll probably go back down to 3 and I'll change it to 3 as well. That way there's only 3 displayed, just like this. I think that looks really nice. If you have more, you could always display, you know, all however many of them, and as you can see, it would just be multiple tiles, right? So you could have 2 more, and then you'd make it look level. But for the time being, we're just gonna show off 3 again. And again, you've got categories right here, which again, we're gonna create categories later on in the video that's like 2 steps away, I think, or something like that. You can choose what city these agents are in because each one of these agents are gonna be in a specific area. It's not very common for agents to show properties in completely different areas. You're kind of, as a realtor, supposed to be known as like the specialist in your area. So again, when we're creating agents inside of the dashboard, which is a few steps away, you have the option of putting them into one of those city categories. And so that's where you'd be able to select it. But again, there's nothing here because I guess the default ones don't have cities enabled there. Again, you guys know what offset does. Whatever order they're in, it's just going to offset by however many I put in here. So for example, if I want Vincent to be first, I could offset by 1. And now it's going to be Vincent first and then Brittany, and then there's the last one that wasn't displaying earlier. So you guys get the idea. You can also order them ascending and descending right here and order by, and you can choose what category to order them by. So it's completely up to you guys. But once you guys fill out these, there's actually no style tab, as you can see, so you can't really change like this hover animation or anything. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's a pretty standard little 3-column type widget. So anyways, that's how you guys can change up your agent section. Scroll on down a little bit further and we have this icon box. Again, anytime you want to click on something, you click on the section title, you guys know how to change it. On all of these icons, it's really easy. You see property management and then capital improvements, property management, capital improvements. So if I want to change this one, I just click on this grouping. I can pick the icon right here by going into all of the icons that I have, right? And you would have to probably go and find an icon online for something different and click on upload. So you'd have to upload it from your computer, but you guys can add icons like this, and that's for a custom icon. It looks like you can also use... Perfect. You can use the Elementor icon library. So I take back what I said. Instead of using the custom field right here, which is where you insert your own, I forgot, you can go with the font awesome or font awesome old. Go with the new, click on it, and look at all of these icons that you guys can choose from when it comes to whatever you're going to display here, whatever that may be. But we'll go back to the custom icon because it just matches the rest of them. So anyways, you have your icon right here. Then you'll notice the title is right here, property management. So you just click on it and type. And then we've got the subtext right here, which is obviously dummy text. So you would put in whatever you want. Next, you have the read more text. So you could say literally read more. And then it's going to put a little link at the bottom. And then you'd also have to put in a link, so let's just put in the hashtag like this. Once you put in the link, now it's like this. If you want to read more, here's the first snippet right here. And then if you want to read more, you click read more, and it would take you to be able to see the entire thing, or it'd expand it. So that way you would have to create a new page to do that. So we're just going to remove the read more text, but that's an option for you guys. And so you guys can do the same thing with that one as you do with all of these, right? It's the exact same thing. You just click on it, change your icon, change the text, and then you can reorder them by just dragging and dropping like this. So I could make property management second if I wanted to. And so now property is second, capital is first. And then if you want to add items, so you don't want 6, maybe you want 9, then you can click on add item and you can create it from scratch. You can click on the X to delete it, and you can click on the little page right here for duplicate. So that makes a second one. And then maybe you just wanted to change the icon or something. Anyways, after that, you can go to the style tab and you guys can change the font and the color of the icons and the text. So you guys know how to do that already. We'll move down a little bit further, and next we have the updates from our blog. And if you click on this widget right here, you'll see, again, it's not visible at the moment, but it's going to edit the blog posts. You'll see that the image resolution is set to 592 by 444. You guys could make this full size if you want to, depending on your image sizes. So you guys understand resolution. You got grid version, which there's basically just 2 styles, kind of similar to every other post grid that we've been doing. You've got categories for your blog posts. So you could say, oh, I only want business blog posts to be displayed. And we'll set those categories up later when we're actually creating blog posts in the video. But there's your categories. We have posts in a row. Again, the exact same situation is like how many columns and how many rows. You get to choose your offset and your post to show and your post in row. Now, they're not usually going to show in the back end of Elementor, but if I were to click on publish to save my work and preview the website, it will, for clients, obviously pull from your blog, except for some reason it isn't. So let's go double check why it isn't. Force to show all of that. That's good. Interesting. Let's refresh this page and see if there's a problem here. All right, guys. So a second ago off camera, I figured it out. It looks like you actually have to add a category. So we could go with construction, or you could go with, let's see, marketing or real estate. Let's just do construction for now. You actually have to put in a category for it to display. So it does show in the background. It's just was a little glitchy for some reason. So I refreshed the page, selected a category, and they displayed for me. So now, as you can see, if I show you version 1 versus version 2, one of them looks a little bit more condensed, and then the other one obviously has all of the information like the title, a little blurb from the first section, and then you can click on continue reading, which will take you to that blog post. And then after that, we just have this little spacer right here, which again, you guys can just drag if you want a little bit more space. So anyways, that is how you customize the homepage. Let me show you guys next that you can do the exact same thing to edit all of the other pages. So let's click on publish to save our work, just like this. Now inside of Elementor, this is brand new. They updated this, which is really cool. Now you can literally go over here to different pages on your website, but it looks like it's not working correctly. Cool. So never mind. We're not going to click on this. I don't know if that's a glitch or not, but if you want to go and edit all of the other pages of your website, what you'll want to do is close out of Elementor. We're going to open up our website onto a new tab again. And then from here, if you want to edit the homepage, you would look at the homepage and then click edit with Elementor. If you want to edit the about page, you would open the about page and then click on edit with Elementor. Same thing for the for rent page, for sale page, agents, blog, contact, the whole 9 yards. Whatever page you want to edit, click on it first like this, and then click on edit with Elementor. Now, I'm not going to walk you guys through every single page in this website and how to use Elementor to customize it. Now that you guys have a basic understanding of Elementor, you guys can come in here and see that these icons right here are pretty much the exact same thing as what we saw earlier. You click on it and you can make your changes. These tile cards are pretty much going to be the same thing. Click to edit one of them, and you'll see right here is the name. It's pretty explanatory. You can see the name right there, and then we've got her position, which is chair manager, and then we have the text underneath, which obviously whenever I hover shows the text. So once you see what you want to edit, look over here and find it, and you'll be able to edit it, right? And so under the content tab, it's pretty standard. You just change the text, and then whenever you're ready, you can change the image by clicking right here, and you would pick a different person, right? So that's how you can change this one right here. And then you also have all of the links down below. So custom link, you have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google, and everything. So that's pretty cool. So that's how you guys would put in these little tabs. But again, you know, you'll come down here, you'll see this blog section. This is version 2, if you guys remember. So we could go choose a category like construction again, and then we could do version 1 again if we wanted to. And now it'll have more text down below. So that's the about page. It just says like what we're about, who's with us, and go back to our blog because we really want people to read the blog, right? So you click on publish. So again, if you guys wanted to edit another page, you would just open up your website on a new tab, just like this. And then from here, we would just go over, for example, the contact page, because I wanted to show you guys how to edit your contact form. So from here, we would just click on edit with Elementor. And now we're, again, editing this page, which is the contact page. You guys can change your text right here by just clicking and typing. So it looks like it's a heading widget rather than that special section heading. So I can literally just type right here directly on my computer screen, on my website. There we go. You guys can change this text. Next, you can click right here click the little pencil icon. We have this little text editor. So you guys can change this text, but right down here, actually, you'd probably want to delete it. This form is customizable and designed by the Houzez CRM. You probably delete this and just say, contact us, you know? And then right here, when you click on this one, you'll see that this is a brand new contact form widget inside of the Houzez theme. So we get to customize all of our fields, which is super cool. And so I wanted to show you how to edit the contact form as well as how to edit, let me open this up, the search bar that's on your homepage. So you're going to do this inside of Elementor as well. So let me show you guys how to do that. We'll focus on the contact form first. So we have the first name, last name, email, message. So remember, anytime you see something, go find it over here. Like if I want to change first name, I can click on it. And now I can change what the label says, which the label is up here. The placeholder is the text that's inside there that gets zeroed out when I start typing, right? That's the placeholder text. And then we have if it's a required field or not. So if I want to force people to put their required name there or not. And then after that, for the validation message, this is just if they hit submit without filling this out, what is it going to say? And you could literally just say required if you wanted to. And then when they hit submit and they didn't put that in, then it would show, hey, this is required field. So that's why it shows up whenever you check the required box. And then you'll also notice that this field only takes up half of the width. And then this one takes up half of the width. If you change this to like 100%, it's going to kick out the last name, as you can see. But you guys can get pretty creative here and put, you know, first name, and you could say this is going to be 40, and you could say last name is going to be 40. And then we could add a new item, drag it into the middle of the two, and say that this takes up 10%. Oh, it looks like the minimum is 20, so it won't fit. Yeah, item 2, let's give it a label. We'll say middle initial. Placeholder will be MI, just like this. So if 20 is the minimum, then we might want to change these to go down to like 30 or 25 or something like that. So we could change first name. Let's go with 33. And then we could do last name could be 33. And then the middle initial could be, you know, 20 is the minimum. I'm trying to see if I could squeeze it in there to make a smaller field. Looks like you can't, and that's okay. So we can just click on the X button and we can change everything back to 50, which by the way, I was just kind of playing around just to see if I could, because sometimes they'll have the middle initial. But just by seeing me do that, you get the idea. You can click on add item again. And let's just say we want a phone number, for example, because that's pretty common on a contact form. Then you would change the field type to be like a mobile number or something like this. You could change the label. Well, first of all, let's drag this up above email so you see it. Perfect. Let's change the label to say phone number. And then we could change the placeholder to be either phone number, like this, or sometimes the placeholder shows you an example of what you need. So it could be 512 555 5555. So that could be the placeholder. Instead of first name, I could make this placeholder be like John. Oops, that was the label. I could make the placeholder be like John, and then last name could be Smith 555. I could put example@email.com. You can make your placeholders whatever you'd like. I'm just kind of giving you guys ideas. We can go back to phone number, and we can change this to phone number as well. So there's our text, and now it looks like it's part of the contact form, like it was always meant to be there. So you guys could add that. You guys could also add, you know, another field and say which agent are you trying to talk to. Can we do that? Let's see. Doesn't look like it, but you could add something like home phone, user type, your address, so that the agent who responds to this message knows where you are and where you're probably going to want to buy a house from. You do city, state, zip code, all of that stuff. So those are the types of fields you can make. And so you guys pretty much know everything else we did content with. That's everything. Yeah. So we can close out of this guy. You can also, again, you can delete by hitting the X, and you can duplicate by hitting the little page icon right here, as you can see. Next, you have some other settings. I'll let you guys kind of play around with these. You have Google reCAPTCHA, which you can show, and you can also turn it off if you want to. You might have to hook it up. Yeah, right here it says you're going to have to go to googlerecaptcha.com, and you're going to have to go and get the API key. So you're going to have to go create an account with Google, like the Google reCAPTCHA software. Create an account, and then from your account, you'll get your API key, and then you'll put it in here if you want Google reCAPTCHA. So that's why it's not showing up whenever you do it, which, by the way, that's pretty standard practice. If you want reCAPTCHA, you have to usually go create an account. You can also have the required mark. So if you guys remember when I said, let's just say email should be required, and it already is. Whenever you have that required mark, it's just gonna put the little asterisk right there, which I think you should do, because it lets people know that's a required field. Anyways, so that's the form fields. We can now go to the submit button right here, and we can customize, you know, it says submit. We could change it to say something else like contact us. We can change the size to be something like large. Now it's a big button, right? Completely up to you guys. Content width, if you only want the button to be in the little corner over here, you could say, you know, 33. And so now it's a little button on the side. Totally up to you guys. You can choose the alignment as well. Next, we have email, and this is very important. Whenever someone fills out this contact form and they click submit, where do you want this to go to? Well, you probably want to make sure that you put in your email. And then for the subject line, it says new message from, and then here's all of this gibberish. We could say new message from CAPW Real Estate. Or you could just remove the spaces and put realestate.com, you know? You could put your domain name up here. But that way you know every time you get an email, it'll come to this email, and the subject line will say, hey, this is a new contact form entry or something like that. And then you can also add CC and BCC if you want to. They can get sent to multiple emails if you want. But that's really important because by default, it doesn't have the correct information in here. So your contact form is not going to work unless you actually put this in. Anyways, next you can add a redirect link and then also the webhook, which we're just not going to cover that because you don't need to get too complicated here. So anyways, that is how you customize your contact form. You guys now know how to change your fields, add more or remove some, how to require fields, how to make sure that it sends directly to your email, and also how to customize your contact form button. And then of course you can go to the style tab and you can change things like the field colors, you could add background colors, you can change the typography of the font in here, the form color, you know, text color, mark color, I guess. You guys can play around with these settings. You can also change the button color from green to something else if you want to, but you guys know how the style tab works. And then again, this is all the same thing. You can click on it right here. This is just a text editor. You would literally just click here and start typing whatever you want, right? So you guys can change all of this information as well as clicking over here, and you guys can change your actual agent information right here if you want to. Or you could just delete all three of these and just center your contact form right here in the middle, and you don't have to have all this information over here. But anyways, that's the contact form. So we'll click on publish to save our work. Now we know it works and it goes to the correct email. So we can close out of Elementor. Let's open up our website again. And this time we are going to edit the homepage again inside of Elementor. And I'll show you guys really quickly how to use the search bar. So now we have this search bar right here. And this is again, another special widget that comes with the Houzez theme. This is not a regular Elementor widget. And I'll tell you what, this is a super cool widget. Normally you can't do this kind of thing inside of Elementor unless you get Elementor Pro. The free version doesn't have this, but we can click on it. Similar to the contact form, we have all of these different fields that we can customize. You'll see right here, form fields. We've got cities, keyword, and search button. You've got cities, keyword, search button. I can remove the search button. Now there's no search button, and I could put, for example, status. And now there's status over here. There's no more search button. Obviously, it's way too big. I could change this to like 10%, and now it's going to be over here. There's status, right? You're basically just, you have another form builder, but instead of creating a contact form, it creates a search bar. So let's go ahead and delete that one. Let's go ahead and add that search button again, because I think it looks goofy without a search button. So we'll add the search button. Actually, I don't know if placeholder or label. Let's change this to like 15%. Let's do 20%. Okay, let's try this. Control Z over and over again until we get the search button back in there. How about that? There we go. Okay, and let me see what this was at. So it was 20%. They changed the placeholder to search, label is search button, and then field was search. So there you go. That's how you can create your little search button. It took me a second, but we figured it out. So from here, you guys can change whatever you guys want on this search bar. So let's just start from the beginning. We'll go over to cities. So when you click on cities, instead of searching by city, so when they click on this, they can pick, oh, I only want to look for properties in New York, and then search for a keyword like, you know, I don't know, Adirondack Trail, or, you know, Austin Street or something like that. Instead of searching by city and like street or something like that, what they could do is you could switch it from city to, for example, minimum price, or let's do maximum price probably. Most people would probably do maximum price. And then we would change this to be max price, right? The placeholder text would also be max price, which is going to change the text. And now when you click on it, they have all of these different price points that they can search for because of the field type, which is the top one, right? Because what if I change this to land area? Well, it still says max price because we have the text typed right there. But if you click on it, now I can input like, you know, text. I can go up and down, right? Like as if I'm doing land area based on like square footage or something like that. Or maybe I do currency and it still says nothing selected, but I'd have to create currencies, which that's later on in the tutorial. But you guys can choose what they're going to search based on. So I'll go back to city for now, and we can just change this to cities. So right now you're searching by all cities, but you can also just specify which one you want, right? So that's how you guys can change this, or we could just change it from all cities to city for label, right? So we can search by all cities. You guys understand how we can add multiple. You can also add another one like this, and you can search by city and by price, for example. So let's go by price range. Let's just do max price. There we go. We can do column width can be 20% as well. And then we can drag it over here to city. And so now we will search by cities, max price, and a keyword and search. So you guys can customize how you want this search bar to work, right? And again, when they click on max price, they can choose, I want it under $50,000 in New York, which good luck, right? But you can go under $50,000 in New York and then click search, and you'll see any properties that are in the New York area because the properties are broken up by that category. And then also when their price is less than $50,000. And so when you click search, it would do that for you. So the fact that this entire listing software is just one big database where you can customize how everything is displayed is fantastic. But anyways, we'll just delete that one so that your search bar looks normal. By the way, you can also increase the width by clicking on this column right here. I think it's this one, or is it the column for, yeah, I think it's this one. Let's see this. Maybe if we go full width. All right, so it's gonna be this column no matter what. It's probably the intersection. That's what it is. So let's go ahead and Control or Command Z twice. It's not gonna do it, so we'll go boxed, delete the width, and now it's back to default. But we can click on these 6 dots for the intersection, and then we can change the width. And there we go. Now we can make this search bar a lot wider. So now, for example, I easily could go in here and add that new item at 20%. And now you have that extra search item right here. And we might be able to kind of squeeze it in here if we really wanted to. So maybe instead of 20, we go 10. There we go. And we'll make it like another, let's just do like a price again, because I just keep using that as an example. But now you've got cities, price, search bar, and the button. You guys get my drift here? So you guys can completely customize this by changing the width by going to the 6 dots. So you guys can make it wider or shorter. You guys can edit the fields and filters that they use. You can enter in multiple search terms, but you also have these tabs up on top. So let's talk about those. So let's go ahead and click on the field again, the search button editor, or the search builder. And so you'll also go down to tabs. Under tabs, you'll see that we have for rent and for sale. These tabs are based on status, but I could also change them from status to city. And if I change them to city, then I could remove cities and change this to max price, for example. And then I could just search for Miami, and maybe I could put New York, and so on. And so now you can search by Miami, New York, and a max or minimum price. You guys get the idea? You can completely customize this to be whatever you want, but it's only based on city and type or status. Property type would be, things like, is it an apartment, loft, single family home? So now you can say, oh, am I looking for apartments or am I looking for single family homes, right? So that's some more tabs that you guys can do. I'm gonna go back to status and we'll just choose for rent and for sale because that's the default. But you guys get the idea. You can filter by whatever you want with tabs and with these filters on here as well, like over here on the left-hand side. And then you can also see the show all text. It just says all. I guess you can customize that if you want to say everything or all included or whatever you want to say. And you can also choose whether or not to have the all tab. So they can only search for rent or only search for sale. I personally wouldn't recommend that because sometimes people are just interested in the area and they want to see if they have anything for rent or for sale. So that's up to you guys to decide, but that is how you can edit your search bar. Now, of course, just like the contact field builder, the search builder, you can go to the style tab and you guys can change the color for everything. You've got the fields, the form, right? We can go to the tabs. We could change those tabs to be a completely different color. And I can also go over to the button and I could change my green button to be whatever color I wanted. So if you guys want to change that to be the color of your business, for example. But you guys already know you can always go to the style tab. So with all of that being said, we can click on publish to save our work. I would say from here, we can move on to the next step. After you guys customize your website, we can move into chapter 2. And of course, chapter 2 is showing you how to add items and daily work and stuff like that. So, all right, friends, in chapter 1, I showed you how to build the website, which we just completed. So now we're moving on to chapter 2, which is configuration and daily use. In this chapter, I'm going to show you guys how to use the website that you just built on a daily basis. I'm going to show you guys how to create new items daily, whether that be blog posts or new listings, agents, reviews, and so much more. Then after I show you guys how to create all those items on a daily basis, I'm going to show you guys how to configure your Houzez settings, your theme options, and your CRM board, which is for your realtors and agents to use. And then I'm finally going to show you guys how to add web-related items to the site, like new pages, new navigation links, new users, new widgets, and so forth. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the first one, which is creating items daily on your website. Let's start with showing how to create a blog post on your website. So before we actually create a post, I want to show you guys just one quick thing. Let's go over to your website. And again, you always just hover your mouse over your website name in the top left corner right here. But I always choose to right click and say open on a new tab, again, just to bounce back to my dashboard. So from here, we're going to go ahead and go to the blog on our website. Now, what I'm going to show you guys how to do is first of all, how to create one of these blog posts, which as you can see, each each one of these is a blog post. It'll say, you know, how long ago it was created, what category it's in. So I'll show you guys how to categorize your blog posts, and also how many comments or reviews right here. And obviously this isn't the entire blog post. You have to either click on read more, or you click on the title like this, which is pretty standard. And then from here, you can read through the entire blog post. And as you can see, the fake ones that come with the template are just a bunch of gibberish. It's just dummy content. And then also down below, I wanted you guys to pay attention to the tags. So as you can see, there's a bunch of tags down here. So I'm going to show you guys how to set up tags as well. And it's just another basic option for categorizing your blog posts. Obviously, you've got categories like business blog posts, investment blog posts, blah, blah, blah. But then down below, you can tag this blog post with a bunch of different tags, kind of like hashtags on Instagram. You can add tags to this and just add a bunch of tags that are based on whatever's inside of the blog post. So this one, it looks like they added apartment, business development, houses for families, houses, luxury, real estate. So basically, whenever people go into the search bar on your website and they're looking for different blog posts, if they put in one of these words like business development, this blog post might actually pop up in the search bar, is essentially what tags are doing. They just make things a little bit more easy to find. So anyways, I wanted to show you guys what the blog post page looks like. As you can see, this is what it is. I'm going to show you guys how to build these. If we go back to the blog page, I'm going to show you guys how to customize all of the widgets on your sidebar over here. So that's going to be nice, and so on. And then obviously when you guys create your website and want to make it live for everyone, you're going to want to delete all of these fake ones and create some real ones. So I just wanted to make that clear just in case it wasn't obvious. But all of these previous blog posts are all dummy text, as you can see. All of it's Latin. So just make sure you go in there and remove them. But anyways, with that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and leave the blog open on a new tab so I can kind of constantly show you guys what changes are being made. But let's jump back into the dashboard. And we're going to go over here to the posts tab. Now, creating blog posts is more of a WordPress thing rather than like a Houzez theme thing. So blog posts are going to be outside of houses and real estate because these are the two places where you're going to add a bunch of stuff for the Houzez theme. Blog posts, on the other hand, are very standard to WordPress. But anyways, go over to the post theme or the post tab right here, and we're going to go to all posts right here, which I'm going to open on a new tab. So whenever you click on all posts, you're getting a list of all of the blog posts that are on your website. And you can see over here, they're kind of broken out by author, categories, tags, date. So it's really easy to kind of find what you're looking for. You also have a search bar, like just in case you have like hundreds and hundreds of blog posts, you can search for whatever blog post you have on your website if you wanted to go in and edit it. Anyways, the first thing we're going to do is delete this Hello World blog post because as you can see, all of these blog posts are actual blog posts, like it's a full post. This one is the default one that comes with WordPress, and it's literally this long. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and delete the Hello World right here by just clicking on Move to Trash. You can also check the box and say Move to Trash if, for example, you have a bunch of different blog posts that you want to delete. You can move them all to trash just like that, but we're just going to uncheck them all, and let's go ahead and move this one to trash. And make sure you click apply so that it actually trashes it. Perfect. So right now they're ordered by title, but you guys can also click on author and categories. So right now they're organized by title, and you can have it ascending or descending by clicking this over and over again. So right now it's ascending, and now it's descending in alphabetical order for title. But you can also order them by comments and by date. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. Whenever you see the little arrows right here, that's how you guys can tell. But now I'm going to show you guys how to create a new one. So this is a list of all of the posts you have. We go to the top left corner and you'll see add new blog post. So go ahead and click on that. And so inside of the add new blog post, we're taken into a new builder, which is the WordPress blog post builder. I think it's called the Gutenberg builder, but not that it matters. So this is similar to drag and drop, kind of like Elementor. It's really easy to use, but it feels more like a Word document or like a notes page or something like that. So you guys will kind of pick up on this pretty quickly. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and add a title. Let me go ahead and refresh the page so the Hello World's out of the way. So the title is this right here. You want it to be a catchy title, kind of a hook, but we're going to create a title. So we'll try something like this: 5 ways to get a deal on your next house purchase. Okay, so now that we have our title ready to go, we can come down here and click. And the first thing that you'll notice right off the bat is you can just start typing, right? It's literally like a Word document. We just put in our title, and now I can just start typing, hit enter, keep typing, and so on, as you can see. Let me go ahead and delete all of that stuff. You'll also notice that whenever you get to a new line, it says type / to choose a block. What that means is if I were to also click on this plus button, I can choose a block. And if I click on this plus button, I can choose a block, right? Or, for example, let me just pick one. If I wanted to add an image, so if I wanted to add this image right here, I could click on it here. I could click the plus button and search for image right here. Or I could, if I don't want to leave my keyboard, if I want to keep my hands on it, I could hit / type out image, hit tab, oh, enter maybe? Well, it's not gonna work. So you have to actually move your hand, click on image, and then I can go ahead and use an image. So let's just throw a picture into this blog post. We'll pick a random one, and boom, there we go. So now we have a picture, and then we can keep typing more of our paragraphs, and then maybe you wanna hit slash again, and this time you're gonna put in a quote. So we could add a quote just like this. Well, that didn't work for some reason. Let me try that again. Let's pick a different block instead of quote. We'll go with, I don't know, another heading. And then we can type out our heading and then keep typing paragraphs underneath it. You guys get the idea. It's really, really easy to use the Gutenberg editor to go ahead and write out blog posts. I'll kind of let you guys figure it out for the most part. I just wanted to show you how to add the very basics, which is pictures and text. Obviously, anytime you hit enter, you get a new line and you can go ahead and start typing out whatever you want. If you add a title like this, then you would just hit enter again. And obviously, you would either click on the plus button or this plus button, and you would pull in a heading text, which you can drag and drop, by the way. Just like this. And so now I have another subtitle. And I could type out my subtitle and keep going, right? Let's clean this up a little bit. And so what I'm gonna do is open up this blog post, and we're actually just gonna copy it. So we'll copy all of this, Command or Control C, close out of that tab and go back into my blog post. And we're going to Control backspace all of this, even the image. There we go. So let's hit Control or Command V and paste in our fake blog post. This is how you'd want your blog post to actually look if you were gonna post one on your website. Now, I've got videos on the channel that talk about how to create blog posts and blog websites to make them look like a very professional fashion. But for now, I'm kind of going fast just so that the tutorial doesn't take too long. But to give you guys a general understanding, anytime you Google anything, you're probably looking at a blog. Like, I don't know, how to ride a skateboard. How to ride a skateboard. And let's just click on a random one. WikiHow is a fantastic example of a blog website. You'll see that they usually have a heading text with a bunch of body text as well as some bullet points, and then a picture. And then next, you'll have title, like a heading text, and then body text is all of this with some bullet points or something like that. And you'll see that that's pretty much what we have here. We have a bit of an intro paragraph right here. Next, we have our first title, and then a paragraph with some information. And then we have our next title with our paragraph and information, as well as some bullet points. You guys get the idea. That's kind of the standard format for a blog post, is you have some subheadings underneath the main heading, which is your H1, I suppose, for the blog post. But anyways, that is how you guys can create blog posts inside of your WordPress website. Again, you guys can also enter in videos, because sometimes you want a video in your blog post. Same thing, you can hit slash and type out video, just like this. And then you can upload or insert from a URL. So either you have a video on your computer that you want to upload, or you could insert a URL and put in a YouTube video, for example. And I'll let you guys do that however you want. Now, anytime you want to remove an object, you can click on it like this. Click on the 3 dots right here, and then you can click on delete. And that's how you can remove an object. So if I want to remove this picture, I can click on the 3 dots and say delete. You also have options like bold, what is this, italic, kind of looks like a slash for some, it didn't look like an I to me. Your regular Microsoft Word options, I could change this text to be centered if I want to. So align to the center, align to the right, align to the left. I can bold the entire paragraph if I want to, just like this. Italicize it. You can also use AI, which is really cool. So Element with AI right there. But you can also use ChatGPT. It's whatever you guys want to do. Next, you can see what type of object it is, and I can transform this text into a heading, for example. And now it's the same format as this heading up here. But let's go ahead and change that back to a paragraph text. But you can basically transfer it into anything, like a quote, a list, or something like that. These 6 dots are just for you to be able to drag it if you want to reposition it somewhere, just like this. And then the arrows are for you to make a quick jump. So if I want it to go below the next object, I just hit the down arrow and now it's below the next object. And then you can also click on the little caret icon and you have a whole bunch of other options. Very, very similar to Microsoft Word. You can superscript, subscript, strike through, inline code, highlight, whatever you want to do. But anyways, that's about the basics of creating a blog post for your website. Personally, I don't like having all of these 3 images. I think they look bad side or top and bottom like this. So I'm going to go ahead and just add 1, just like this. And we're going to go ahead and make it full width, just like that. Wow, that is too small of an image. So let's delete it. Hit enter/image. There we go. And we'll just pick one from our media library as an example. So something like this. And that way we have a little bit of a better picture. So I wanted to show you guys, a basic blog post and have a good example that we can kind of keep bouncing back to. Let's see, what is this? I don't know what that is, and I'm just gonna delete it. So 3 dots and click on delete. So I think our blog post is looking good. Next, you have some settings on the right-hand side. First of all, whenever you click on something, you've got the block settings. And then you have the entire blog post settings. So the block is like the individual object that you're working on, which is this block right here of text. I can change the color of the text and change the background. So if I wanted to like highlight the background with like gray or something like that, I totally can, for example. You can do a gradient as well. And you can also change the text color if you want to. So that gives you guys a pretty good idea of how you can change the text color. And you can also change the typography right here by doing a custom size, or you can just use small, medium, or large. And I'm not going to go into the advanced settings for now. So that is basically how you're going to use your blog posts. And then we can also go to the blog post settings, which is for the entire page that we're building right here. The most important one that we want to go to is the featured image, which is right up here at the top. With different WordPress themes, sometimes your featured image will be down here or way down at the bottom. It looks like Houzez theme has it way up here at the top. So the featured image, by the way, is the image that's going to display whenever it's on your entire archive of all your blog posts. So when you're looking at all of the blog posts like this, the picture that displays is your featured image. So that's what we're going to be choosing right now. So when we select our featured image, we can either, again, upload it from our computer like this, or we can go to the media library. And I think I'll pick this one because I think that's such a good picture with the island in the background. We'll click on Set Featured Image. And as you can see, it has been set as our featured image. And now, when you're finally done, we can focus on categories and tags. And once we're done with categories and tags, we can go up here and actually click on Publish. Because right now, we can just save it as a draft. So first, let's talk about categories. Whenever you add a new category, it'll be added to this list, and it's really easy to do. You can just click on Add New Category and say something like, I don't know, we already have real estate, marketing, construction, and business. Let's talk about finance, I guess. Financing, so something like this. And then maybe as a parent category, we could do business. So what parent category means is financing is going to be a subcategory of business. So if I hit Add New Category, you'll see that it's indented right here because inside of business, we have financing, and then maybe we have licensing, all of this stuff, right? But if we create one just right off the bat without a parent category, it'll be one of these main items, if that makes any sense. So I could also, well, I wanted to do financing, but let's just do something else. Let me think of something. Let's just do something like investing, for example. So now we have a new category we can add. And now, as you can see, investing is going to be one of the main categories. So by the way, that's how you add categories. And you also can check multiple categories because maybe this blog post talks about investing and financing. So maybe I want to have it in both of these two categories. And this just means that whenever people are looking at the different categories on your blog, they can look for more specific blog posts to what they're looking for. It's pretty self-explanatory. But anyways, let's go ahead and just throw this into the business category, for example, because I'm actually going to delete these two because there's no posts inside of them. But that's how you guys can add a blog post to a category. Next, we have tags, which if you guys remember, whenever we clicked on it, we've already done the category, but down below we have tags, which make it easily findable, I guess, for lack of better words. But under tags, we could add things like, this is how to get deals on your next house purchase. So we can maybe do purchases. We could do, deals. We could do like hacks or secrets to real estate. You know what I mean? Maybe inside of the blog post, we're talking about this is like a hack to get a better price on your house, or this is a secret to get a better price on your house. You'd want to pay attention to your titles and to what your titles are talking about. And this is kind of what you would include in your tags. And you want your tags to obviously be relevant to whatever the blog post is about. Anyways, once you're finally done making all of those changes, you're ready to publish your blog post. And so in order to publish, we go up here to the top, we click on Publish, and lastly, you click on Publish again. So now we can view the post. If we click on View Post, it's going to open up the blog post that we just created. So 5 ways to get a deal on your next house purchase. And you'll see here's our featured image. It always displays first. And you'll see that it was created 4 seconds ago. It's in the business category, which is what we put it into. And by the way, if people click on the business category, now they'll see all the blog posts that are inside of the business category, which is pretty cool. Let's go back. We can scroll on down to the bottom and see the tags that we just put in as well. So that's pretty cool. So that's how you create a blog post on your website. It's really easy to do. Anyone can do it, and I'll let you guys kind of play around with that on your own. So next, let's talk about some blog settings. We'll talk about overall blog settings first, and then I'm going to show you guys how to customize the widgets that are over here inside of your sidebar over here. So first of all, let's close out of this, and I will leave our blog up just so we can see the settings that we're doing. Let's jump back into our WordPress dashboard. So from here, first of all, under posts, you can also see categories and tags, and you can add or delete tags and add or delete categories. So really fast, let me just go ahead and delete the financing and investing that I created, and we'll go to bulk actions and say delete. Okay, that only took a second, but now we have deleted those 2 categories right here. And all I did was just refresh the page and cleared my browser history and then refreshed again. Sometimes that's all it takes when a error happens. But anyways, so that's how you guys do the categories and tags right there. So we can close out. Now, if you want to customize how your blog looks, we're going to have to go into the theme options right here, which later on in the video, I think inside of chapter 2, I think it's like step number 3, I'm going to go through every single one of these, or at least the ones that are pretty relevant to you, which is going to take a while. One of them is the blog right here, as you can see. We're just going to go straight to blog because we're talking about the blog right now. So we're going to kind of skip around, I guess. But let's click on, you can hover your mouse over it, and let's click on blog. And I accidentally got rid of my dashboard, so you're going to see me open up my dashboard really fast, just so I have a second one to bounce back to if I need to. Okay, the first thing I want to mention, and I'm also going to mention this in the next step when we actually cover the theme options, you'll probably see all of these options that you have on the left-hand side, and you'll see all of these options. Don't freak out, don't get overwhelmed. They're the exact same. I don't know why Houzez does this. It's like a weird glitch, but, you know, I'm not going to question it, but you see general, translation, logos, headers, top bar. They're identical. So if I click on general right here, it'll take me to the general tab, right? And then if I click on general right here, it's going to take me to the same general tab. They're identical. That being the case, let's go back down to the blog. You can click here, or you can hover and click here. All three of them are going to take you to the blog section right here. Okay, so first we have the page layout, and you'll see that we've got content with a sidebar on the left and content with the sidebar on the right. Right now we have the sidebar on the right-hand side of our website, but if I were to select the left-hand side, it would just move all of this sidebar content over here to the left-hand side and shift everything over. So that's all this one does. Next, we have the single post layout. So for example, this is the blog archive page. If I click on a single post, do I want this sidebar on the right or on the left? And so I have on the right and on the left. And then this one just makes it full screen and there's no sidebar. So you guys can decide your layout for the single post layout. Next, we have the Masonry blog template. So number of posts to display on the Masonry blog pages. So right now we're showing 12 blog posts. Now, really quickly, I don't remember how many blog posts we actually have. So if we go over here to the posts tab, there it is, post tab right here, and we go to all posts on a new tab, we can see that we have 13 blog posts on our website. That's 13 total blog posts, right? So if we go back into those settings, you'll see that we have 12 visible. So that means that we have one more on a page that we can't see. So if I go back to blog, scroll on down, all the way down, you'll see that I have a page 2 and there should only be 1. Well, it looks like there's 3 more. Interesting. So we're showing more than 12, I suppose, even though we have 13 total. That's kind of what I was expecting, but you can choose how many blog posts are being shown on the page, and you guys can reduce or add to this number, depending on what you want. I'll let you guys decide that on your own. But anyways, let's go ahead and refresh the blog page. Next, we have the featured image, and so this is just enabling or disabling all of these featured images on your archive page. So for example, I can disable it like this, go up here and save my changes. We might have to do a clear on the cache, but let's refresh the page and see what happens. Yep, okay, perfect. So now as you can see, it's a lot more boring, but we can see all of the blog posts and there's no featured images. So that's what that one does. Let's go ahead and enable it and save the changes. I personally think it looks 10 times better with the featured images. Yeah, it's a lot more easy on the eyes. But if you were looking to save space and condense your blog posts or more of them into one page, you might want to remove those. So that's the featured image. You can also choose if you want to display the post date, the author, tags, and the author box. And then we also have next or previous post. Like if you're looking at one, there will be a little next button at the very bottom, and then related posts, which are at the bottom. So I'll show you these two right now. These are pretty obvious. Like, do you want to show the date? So if you're looking here, do you want to show this date right here or this one? So this was made 8 years ago. Do you guys want to show the date? Do you want to show the author? Which whenever you click on one, it'll show the author. See, is it at the bottom, I think? Yeah. Here's the author box, which it was created by me because that's the account that I'm logged into, as you can see. So that's why it thinks that's my name. But whatever you change your WordPress account name to, that's what's going to display here. Which, by the way, if you want to change this, you can go ahead and hover your mouse right here and say Edit Profile. This is the profile for my admin account right here. So it's pulling my username. I could change it to be my first and last name. So let's just say Levi Hagen. And then let's change my nickname to be something like Levi H, right? And so after we enter in your name and your nickname, right here, display your name publicly as, you can literally pick out of all of these variations, whether you want to use a username, first name, last name, nickname, you can choose from all these. So if I want to use my nickname, which is Levi H, I could totally use Levi H. Now it's going to display here as Levi H, and let's click on Save Changes at the bottom. or update profile, for example. And now when I refresh the page, let's see if it changes. Yes, it does. So now it says Levi H created it because that's my WordPress account that it's pulling from. And again, I'm going to show you guys literally in like 1 or 2 steps next how to create WordPress accounts. So that way you guys can create accounts for all your realtors. So whoever's creating your blog posts, it'll say their name right here. So anyways, we can also enable or disable that. So post author box, we can literally enable or disable it. Same right here, is it displayed on a single post page. Then we also have the tags, so I could turn these off at the bottom and they won't display right here. And okay, so lastly, we have next previous post button, which you'll see right here we go. So we've got previous post. I had to find it in all of this gibberish down here. So we've got the previous post and the next post right here. So next post is this, 5 ways to get on the next deal. And then 10 things for your competitors is the previous post. You can disable this right here and it won't recommend new posts to people. And then lastly, you have related posts. So if you're looking at a blog post, you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see these related posts right here. So you can basically disable this box and it's just going to disappear and move the discussion box right up. So you guys can decide what you want to enable or disable. Once you guys are done making changes, you just click on Save Changes again, and we can close out of that Options tab, and I'm just going to open up the blog again. Okay, so we've already talked about how to create blog posts. We've talked about how to customize your blog, where you want your sidebar, on the single page, what parts of the blog post you want to display, right? Lastly, we can talk about how to customize the actual widgets that are over here in your sidebar. So the way that you do that is we're going to go over here to the Customize tab, and we can open up on a new tab. Or if you're in your WordPress dashboard, you can go to Appearance and then click on Customize right here. All right, so we're going to go over to the Widgets tab. Now, there's 2 ways of editing this. Sometimes I'll edit it here, and sometimes I'll do it inside of my WordPress dashboard. It's the exact same thing. It's just the interface looks different. So right now I'm editing the widgets. I've got default sidebar, mobile menu, footer 1, footer 2, footer 3. We can close out of that tab, and we can go to Appearance and actually click on Widgets right here instead of Customize. And you'll notice it's the exact same thing. Close out of this. It's a little bit easier to edit inside of here, by the way, so I'm going to be doing it inside of the Appearance tab. I just wanted to show you there's 2 ways of editing it, but if I reduce the caret, you'll see that I have default sidebar, property, search, single property, and all of that stuff. There's actually a few more in here, so my recommendation would be to go to the Appearance tab right here. Anyways, if you want to edit your default sidebar, which is what this is right here, you'll notice that we have the search bar, recent posts, recent comments, right, and so on. We go in here, we've got the search bar right here, recent posts, recent comments, and so on. Customizing your default sidebar is going to be very similar to adding a blog post to your website. You'll notice that we have basically the same options over here, and whenever I click on an object, you'll see that a similar bar appears where I have the 3 dots to hit delete. I have the up and down arrows, if you guys remember. I have the same 6 dots to drag and drop. It's very similar. It's the same Gutenberg builder, but this time we're building widgets instead of a blog post. So that being the case, anytime you want to add or remove something, you just click on it. You can click on the 6 dots right here and say remove. So instead of using that vague search bar, we can scroll down here, and at the very bottom, it has blog search. So it's not at the bottom, it's like 3 down. I'm going to click on blog search, and you'll notice that whenever you click on an object, it usually changes its look. So if I click on calendar, it's going to look like this now. You're basically, whenever you click on it, you're looking at the back end, essentially where I can basically change the title. That's pretty much it. But we're just going to click on the up arrows, or you could drag it, whatever you want to do. Let's move the blog search to the very top. So now the first thing that they have is the blog search. We can update to save our work. And if I go over here, refresh the page, you'll see that now instead of that blog or that random search, we have a blog search. And now they can search inside of the blog to find blog posts, right? We have recent posts, which isn't bad. We could click on, so recent posts actually is just a heading widget, as you can see. So it's kind of like creating a blog post where you can actually start typing. Like watch this, if I hit enter, I can literally just start typing right here. And if I hit update, you'll see it over here on this page. So if I refresh, yeah, now there's text right here, as you can see. We literally are just building a blog post, but instead of using text and pictures, we're using widgets. So I just wanted to clear that up for you guys. But I'm going to click on these 3 dots and say delete. So if you want to change recent posts, you can have it say something else, but then you click on this widget right here, and you'll see that this block is called latest posts. We can decide what's being displayed. So if we want post content to be displayed, we can have the text show up, and you probably want to do X script. Maybe reduce the number of words down to like 26 or something like that, so you have less in your sidebar, because the sidebar should be pretty small, but we can remove that. We can do post data. So, or post meta, which is like you can put the author name so it says who it's by, the post date as well. We could do the featured images in here, but then it gets way too long inside of your little sidebar, so I wouldn't do that. But you could also change the resolution, which I wouldn't really personally change past thumbnail because it's, again, in the sidebar. The sidebar really doesn't have any business showing images like that. We can also change the sorting. So we have latest posts, but maybe we want to change it from A to Z instead. And we could say organized post from A to Z or alphabetical posts or whatever you want. You guys can kind of customize this section however you want. Next, we have recent comments. Again, it's just a heading text. So you guys can type whatever you want here. But obviously you want the title to match the widget that's below it. But we have the recent comments and we can see all of these comments that are obviously default comments on our website, which by the way, if you want to edit the comments, you can go over here to the left-hand side and you'll see comments right here. We can open that on a new tab. These are all default, as you can see, it's from favethemes.com. These are all like default comments that they just left with dummy text, just so that your website is full and you can see what everything looks like. When you want this website to go live and you're done building it, you probably want to hit the checkbox to select all of them and delete them just like that. But for now, I just wanted to show you that's where you would do it. So anyways, that's how you guys can modify comments right here. You can basically add or delete them. Adding them, you have to go into your website and actually add them at the bottom of blog post. So you have to, join the discussion. You have to add a comment right here, hit submit. Here, let me just do one real fast. Hello, this is Levi, submit. All right, so now I submitted a comment, which is not gonna be visible. Well, it is right now. We can change that setting later, but you'll see inside of my WordPress dashboard, if I go to comments really fast, you'll see that right here, we have Levi H. Here's the comment that they left. This is kind of your moderating comments section because you can unapprove it and it will remove it from your website so people can't see it. Or you can trash it, whatever you want to do. I'll just trash this one, for example. But you can unapprove whatever comment you want. So if someone leaves something that's a little bit rude or it's just inaccurate or something like that, you can unapprove it and it won't be displayed underneath blog posts like this. But anyways, that's where the comments are. And inside of your sidebar, I don't know if you really need to have most recent comments. That kind of feels weird to have in a sidebar. Mostly your sidebar just needs to be navigation stuff or kind of advertising other posts. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. But we have the topics tab right here and you can show post counts, show hierarchy, display as a dropdown, right? So right now topics looks like this. Let's go over here. Topics is just categories. So instead you could change topics to categories just like this. We could click on update to save our work, refresh the page. And so now instead of saying topics, it says, here we go, post categories. So now they know if they're looking for blog posts, they can look through categories. So they could say, ooh, I want to only see construction blog posts. And so I can learn, all about construction. Or maybe I only want to talk about, where is it? Real estate. So here's all the real estate blog posts. I think that's pretty important to have in your blog posts, navigation or sidebar menu right here. So I'm going to leave it and I actually might move this. So let's click on it. I might move this one above recent posts. So they can search and they can also look at categories. This calendar right here, you can have it in here, but I think it's kind of unnecessary inside of your sidebar. So I'm just going to remove it. We have archives so they can see all of the blog posts from 2024, 2016, 2016. This just shows by date instead of by category. You can see all the blog posts that were written at this time or this time or this time, right? Again, recent comments. I'm just going to remove this one because I don't think they really care to see comments. And tags as well, I don't really think are that big of a deal, but you can leave them in your sidebar if you want to. But you'll notice anytime you click on something like post categories, you can say display as a drop down, for example. You can kind of change some settings in the background once you click on it. And now instead, when they look at it, let me just show you. Refresh. Instead of just having them, you have to click on the drop down and select which one, which I don't think looks very good. It's better to just have the categories out there. So uncheck that. You can also show hierarchy if you want to. So if there's like subcategories, you can have them, but I'm going to leave that box unchecked. So anyways, that is how you can customize the widgets inside of your blog sidebar right here. So now you'll see we have a much cleaner sidebar. We have blog search, post categories, which, I forgot to refresh the page. Hit the refresh button. There we go. So we've got blog search, post categories right here. They can see the most recent posts that we just put out. It looks like we have a little bit of a blank section, so I'll go delete that. And then we have archives, so if they want to search by date. I think that's pretty clean and neat, and it still has a bunch of useful navigation stuff inside of it. Let's see, where is it? This blank one right here, we can just remove. There we go. And then click on update. There was that little blank dotted square right here. I just removed it. And so now if I refresh, this little guy should be gone. There it is. Perfect. So that's how you can customize your navigation or your sidebar on the right-hand side. I say navigation because it does really just help you navigate the blog, but it's technically not navigation, it's the sidebar, but you guys know what I mean. Anyways, now that we're done with the blog, I'm going to return to the WordPress dashboard. All right, with the blog out of the way, let's now talk about creating categories of every kind when it comes to creating a listing. When you think about creating a listing, think about all of the information that you need to input about the house, and that's going to be coming from MLS. You need to have categories on your website to break up each listing and organize it by property type, sales status, features included with the home, location, agent in charge, and so much more. So let's start by creating those categories one by one. So again, from your WordPress dashboard, we're going to go over to the real estate tab. Now under the real estate tab, the very next thing we're going to do is create a listing. But before we can create a listing, we have to have all of our categories in order. So we're going to skip below these two and go straight to type. From type all the way down to reviews, I'm going to show you guys what each one of these do, and each one of them is a category. Right? So under real estate, we're creating categories and properties like listings. Houses is where all of your settings are going to be. And this is actually the very next step inside of this chapter. But right now we're on the real estate step. So let's talk about these. First, we're going to go to the types page. So just click on it or open it on a new tab like I do. So under type, it's very self-explanatory. You'll see over here on the right-hand side, we've got villa, single family home, loft, apartment. You guys can create whatever type you want over here. Maybe instead of single family home, you can do, I don't know, mansion like this. Slug would be the same thing, but just lowercase, just like this. So mansion. And then parent category, we'll do that in a second. Similar to creating categories, if you do a parent category, maybe mansion would be under, you know, well, there isn't one. Okay. I'll show you guys in a second, but we have mansion, no parent category. You can add a little description if you want to. So this is for houses over a certain number of square footage or something like that, whatever the qualification is to be a mansion. And then from there, you can just click on add new type. Perfect. So now we have mansion as a type. Now, when we have our website open and we go over here to for sale, for example, and let's just pick a random property, you'll see that the type of this property is a single family home. Right? I can click on the back button. Let's see. So this is a single family home. This one is an apartment. This is a villa right over here. Another villa, Let's see, apartment, single family home. You guys get the idea. So the first thing that we're doing is creating what type of home is it? Is it a single family home? Is it a mansion, an apartment, those kinds of things. I'll let you guys decide what you're going to put in here because it really just depends on what kind of properties you're going to be selling. But whenever you create types, regardless of what they are, they're going to always appear right here underneath the icons. And whenever you're on an actual property, they're always going to display in this first little box right here on the left-hand side. So those are your property types. Let's go ahead and move on now that we've created one. Oh, I can also create like sub ones. So let's just say small mansion, for example. This would be small dash mansion with all lowercase, by the way. So a slug is basically the same thing as the name, but with no caps and no spaces. So every space is a dash because your slug is what's going to appear in the URL. So whenever we go to small mansions as a category, you'll see capwrealestate.com/ small dash mansion, for example. Anyways, the parent could be mansions. We could add a description and then say add new type. And you'll see that now small mansions are underneath mansions. There you go. That's just to show you guys how to do them. We can delete this if we want to, and we can also delete mansion, for example, because there's no properties underneath it. But you'll also see a count of how many properties are under each type. So you can see, oh, I have 11 single family homes. I have 10 villas. I only have one loft, but I have 30 apartments. So you guys also get a count of them all over here. Okay, so that is type. We'll go back to the real estate tab, and next we have status. And status is basically, is it for rent, for sale? Is it a foreclosure? As you can see over here, is it a new construction, new listing, open house, reduced price, resale? I feel like this kind of covers everything. The Houzez theme is pretty good about having all the demo content ready to go. But if you guys want to create one, it is the exact same process. Let's just say for rent didn't exist. I would say for rent. I would say for dash rent with no caps, no dash, or no space, I mean. You could maybe say under for rent, you can make a smaller one if you wanted to and make a subcategory, but that's your parent content. And then you have your description right here. Once you're done creating it, you would say add new status. And by the way, those statuses are also what you're using on your search bar at the very top, which we still need to fix this. So I'll get around to doing that in a second. But if we go back to our homepage, you'll see that these are the statuses right here. We could add more statuses if we want to. But anyways, we also have for rent and for sale right here. We could add a new page. We could do foreclosures, for example, and that would be really easy to do. And I might do that for you guys in a little bit when we get to the how to add pages and how to add navigation links. But for now, that is how you guys can at least add new statuses. Not that I think you would need to though, because they're kind of all encompassing here. But anyways, we can go ahead and move on. So from real estate, we have type, status, we have features, which features are going to appear as these little icons down below right here. So we can go over here to real estate and go to features. And you'll see that we have a ton of them. Air conditioning, barbecue, dryer, gym, laundry, lawn. We have sauna, refrigerator. You guys can create as many as you can think of in here. And once you guys create all of them in here, that's what's going to appear. Actually, it's not these icons right here. I apologize. I misspoke. Let me open up this property on a new tab. That's going to appear right here. You'll see that we have, features right here. I keep getting confused. Click on the back button here. This is under features right here, and you can see that this house has a lawn, air conditioning, it's got a barbecue included with the house, a refrigerator included, and all of that stuff. Now, these are also links, which is really cool because whenever you create these features, you have these counts where, 52 of my properties have air conditioning, all of these. You can actually search by features too. That's the coolest thing. So if I want to only find houses that have air conditioning, I can click on that. And now these are only houses that have air conditioning. I have 30 apartments that have air conditioning. I have 10 villas, 11 homes, and 1 loft. But as you can see, all of the properties have all of the features. Over here on the right hand side, they all say 52, but you can decide which ones have what features. And again, when we're creating listings, I'll show you guys where you can add all of these. I'm just showing you where you can add more. For example, what if you have a hot tub? There's a sauna. I don't think I see hot tub in here. We could go ahead and create one called hot tub. So we got hot tub, create a slug. We could create a parent category if maybe there's specific types of hot tubs, for example, do a description, and then we can click on add new feature right here. So now we have hot tubs, and I can click on go to this property. Which property do we want to add this to? Well, you know what? I don't really have to add it to a property right now, but that's just how you can add the actual feature, because I'm going to show you guys how to actually add hot tub to a property in just a little bit. The goal right now is just to show you guys each one of these and how to add new ones. So anyways, that was features. So next we have labels. So when you click on labels, there's none created right now. But I'm going to show you guys, again, creating them right here on the left-hand side is the exact same as everything else. So that being the case, labels are going to display up here, for example. Let me refresh this page. They're going to show up right here. So for sale is one of the labels that pops up, but you guys can create new labels, something like reduced price or on sale or featured property or something like that. You'll see they also pop up over here on the left-hand side. Just another way of categorizing your properties. So for example, we could do something like reduced price. You guys can enter in the slug. Sometimes it'll actually do it automatically depending on the WordPress theme. So let's see if it does it automatically. Let's just click on add new label. And then if I click on it, yeah, it automatically does it for you, which is really nice. So let's click on back. So we've got reduced price. We could also create another one like hot sale. We could create another one like featured. So we have all of these labels that we can apply. And then all we have to do, if we want to apply one of these to anything, you can, oops, not quick edit. You can go over here to the houses, the real estate tab again, go to properties. And what you have to do is actually add it to one of these properties. So again, all I'm doing is showing you guys how to create them. But just as an example to show you guys where these actually go, let me just go ahead and edit this property really fast. And from here, you'll scroll all the way down. It's over here on the right-hand side. There it is, labels. So now I can apply a, let's just say maybe featured right here and click on save. And then I'll close out of this property really fast. We'll refresh the page. You'll see that now luxury family home says featured right here. And you'll also see whenever I'm looking at the actual pages here, if I refresh the page, it'll say, yo, the luxury family home is a featured property. So they can click on this property and go, wow, I wonder why it's featured, and see all the pricing and everything. They can also literally click on featured and see all of the properties that are featured, which is pretty cool. Or maybe they want to see all of the hot sale prices or something like that. So again, it's just another way of organizing your content, which, by the way, what this is actually your Google Maps widget up here, but it's broken because we don't have the API keys. That's going to be the last step in this entire tutorial, is how to hook up your Google Maps to your Google Maps account, which you have to go and create and then download your API keys. So we're going to be fixing this at the very end of the video, so just kind of keep ignoring it like it's not even there. But anyways, under labels, we've already created these, so we're good to go. We can go back to the real estate tab, and now we have country, state, and city. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know why you would use country. If you're a real estate agent, you're kind of supposed to be the expert in your area. So they want to ask you questions like, hey, what's it like here? What are the schools like here? What's the culture like here? All those kinds of things. You're not really selling properties in different countries. But humor me, I'm just going to show you guys, you can create countries. So if you want to say, you're selling properties in this country and that country, it's the exact same process. It'll list out categories here, and then on your properties, you'll be able to see countries, which is really easy to do. So I don't think you're going to do countries. I'm going to close that tab, but instead of country, you'll probably do state, depending on if you work for a really big broker or something like that. Maybe you've got different realtors in different states, maybe different cities. Again, very self-explanatory. You go to state and you can create different states. So you could say Texas, for example, and then all of the properties in Texas, I would add them to this state, and then people can search by state. That's literally how it is. It's that simple. Exact same thing with city. So I could go over here to city, which it looks like they already have Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, and New York. So I might as well put in Austin for Austin, Texas. And let's see, yeah. So right down here, which state has this city? I could say Texas has Austin. So we could click on add new city. And then you'll see what state is where that city is, which it looks like they actually didn't put all of the states for all of this, which you can go in and do if you want to. But that's how you would do it, is a little drop down that comes right here in the city tab. Anyways, we'll go to real estate. We've already done city. You also have area, so you can do different areas in specific cities. So as you can see, it's just further breaking it down. So like maybe in Austin, I was going to do like the Onion Creek area, or I could do like of course, now that I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head, I can't even think of any areas. Oak Hill is one of the areas in South Austin, just examples of that. So as you can see, they have Albany Park, Andersonville, Beverly. They have all these areas inside of a city. And so again, you would create one, let's just say Oak Hill, inside of Austin, and I would say, not parent category, I would say, which area is this city? It's going to be in Austin. Add new area. And so now you'll see Oak Hill is inside of Austin, and you can have properties inside of Oak Hill. So again, just further categorization of your properties. We'll go back into real estate. We've all the way gotten down to area. So now we have agencies and agents. So these aren't necessarily categories, even though technically they are. You're creating categories for people to be able to search by agent or by agency. But let me just show you guys again. You can literally create agencies and you can create agents. And we're just going to keep going down the list. So let's add a new agency, which is a little bit more complicated, as you can see, than just creating categories for your property listings. But we have to create agencies so that when we actually do create new properties, one of the things that we're going to insert into a listing is who's the agency that's selling it. So first of all, you can put in the agency title right here. So let's just say like Levi Hagen Agency. So it's Levi Hagen Agency. You could also put in a little subtitle right here if you want to, but you really only need the title. Once you finish the title, we can go over here and set a featured image for Levi Hagen Agency. I'll just pick this one again because I really like that picture for some reason. So this would be like the picture of the agency, whether it be their logo with a cool background or something. It's just the featured image. So you guys can create that yourselves. Next over here, underneath your title, you have all of the information for the agency. And most of it is just going to be information that says what their specialty is, how to contact them, and where they are. That's basically all it is. Don't let all of this try and stress you out. Just go over here and put in your email. For the agency, you can put your service area. So you could just say the Austin area, or maybe you say Oak Hill, for example. So we service the Oak Hill area, or you could literally just say the Austin area, Austin, Texas area. It's just going to display as a word. This isn't like an actual category title. You could put in the mobile number of whoever is going to be under the Levi Hagen Agency. You can also put the line ID, which I think the line ID is like 6 letters back to back to back for each agency. They all have like a 6-letter line ID or agency ID. So let's just put in a fake one, just like that. There we go. So this is the agency ID for your agency. We could put in the official phone number for the agency, which I'd probably put in a phone number rather than a mobile number. So you can put in your agency number. So 555-555-5555. And we can put in parentheses if we really want to be correct format here. There we go. You can also explain what languages you speak, Spanish. For example, I speak very little Spanish, but we're just going to put it on there and pretend that I speak Spanish fluently. You're going to want to put in your tax number, your EIN number, I think, or whatever it is, but you want to put your tax number for your agency here. You can also put in the address where your agency is, 55555 for the zip code. I don't know. So you can put in your address right here. You can put in your Twitter URL, Google URL, TikTok, Pinterest, Zillow, what else? WhatsApp, Telegram. You can have a fax phone number right here. The fax number is not a phone number, but a fax number right here. You can put in your license right here, your agency license, your website, like your special agency website, because obviously we're building a real estate website that can have multiple agencies. Well, Levi Hagen Agency might have their own website. So you can put the URL right here. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Vimeo, however you say that. Realtor.com URL, which is kind of a good one. But the rest of this, after you just put in like your contact info and your address and stuff like that, is just links to all of your socials. That's all it is. The only thing that you want to also put in is your specialties. So once you guys put in your specialties, you guys are good to go. You can come over here to publish and then click publish again. And now we have our first agency on our website. So we can go to our website. We can go to the homepage for now. Well, we're not even going to be able to find it because we don't have anything for, well, we can go agents. Do we have agencies on the right-hand side? No, we don't. Okay, we're going to have to go to agencies. So let's go over here to our WordPress. We'll go to real estate, agencies right here, because we've already published this one so we can close out of it. And now we can see all of the agencies on our website. So I can click on view. And now you'll see that this is the Levi Hagen Agency. They're at this address. We can see all the reviews that people leave down below. because people can leave reviews right here. But we'll see that they service the Austin area. We can email them or call them based on whatever app you have installed on your computer, whether that be FaceTime or Zoom or Skype or however you want to do it. But they can also send an email, which will automatically use the email that we have. We can see about the agency, which would be that description paragraph that I didn't put anything in, so cool. And then we can also see the languages that we have. And then under the Levi Hagen agency, we also have listings and agents. So let me show you guys how to add agents to an agency. And then when we create listings, I will add a listing to my agency. And then you'll be able to see people can go by agency and they can go, ooh, I want to see the agents they have. And then they can find Levi and they'll go, ooh, I like Levi. Let's see what properties he's selling. Or they'll be like, hey, I just want to see all the listings underneath the Hagen agency, which obviously there's none right now. So anyways, and then you also have this little box where it shows the address, which doesn't exist. So that's why Google is a little confused. And then you'll also see the phone number and email right here. Anyways, oh, and then also you can also find Levi Hagen Agency on all of those links, like the Google, TikTok, YouTube, Vimeo, all that stuff is going to display down here as icons. So actually, if I just put in a hashtag for all of those, let's go back to agencies real fast. And I can quick edit. Okay, quick edit's not going to do it. I have to edit it. If I just put in a hashtag for all of those, so let's go X, Google, TikTok, Pinterest, Zillow, WhatsApp, Telegram, let's go LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Vimeo, and Realtor. Save. Now if I go back and refresh the page, you'll see I have all of my social icons available. And then when they click on it, notice my URL right here. There's just going to be a hashtag at the end if I click on this. Yeah, it's just going to add a hashtag because it would just do my address / the actual address. It would redirect to the correct. So anyways, it's not going to work right now because obviously we just put hashtags and everything, which is just a URL placeholder. But you get the gist. Once you add your icons, they display. Super simple. Anyways, that being the case, why don't we go ahead and add an agent over here under real estate? We'll add an agent to my agency. So next, whenever you click on agents over here on the left-hand side, you'll get a list of all of the real estate agents that you have. And so we've got Brittany, Michelle, Samuel, and Vincent. We can click on each one of them and edit the agent profile, all of their information and all of that stuff. Very, very similar. And obviously they have a description. So let me just copy that and I'll use it on mine. Actually, I can also go ahead and just throw it into agency really fast. I'm kind of going fast, but I just want to show you guys what it would look like. You just paste it into that paragraph and click on save. Whenever I refresh the page, I now have a description paragraph. So that's where that goes, by the way. But anyways, we were editing Brittany. That's how you guys can edit them. And then instead of editing, we can create a new one by clicking on add new in the top left corner. And so we'll say this is Levi Hagen. We'll say Levi Hagen has been in the industry for over a decade. He does this, this, and this. He's really good looking and he sells houses really well. You should use him. That's going to be my my little paragraph there. You can also add a short description. Let's just do this and then cut it in half, I guess, just for fun, for funsies. We could add in my email address and then we can do the service area, which again is not an actual category link. It's just text. Similar to my agency, it says that I serve Austin. It's just text. There's no button. I can't click on it. So you don't have to use a category from inside of your website. We can add your position. So let's just say senior realtor. I don't know. My license number, and then we can add in my phone number, and then we can add in my line ID again. We can do the office number, language, and then you have all of the links as well as specialties over here on the right-hand side. It's very similar stuff to creating an agency, except for you have to actually add which agency you're going to be in. So over here under the agents tab, not block, but agent, you'll see under agencies right here, I have to select which agency, which we only have one right now. So just click on Levi Hagen agency, and now it's good to go. But let me just go ahead and put in some hashtags really fast. So let's go with shift. Hashtag, 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 hashtag. Okay, so specialties, you can put in your specialties, your company name, tax number. We'll put in some more hashtags here. Oop, not the fax number. Put in the address. I'm being a little lazy and kind of just going really fast here. You could put in the specific agent. Maybe they have their own personal business website, so you could put that in here, and you guys get the rest. Set a featured image, which is going to be the picture of the actual agent, by the way. So I'm just going to use this guy for now because, well, let's use this guy. He's better looking. So I'm going to be this guy again. We'll click on select featured image, and the featured image is going to actually be the real estate portrait. So click publish to save, publish it live, and we can view the agent. And so now when we view, you'll see that there's my featured image. Let's just pretend that's me. That's definitely not me. I'm definitely better looking, but you know. We've got my name right here. We can see all the reviews again. I'm a senior realtor. There's my title. I've got the service area, email and phone number right there. There's my about paragraph right here. And then scrolling down even further, we have my contact info again, all of my socials, and you guys get the idea. Okay, so now that we have an agent, we can go back to the agency, refresh the page, and you'll see that now agents is 1. So now under the Levi Hagen agency, we have 1 agent. And I could click on that agent, and then I could scroll down a little bit more if it would stop glitching. There we go. And I could view, everything about this guy, or I could go back and under agents, I can see his listings right here. So I can click on view listings and you'll see all of the listings down below, but again, there's no listings. So now let's go ahead and add those listings really fast. We'll go back to the dashboard and let me just add like 1 property. Again, I'm going to show you guys in the very next thing that we're going to do is editing properties, but we're just going to go back into luxury family home again, edit. And then when you're editing the property, again, don't let this overwhelm you. I'm going to show you later, but you would just go over here to, where is it? Contact information, and you can select an agent and we'll switch it to Levi just like this. And we'll say save. Let's go back to Levi Hagen, refresh the page. And now you'll see a lot more information pop up because now I've got a listing underneath me. That wasn't there before, it was just reviews, but now I've got listings. So now I have 1 house right here. And you'll see like property status, property types, property cities. And based on however many properties I have down here, you'll see that that will kind of correlate to making pie charts right here. If I go back to other properties, here we go. Let's just hit this one. So if I go back to other properties, I wonder if I can quick edit. Can I do that and just change the agent? Well, it was worth a shot, but it doesn't look like it. We're gonna have to edit each individual property that we wanna do. So we'll scroll back down. Let's pick 1 or 2 more properties really fast. I'm gonna click on edit. I'll go over here to contact information, change this to Levi, save. And then we'll do this 1 more time with 1 other property really fast. Let's just pick this one and we'll go to contact information, Levi, save. Okay, close out. Refresh the page and you'll see that under Levi Hagen, I am selling 67% apartments, 33% family homes. And you can see that down below. I have 2 apartments, 1 single family home. So that's just a breakdown of the property types that Levi Hagen sells. We can see the property status. So 67% are for sale and 33% are for rent. And then property cities. I sell mostly in Los Angeles, but I also have some properties in Chicago. So that's pretty cool. But this is how you can see the listings down below. So again, if I were to go to real estate agency, let's click on the back button. Oh, that's to edit the agent. Hang on. Click on the back button here. Agency. You'll see that under the Levi Hagen agency, we also see all of these little pie charts that show like what the agency is selling. You can see how many agents I have, which is 1, and you can see the listings underneath, right? And so now these are all being sold by Levi Hagen agency. And then if I click on it, you'll see the realtor, bottom right corner, right here, Levi Hagen, and you can get in contact with him however you want with the little contact form. All right, looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and close out of that tab. So we've covered agencies and agents. Let's talk about partners, which I don't really see you doing too much with partners. I mean, it looks like by default, they just throw a bunch of Envato partners in here. I'm just gonna show you guys how. It's the exact same process. Click on add new and you enter in your partner website. So, if you're partnering with a different real estate agency or a different broker or something like that on a property, you guys can put in their address right here, save by clicking on publish over here. That's how you add partners. I don't really think you're gonna need that much, but there it is for you. And then lastly, we have reviews. Now, reviews are going to be left by clients, right? So whenever they visit your website and they go to a property, you can leave reviews on properties, you can leave them on apartments, you can leave them on agents, for example. So if I go to Levi Hagen, you'll see I can leave him a review. There's reviews. I can leave a review right here. Handsome guy. Let's give him a 5-star rating. This Levi guy seems pretty cool. So we could say, this dude is pretty cool. Also handsome. All right, submit review. Sorry, listing owners cannot post on their own listings. Okay, so for some reason it knows that I am the one who created this. So I guess I can't leave it on my own listing, but you guys get the idea. That is how you would leave a review. After you leave a review, you'll see a list of all the reviews down here, and you can remove someone's review if you don't like it. So there's that. And then also you can physically just add your own reviews. So you don't have to wait for clients to do it on your website. You can just add a review. Don't shoot the messenger. Maybe it's a little sketchy to add fake reviews to your website. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying this is how you would do it. Let's just say one of your clients doesn't want to leave a review on your website for some weird reason. So they just email you. They say, hey, here's a little text blurb of me saying you did a good job. You can put this on your website. Then maybe you would take that review and manually insert it into your website like this. So you could say, or great service. And then you could leave in your little description here, and then you could publish it right here. And now we can close out, go to our reviews, and you get the idea. Now we have great service as a review right here. Oh, the review is great service. Okay, so the title right here. Oh, and it looks like great service is under review on. I forgot to make a change, so I'm glad I noticed that. Let's go ahead and edit this one again really fast. Down at the bottom, yeah, down here, I totally forgot about this, my bad. So you'll put your title, put your little review, whatever they want to say. And then down below, you'll see where do you want to display and what's the rating. So we could say 5 stars, and we could say it's on an agent profile, a property, an agency, or an author. Because maybe you're reading a blog post and you want to, write a review on one of the author's posts. Let's just do agent, and we can search for Levi Hagen just like this and save. And so now, if we refresh and go back to reviews or whatever, you'll see that this great service comment or review was placed on Levi Hagen as an agent, and he gave 5 stars. And of course, you can trash it as well. So you can add and remove reviews on your own website however you want and whenever you want. I'm just showing you how, that's all. But anyways, those are all of the real estate options. So we can go ahead and go back to the WordPress dashboard. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, I'm finally gonna show you guys how to create new listings on your website. It's incredibly easy, but we had to get all of those categories and fields out of the way first. So now when you create a new listing, you have all of those options to select from. Let's get started. So again, from your WordPress dashboard, if you wanna add a new listing, we're gonna go to the real estate tab, and we can click on properties or new property, which obviously we're just gonna click on new property just like this, because the properties tab is just gonna show you all the properties. But again, if you click on properties and you're looking at all your properties, there's always an add new button in the top left corner of pretty much everything when it comes to WordPress. New post, you'd go to add new post in the top left corner. If you're going to media, there's going to be add new media or upload media in the top left corner. You go to pages, you can go to add new pages. So you can always look for an add new button in the top corner. But anyways, whenever you click on new property or add new property in the top, you'll be shown this page right here. Now, after all of the categories that we set up, we're finally ready to create a listing. And it's very, very easy to do. All you're gonna do is just have all your MLS information on one screen and then have this up on another. And you're just gonna copy over all of the information, which I don't have an MLS listing. I guess I could go to Zillow.com, or I could go to Redfin or Realtor.com or something like that. Go find a property, but we're just gonna put in some fake information and call it a day, because I'm just trying to show you guys how to insert all of your information. But what we are also gonna do is open up our website, and we'll have a different property open. Actually, what we can do is just have a full property already open as well. So let's go over here to real estate, properties, and we'll have it behind it. And we can just open up the luxury family home again. So we've got an example to go off of right here, as well as our new property that we're creating. So let's go ahead and create our new property. And we're gonna say that this is at like 5505 Example Street. 5505 Example Street. So they actually call it like luxury home, luxury family home. But most of the time, you're literally just gonna have the address here. You can put in like luxury villa home or something like that, but I would just recommend actually using the address of the property so that people can instantly search for that property. For example, that's what's going to display whenever people are looking at properties on your website. The title is what we're making right here, so luxury family home. Instead, they'll see a picture of the house like this, and they'll see this is, Villa Bay Street in California. But you also have the address down below. So it's completely up to you guys how you actually want to display your information or not. You could change this to be something else, but personally, I would actually just make this the address to the property. 5505 Example Street, Austin, Texas. And then we can also enter in some dummy text as our short description or description of the property, just like this. If you have a lot of text, it's a good idea to kind of break it up like this to make it look a little bit more structured by putting in tabs and enters and stuff like that. So you have breaking up your paragraphs. But anyways, once we have the title and the description, we can move on down to all of this lovely information down below. Each one of these tabs has more information that we have to insert. We've got information, map, property settings, media, virtual tours, contact information, sliders, the whole 9 yards. Quite literally, there's probably more than 9, but you get the idea. So first of all, we're just gonna go tab by tab. So bear with me and I'm gonna show you what every little thing does, and we're gonna create a listing together. So first of all, we've got the sale or rent price. Obviously, rent price would be, 600, and then the prefix or the suffix would be per month or something like that. But for sale, what we're gonna do is let's just say 600,000. So 600,000 for the rent price. I don't actually think you need the comma. We'll see if we do. If when I post this, we do need the comma, then you can just come back in here and hit the comma. But anyways, we have 600,000 for the rental price. And then we also have a second price. So the second price is gonna look a little bit more like this. Let me open up a property for you. This is going to be the second price right here. So it looks like for second price, you can put a suffix of like per square feet. So you can say the actual price and then how much it is per square feet, which would just be dividing. So super easy to do. So again, for luxury home, and that's actually what we're looking at right here, the 6,500 square feet. As you can see, they have 6,500 square feet, or it just says second prices right here. And then you'll notice that after the price right here, you put square feet. Super easy. Or if this is going to be 6,000 per month, you would obviously say monthly right there. And they give you a little example, which is pretty cool. So anyways, for ours, we could put, you know, $600,000, and then we can also put the square footage. So we could just try something like 120 for this one, and then we can say for the monthly price, we can put square feet, just like that. So we've got $600,000 for the house, and then we have the secondary price, which is $120 per square foot. Obviously, we would need to make our property size. So there's the area size and the land size. The area size is for the house. The land size is obviously for the entire property. So for this, we would put like 5,000. Because 600,000 divided by 5,000 is 120, which makes the square feet. There's the math that lines up, but it doesn't really matter because this is just an example. So let's say the square footage is 5,000. Actually, let's make the land area 5,000. And let's say that the house is like a 2,500 square foot property. Then you're buying the house and the property. So 600,000 divided by 5,000, 120 per square foot. There you go. So anyways, that is the area size and land area. And then actually I skipped one. So we have the price prefix right here. And if you ever don't know what it is, they give you a lovely little example for each one, a little something to kind of guide you. For example, it says start from. So you could say discounted. You could say start from 600,000. It's basically going to be in front of your second price right here. So you guys can put whatever you want. But because I already have after the price square feet, I'm going to go ahead and leave this right here. But anyways, under the area size, we have a size postfix, which would obviously be square feet. And we're going to paste that right here as well, because it's the example right here is square feet, because obviously we're saying it's 5,000 square feet for the property. So there's that right there. Next, we get to number out how many bedrooms, rooms, bathrooms, garages, garage size, the year that it was built, which we just put in like the year, and then the property ID, which this is for your internal use for organizing your properties. So let's go ahead and do this right now. We can do, you know, let's just say this is like, I don't know, it's a huge house, 2,500. Let's just do 6 bedrooms, let's say like 8 rooms, I guess. I don't know. Bathrooms, let's just do 2. This math might not line up, by the way. Let's do 3. I don't know. Garage would obviously be 1, maybe 2. Garage size, let's just say it's like 300 square feet. They've got a massive freaking garage. That's cool. Year built, let's just say this was made in 1999. So it's a super old house. We're kind of going with like a mansion or something. And then your property ID can be however you personally want to organize all of your properties on your website. But to be honest, I'm just going to take the example right here, HZ01. So we're just going to go HZ-01, just like that. This is my first property. And then the next property I make might be HZ02, HZ03, those kinds of things. So that is all the first part of the information right here. And we also have additional features down below. And so if you guys want an example of what they put down here, you'll see under additional features, we've got deposit, pool size, last remodeled, amenities, additional rooms and equipment. And so if we look under the actual property here and we scroll on down, you'll see that the additional details is the additional features right down here. So again, we have deposit, pool size, last remodel, amenities, additional rooms and equipment. This is unnecessary information, but it's additional, and so it's optional. Obviously, everything in the green is what we just entered in right up here. So you'll see the price and everything, which obviously is going to be displayed up here as well, the price and the second price. But you'll see that we have the price right here. We've got the year that it was built, the garage size, as well as how many they have, bedrooms, or bathrooms, I mean, and so on. So this is all the information in the green box right here. And then this is all the information that's additional down below. So you guys can customize exactly what you want down below. I mean, I might just put like pool size and then amenities or something down here just for fun. So pool size and the value. Do they put square feet in there? Yeah, they do. So pool size, 300 square feet. And we can add more. So now we have pool size. We can also say maybe this has, I don't know, like a pond on the property. So that's 350 square feet. Let's do that and put a Q. There we go. You guys get the idea. You can add as many additional features as you want, but I'm just going to stick to 2 for now. Okay, so now we can move on to the map category. So when you click on map, you'll see that Google Maps isn't loading properly, and that's perfectly fine because we haven't set up our Google API keys like I said that we're going to do at the very end of the video. So it's perfectly fine that this isn't working just yet. Click OK, and we'll fix this later, so it's no big deal. First of all, you can choose whether to show the map or not. So if you hide it, this won't even display, but we're going to show it because it's such a cool feature. And then obviously later in the video, I'll show you how to fix it. But you want to just enter in the address of the property, which is a total fake address. So I kind of doubt this is going to work when we actually enable Google Maps, but that's okay. So we're just going to put in the address right there. And then we can also show the street view so we can hide or show. The street view is kind of up to you. Personally, I'd rather have professional pictures of the house show rather than the street view, which might have been taken years ago, as opposed to when the house is like ready for sale. So it's all, you know, pretty and ready to go. So it's up to you, but I personally would probably hide the street view. Next, we go down to property settings. And under property settings, we have to put in the address again. So let's go ahead and slap that bad boy in there. And we can also enter in the zip code, which is going to be a fake zip code. Next, do you want to mark this property as featured or not? You can say yes or no. And then after that, the user must be logged in to view this property. No, because you want anyone to be able to log onto your website and view the available properties. But if you select yes, you'll see right here that then only a logged in user can view property details. It's not like they can edit the details, they can just view it. I would personally just say no. That way anyone can view this property. And you can also enter in a disclaimer right here if you need to. Next, the most important part of selling a house is the media. You can upload up to 10 files, as you can see, and the minimum size is 1440 by 900. So you guys can go ahead and click on add media right here. You can upload from your media library if you already uploaded the pictures to your website, but if not, you can always upload the pictures directly from your computer, just like this. I'll just pick some pictures from the media library that kind of look similar. Let's pick those 2. And that kind of looks like the same beach house, right? Something like that. And we'll say select. So I've got the 4 pictures of the property right here. And then you can also put in the YouTube video or the Vimeo video or the SWF file or an MOV file. Those are all supported here. So you guys can go ahead and upload them right here, which obviously if you're a realtor, you're probably getting videos of the property. So it's going to be pretty common that you put the photos and the video all into your media tab. Next, you have the 360 tour, and this is where you can embed the code. So you would obviously go to someone like Matterport or something like that who does 3D scans of houses with those super cool 3D cameras, and you would put in embedded code. You'd have to ask the third-party 3D people to do this for you, but if you can get the code, you can embed it into your website. So there's the option for you. Next, you have the contact information. So author info, you can do agent. So if you want to select an agent, we could select Levi, for example. And so if they want to get in contact for this property, the point of contact is Levi, or the point of contact is the entire agency. So we could say Levi Hagen Agency, or you can not display for some reason, which I personally wouldn't do. I would probably go with the agent who's in charge of the property. So I'm going to select agent just like this. Next, you have a slider, which is going to appear in addition to the pictures that you post. I personally wouldn't do this because it just looks doubled up or like a duplicate. So you can decide if you want this or not by clicking yes and then adding media or no. That is personally up to you. The next one's another one that I usually don't do, sublistings. At this point, you don't really need sublistings. For example, whenever you're looking at a property, it's already going to recommend right here similar listings, which if you guys remember, I earlier showed you how to enable or disable this under the theme options. So if you guys want to enable this, you can, and you'll have similar listings here. Not really a point to having sublistings. Now, floor plans is a big deal. Basically, each floor of like a 2 or a 3-story house, you want to have a floor plan for. So you can say floor plan title. So you might want to say this is like the first floor, or you could just put 1ST right here, but first floor. How many bedrooms? Let's just say there's like, you know, only the master bedrooms on the first floor and then all the kids' bedrooms are on the second floor. There's a bathroom, or let's say there's 2 because maybe you have a guest bathroom on the first floor. You can enter in price, I guess, for different floor plans, but there you go. Maybe this is for like apartments, I just realized, instead of houses. So for different floor plans, you might have different prices for each. And then also square footage, which is the next one. So this is the floor size. So that's the square footage there. And then you can also upload an image, which the plan, like the floor plan image, is going to be one of those 3D generated, I mean, it doesn't have to be 3D generated, but one of those like top down images kind of showing like the layout of the entire floor. So that's what you would want to upload here, which I don't actually think is included in the demo content. I don't think we have any floor plan images. Let's see if we do. Oh my God, we do. Nice. So here's a floor plan image. I'll select that and we'll say this is the first floor. And then you can add a little description here. You can also add and say this is the second floor. just like that. And then let's say there's 3 bedrooms on the second floor with 2 bathrooms. Let's say the price, if you want to, just in case this is apartments, for example, the plan size, so how many square feet are on the second floor you would enter in. And then you'd want to upload a different image for the second floor, so let's just pick this one. Which actually, I think this would probably be more of like a second floor and this would be a first floor, but whatever. Anyways, once you add as many floor plans as you want, we can move on to the next one. So let's do property documents. And so this is where you can basically attach anything. You got PDF right here, map images, or other documents like Word documents, basically everything under the sun. This is where you'd put seller's disclosures, property documents, whatever you need. You just add the media. You can upload from your computer. In your media library, you might actually already have it uploaded. So that's where your documents go. Privacy note is just internal notes for your realtors. Clients can't see these, so you could just put in here whatever you want. Maybe this has something to do with, hey, warning the property manager or the owner of the property says to warn them whenever you're coming over or something like that. This is just an internal note for your team. Energy class, which I just recently found out is measured in kilowatts per hour per square meter. It's like confusing as hell, but you can put in your energy, your EP rating. So A+ all the way down to H. There should be 10 of them. So you guys can do your EP index right here and put all your information here. I don't know much about EPs. I just know this is usually where you put in the information for that. Next, we have the layout, so the way that this actually is laid out is this is the orientation of the actual, like how the pictures are laid out, how these go right underneath the pictures. You guys can choose, right now it's using the same layout as everybody else. You can try like all 7 different versions here and it changes the entire layout of how this looks. Basically, they're just different style templates. You guys can play around with those, but I'm just going to leave them as the default because I think the default looks great and there's not really a need to change it. And then lastly, you have rental details right here, so you can put in some booking shortcode. But if you're doing a for sale property, obviously you don't need this one. Okay, so that is all of the information for creating a listing. You've already gone through all of these different tabs. We have the additional features down below, but we're not done yet. First, we have to go over here to the top right corner and set a featured image, because the featured image is this one. It's the one that's first going to display like this on the property tile cards, or the property cards like this. So this is the featured image. So you have to set the featured image, which I'll probably just use the same one here. So now that we've finished all of this information and we have our featured image, we move on down a little bit lower. And we have all of the other information that's more of like categorizing your property. So we have the type, what type of property of this? Let's just say this is would you say villa, or maybe it's definitely not a single family home. Let's go villa, because this is like a villa on the beach or whatever. So we've got a villa. We can go to the status where you choose what type of property, the status of the property. So I'm gonna say that this is for sale for the 600,000 right there. Next, we've got features. And so this is where you can add new features, or you scroll through and add everything that it has, which it's got AC. Let's just select everything. Why not? We'll say it has, actually, let's say it doesn't have a lawn. Well, I mean, it has a lawn. It's just probably really small, but who cares? Swimming pool, TV. You might also want to add a new feature and say beachfront, or it has its own dock or something like that, especially if it's going to be like an island like the pictures show. But those are your features. You've got your labels. So maybe you want to say that this is a hot sale. And so instead of 600,000, the second price you would say sale, and then 600,000, maybe you say for 550. And then you could also put the little label on there so that in the top left corner, right here, it would say sale. So that's completely up to you, but you could do that here. You would also put in the country, which I'm not going to do, but you could put in the state. Let's pretend that this beautiful island property is in Austin, Texas. Why not, right? Why not? And we'll say that it's in Oak Hill, I think, is the one that I created. Yeah, there's Oak Hill. Nice. And then after that, you don't really need to fill out anything else. I think we're pretty much good to go. We've got all of our information in. We've got a featured image ready to go. We can finally hit publish, and you have now just created a listing on your property. Or excuse me, a property listing on your website. Quite a bit of a process, but now we can go ahead and view our property by clicking on View Property right here. And so now, just like the luxury family home, we created this beachside property. Well, some of them look like they're next to the beach and some of them are in the mountains. We'll just pretend like this is all the same property. But we've got our featured image right here. We have the address displayed, which also it's right here. So maybe instead of putting an address here, which standard practice, the address is just going to be the title right here. Maybe instead you would actually put luxury villa over the beach or something like that. And then you have the address here, or just leave the address out and then have the title be the address. Totally up to you. As you can see, $600,000, $120 per square foot. We'll scroll on down and we'll see that it is a 2,500 square foot home right here. We'll see the year that it was built was 1999, 3 bathrooms, 2 garages. You guys see everything as it's propagated here. We've got the description, so we can see a description of the property. Scroll on down some more and we'll have our Google Maps. Right now it's not working, but we'll have our Google Maps display the property with a little ping right here, which shows exactly where the property is, which is cool. We also see the realtor that we have as the property. Remember when we have under the contact info? Here, let me just have this up side by side so I can show you exactly what I mean. Close out of these two and we'll just have ours up. So edit. But if you guys remember under contact information, remember how we selected Levi? Well, that's why Levi is showing right here. If we chose the Levi Hagen agency instead, then you would have Levi Hagen agency right here instead. But we can send a message or do WhatsApp or whatever application you have on your computer. Scroll on down further. We've got all of the details that we put in the green box, which is all of this information right up here. So all of this is the green box. We have all of that. The additional, if you guys remember, why I only put 2, and so there's pond and the pool size. So we're saying it's also got a pond for some reason, even though it's a beachside property. Oh my goodness. The features right here just show all of the features that we enabled, which were all of the features that are over here on the right-hand side. If you guys remember all of these over here. The one thing that's really cool with Houzez is it has this automatic monthly calculator or the mortgage calculator. So it automatically pulls all of the information from the property. So you're paying $600,000 and then you have all of this default information. You guys can put in correct information and you can actually calculate what you think your monthly mortgage calculator would be, which is pretty cool. We have our floor plans and they can click on it and they see the first floor has 1 bedroom, 2 bath, right here, which is pretty cool. And then the description, which I left blank, would be right here. And then you can see the second floor, which has a different image, right? So that's why it's really important to have those floor plan images because, you know, they can drop down and see exactly what it would look like. After that, we've got the contact information. Again, it's the realtor right here. And so they can enter in their little request information field. Hey, I'm interested in this. And it'll send the email to the realtor. And then down below that, we have all the similar properties and the reviews. So that is how you guys can create property listings on your website. Congratulations. So we're going to close out of these and go back to the dashboard. All right, so that covers everything that you need to know about daily use for your website. Next, we're going to talk about all of the Houzez options, the theme options, and the CRM configuration. And notice that there are 3 of them. Let's go through all 3. Now, by the way, these are still settings that you need to know in order to customize your website further to your brand, as well as decide which parts of the website that you want to display or not. So these are still important. So of those 3, we're going to start off with the Houzez options. From your WordPress dashboard, you probably noticed the Houzez options over on the left-hand side menu. Let's go ahead and click on it now. Now, I'm just going to show you guys what every tab does. So we're going to go tab by tab here. So the first tab that you see under the Houzez options is plugins. And again, just so you guys know, all of these tabs right here are the same thing as all of these tabs right here. Again, I don't know why the Houzez theme duplicates it like this. It's just weird, but honestly, I just try not to think about it too much. So anyways, under the plugins tab, we just have all of the plugins that I showed you at the very beginning of the video, how to install. Again, I think I just told you guys, go to Houzez plugins, and then we just installed all of these one by one. So that's how you do it. So next we'll go to the Fields Builder. Now the Fields Builder, out of all of these tabs, is probably the only one that actually matters. The Field Builder basically lets you add new fields to your property listings. So here you go. Let me show you right now. Let's go properties, click on add new. Okay, so you guys remember this screen. We just added a property just like 2 seconds ago on the video. So now what we're about to do is I'm going to show you how to add a new field that'll go right here. And what this will do is it's also going to add that field over here into, if I just go to for sale, for example, let's go to my property that I created. Right here, we scroll on down to the green box. I'm going to show you guys how to add custom fields into this green box. So custom fields into this area right here. So let me go ahead and just move this over here real fast. Actually, we'll just close out of that one because I don't need to add new. I can just edit this property right here. So we'll just open up the edit property. And so this is my 5505 example street. We're going to add a new field right here. And so to be honest, you could add whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. Add new. I can't even really think of anything right now just because it's off the top of my head and we've been recording for so long. But let's try something like doghouse, for example. I don't even think you'd actually ever have this on there. But maybe there's like integrated doghouse in the backyard or something. Or actually, you know what? Let's do a shed. Let's do a shed. So let's do a barn, for example. The placeholder text right here would be yes or no. Well, actually, placeholder text changes based on type. So let me say this first. So under type, you basically get to choose how you input your data into this field, right? So for example, under edit property, all of these are literally just text. Like I could just put in whatever I wanted, right? But some of them, maybe I want a radio button where I have to choose one of 3 options. And that would be radio right down here. Maybe I want to do multi-select, which gives you a bunch of checkboxes, and I could say, yes, it has this one, and this one. A checkbox list is kind of like a multi-select. You've got select, which is where you just pick one of the three, but it's not a radio button. It looks more like rectangles, but whatever. A text area, text, number, URL, or a link, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to leave it just on text right here, and then you can enter in the placeholder. So barn, and you could say like yes or no, for example. Yes or no, question mark, just like that. Oop, I keep missing. There we go. So we could say, does the property have a barn in the back, for example? Like maybe you're selling some ranch properties. Is there a barn included? I don't know. So we did the type, and then also make available for searches. And basically, like whenever people are searching on your website, where's the search bar? Let's go home. So whenever people are searching, if they enter in this keyword, will they be able to find this specific field? And so you can say yes or no, depending on what you guys want to do. So now I'm going to click on submit. So now under the field builder, if I click on it again, instead of being on add new and I'm just on the field builder, you get a list of all of the custom fields that you've created right here. So we'll go over to our edit property and refresh the page. And now you'll see right here, barn. Is there a barn included? Yes. Just like that. And we can click on save, which I don't know why I said barn because actually I probably should have said dock or something like that, but you guys get the idea. And then now if I were to go and check out that property, for example, so let me just view the property like this, close out of that tab. So now if I view the property in the green box, is there a barn included? You could say yes. You could do anything here. You could do like a septic tank. You could do dog houses. You could do, is there a pond included? It's kind of like having additional details, but if you want it to be in the main green box, you can put them here. So that's basically what the field builder is. So super simple. Next, we have post types. Let me close out of that tab. Next, we have post types, and it's basically the same thing as like when we were inside of the theme options and we were inside of blog. Sometimes there's so many settings that eventually you're going to find some settings that are kind of just irrelevant. This would be it. Custom post types. You can basically choose to disable agents, agencies, house packages, house invoices, partners, anything that you don't want to show on the website for some reason. Like if you don't want partners to show up, you could just disable them. You know what I mean? So you guys can choose that here for post types. Next, we've got taxonomies. And so taxonomies are basically just the categories that you're putting on the location of your property, as you can see. And so you can choose to enable or disable any of these. Honestly, I would recommend just disabling country because I strongly doubt you're going to be doing something that's like in multiple countries. It's usually going to be like in one state, for example. Maybe different states, but you could disable country if you wanted to. If you really wanted to, you can disable any of them. They're here, but you know, there you go. Next tab, we have, oh wait, do I need to hit save changes every single time? Yes, I do. So disabled update settings. Field builder should still stay, so we're good to go. So now we have permalinks. Permalinks, you don't need to change these. They're already built into the template, so there's really no reason to change these. But permalinks are basically just showing how your URL structure is going to be. So whenever someone goes to your property page, they will see https://capwrealestate.com/property. And you can put in your own custom slug right here, but again, I wouldn't touch these. Next, you have your currency switcher, which you have to hook up to openexchangerates.org right here, as you can see, but you can create an account with them and have with a API key, which is just like basically a product key. It's the same thing as your purchase code that we had earlier. Just shows that you have an account with them. And it's just a unique way of identifying your personal website is attached to your account. That's what an API key is, by the way. But you basically just put in your API key and then you guys can have a currency switcher in here. That's a video for another day. If you guys are interested, let me know and I can make a video for you guys, but I'm just going to skip that because that's a whole other rabbit hole we don't need to go down today. Next, you have currencies where you can custom add currencies, kind of similar to the fields builder. You click on add new and then you just enter in your information. For example, let's just literally do the United States dollar. Again, you could put in the pound, you could put in rubles, you could put in whatever you want. But United States dollar, we can do the currency code, which is USD for the American dollar, but you'd have to look it up for whatever currency you're trying to add. You'd have to have your currency symbol, which good luck having that symbol. You might have to go Google whatever custom symbol it is for whatever currency. But again, because I'm making the dollar as an example, I have the dollar. You can choose if you want the currency position, the dollar sign to be before the number or after the number. So it's before. And then the number of decimal points you guys can choose. And then you guys can also choose the decimal point separator. Some countries do a decimal and some countries do a comma, and then they flip-flop for us. For the US dollar, what we do for the thousand separator is a comma and the decimal point is a decimal. But you know, you can specify what you want to be used for the website and then just click on submit. So that's how you can make your own currency. Here, let me go ahead and just do it really fast. We'll just do 2 and we'll do the decimal point. That's going to be a dot and that's going to be a comma, submit. And then once you're done, you go back to the currency tab. You'll see, just like the field builder, you have a list of all the currencies that you've built into your website. So I'm just going to click on delete right there. The last 3 tabs are kind of useless. We've got documentation right here. So if you really need some help past my tutorial, you can always come in here to all of these documents and it'll link you to their website where you can just read a bunch of documentation. The feedback tab is where you can send feedback to Houzez theme. So that's cool. And then lastly, you have your purchase code just in case you forgot it. There it is. All right. And so that is all of the options underneath the Houzez options. So we can just go back to the WordPress dashboard. All right. Now with all of the Houzez options out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to the second one, which is the theme options. Now the theme options are where we're going to be able to change all of the information about the website. We'll get to choose the header and footer that we want to use. We can install a logo from here, and there's a whole lot more we can do. So let's jump in. And again, I'm going to go tab by tab and just show you everything. Okay. So from your WordPress dashboard, you've already seen me do it to go over to the blog settings. If you guys remember that just a few steps ago, but whenever you go to theme options, I'm going to go ahead and open it up on a new tab. Again, it's going to do that same duplicate thing where, you know, it's got all the tabs here that are also right over here. Try to ignore it. I'll just be clicking on these over here because it's kind of irrelevant having them duplicated there. But anyways, so I'm going to go through, obviously, as you can see, under each tab, there is a ton of settings, and as you can see, the list is very long. So in light of trying to keep this tutorial not 5 hours long and hopefully around 2 hours, what I'm going to do is just kind of talk about the ones that you need to know. The rest of the settings, I would definitely recommend just kind of going through here and playing around and looking through and reading what they actually say. You can always turn something on, go look at your website, and then turn it back off if you don't like it. I definitely recommend kind of exploring, being adventurous here. But again, in hopes of keeping this under 3 hours, we're definitely going to just kind of skip over a lot of the settings, but I am going to go tab by tab and show you as much as I can, but I also don't want to waste your time. So we're going to focus on all the things that you need in order to have a functioning real estate website and how to customize it for yourself. But a lot of these settings are just way too specific and you really, it's kind of negligible whether or not you need them or not. So that being the case, let's go ahead and get started. Under the general tab, you've got general settings. It's pretty self-explanatory. Most of the time, if you already know the change that you want to make, like for example, if you're like, I really want to change my logo, or I want to change my header or something like that, you just go to your theme options like this and you'll be like, oh, here's the logo right here and here's the header. And can I change my footer as well? Let's go find it. You can usually find your settings pretty easily here. So under the general tab, we're going to be making general changes like the site container width, which is basically set to 1170 px. The container width is just your default container width because with Elementor, you can make it full width. But when you're on other pages like the blog, for example, the site container width, if I were to reduce this, it's going to adjust how the width from here to here, or it might be from here, to be honest, but it's one of the two. And so you're basically just adjusting your width right here. So if I were to click on 1440, for example, and then click on save changes, and we go back into the blog and refresh the page, you'll see that now everything's just a little bit wider. So it doesn't make that big of a change. It's up to you guys if you want to change that. I'm just going to put it back to 1770, but that is basically your container width right there. I personally think it actually looks better with 1770, just a lot more clean and neat as opposed to a little bit more of a stretch. So you can also choose to have a back to top button, which is already automatically enabled. So as you're scrolling, you see this little green button in the bottom right corner. Click on it, takes you to the top of the page, which is really helpful when you're scrolling through all these blog posts. You can always hit the top button and it throws you up to the top. So that's the site container and back to top. Home link and the half map footer. If you want to disable half map footer, you can. It's not a big deal, but let's continue here. Add to favorites button is really simple too. I don't know why you'd want to remove that, but that would be under the Houzez homepage. When you're looking at the product tiles, it's this little favorite button right here. I guess you'd only remove it if you don't think you're going to have users logging in, and that's an option that we'll show in just a second. So you can choose that. Breadcrumbs. Always recommend having breadcrumbs, but some people don't like them on their websites. If I were to click on a property, these are the breadcrumbs right here. You'll notice I even used it to go back to the homepage at one point. Like whenever I'm scrolling through here, I'll be like, oh, cool. Let's go back to the apartments right here. Breadcrumbs just show, it's kind of like, you know, following your breadcrumbs back to home. It shows exactly where you are throughout the process of going through the website. You can choose whether or not to have those on or off. That's up to you. I always leave them on. A lot of this you don't really need to know. Oh, right here, this is kind of important. Square feet text and square meters text. By default, whenever you don't have to put it in and it uses an automatic suffix, it's going to use whatever you put right here. So maybe instead of, you know, square feet being lowercase, maybe you want square feet like this, for example. And then for meters, you can just have it lowercase. It's completely up to you how you want to do it. But just as an example, I just wanted to show you, that's where you would change it. And then really the last thing that I would touch on the general tab is whether or not you want a sticky sidebar. A sticky sidebar is this right over here. So this is an example of a sticky sidebar, even though it only has one widget. As I scroll, see how it gets stuck onto my screen. And then if I go up, it's not stuck anymore. That's a sticky sidebar. Same thing for when I go to, for example, the for sale page. You'll see that all of my widgets are over here. And the second I hit the bottom of my widgets, it stays sticky with me. I personally think that's helpful. Some people, it kind of bothers them in terms of like OCD or just not having something follow their screen. Sticky headers kind of bother me, even though they are helpful for navigation, but sidebars aren't that bad because I'm already scrolling through the content. That's just a personal preference, but it's completely up to you guys whether or not you want to have them displayed, but you get to choose when they're sticky and when they're not. So maybe the default page, it's not like the blog, but maybe the property detail page, it is sticky. Agent page, it's sticky. It's up to you guys, but that's what I wanted to show you under the general tab. So basically, I don't ever use this translation place, but I mean, this little tab right here, if you guys want to go through here and change all these, you totally can. And you'll have multiple tabs underneath, by the way. So that's up to you guys. But anyways, moving on, we have the logos in favicon, and this is pretty self-explanatory. This is how you change the logo on your website. So when you go to the Houzez website right here, this little logo, it's using Houzez logo by default. So obviously you're going to want to change it to yours. So all you would do is click on remove. For Retina screens, you would remove this one and place up your own. For mobile logo, you'd want to remove and place your own. Same thing with the mobile Retina. Splash page, mobile splash page. You guys can upload all of your different versions of logos right here. You also get to change your logo height right here. So you've got your standard logo height is 24 pixels, and then you can go up to 127. Same thing with mobile. Now, very important, you're going to want to change your favicon as well. Your favicon is this little icon right here that shows up on tabs. Right now, your website is showing no favicon, except for the website, I guess. The backend isn't going to show a favicon, but you can upload your own custom favicon right here. So you'd click on remove and then upload your own. And then also you can choose your Apple iPhone icon, the iPad icon. I mean, it gets pretty intricate here. So once you guys go and grab your own custom logo, I'm assuming you're going to have a professional do it for you, and you can ask them to export it for you in specific resolutions. So you guys can do whatever you need to do here. But that being the case, this is where you would upload your logos. After that, we go to the headers tab. So the headers tab is really cool. You get to choose what header you use for the website. So right now my header is very basic and it looks like this, but I could choose a different one, for example. And so this is where you guys get to choose different headers. So you could choose like a complicated one like this and click on, save changes and then view your website if you wanted to. And you'll notice that now your header is super crazy and you guys can customize all of this if you want to. But that being the case, you guys can pick which one you want. You guys have a whole bunch of different options here. I kind of like the centered one, but I might just go with a very common one, something like this or something like this. Let's actually do this one, and I'll click on save changes one more time. And we'll refresh the page just so we don't have this complicated one anymore. And there we go. So now we've got the logo, our navigation, as well as the sign in button right there. So you guys can pick which one of these you guys want. And then down below, you have some customization settings like your layout. If you want it boxed or full width, you can choose if it's going to be a sticky navigation menu or not, which again, if I go enabled here and I click on save changes, we can go back in here and refresh the page. And you'll see that now as I scroll, it's going to become a sticky header, which is very helpful for navigation. If you have a sticky header, you don't really need a back to top button because they can always go to whatever page they want. So maybe have one or the other and not both, but you can always have both. It's up to you. So that's how you can do a sticky header. You can also choose the height, so you can increase it or decrease it right here. And then you can choose your navigation align, which is like left and right. But other than that, we can save our changes and go ahead and move on. Well, actually, now that I'm realizing it, we can't move on yet because we still have two other buttons right here. Social media right here is how you would, in your navigation bar, they're not visible because we don't have any yet, but where's the one that I have right now? So in the bigger one, you'll see all these navigation links right here for your social media. If you choose one of these with the social media links in it, you would click on social media, and this is where you would put in all of your URLs right here. So that's where you guys would do it, and you can enable or disable them depending on which header you use. And then next you have the create listing button. I don't even know why this is an option, but you can enable the create listing button to show up in your navigation menu. So you can hit refresh. So now basically any Joe Schmo can just log into your website as long as they have a login, and then they can create a listing. I personally don't usually put that in the header. I wouldn't. So hit disable. And we only want that to be in the CRM, the customer relations management software. We only want that to be where realtors can log in and create listings. So I would just disable that one right there. But that's where it is if you do for some reason want that to be on your website. So let's just refresh the page and turn turn that off. But if you do limit people from logging in, for example, so if you don't make it to where people can create an account, which means they won't have liked, favorites, and all of that stuff, if you disable logins, which I think is under WordPress settings, which I'll have to go double check this in a second, you don't have to follow along with me, but if you say, yeah, so if you have this off by default membership where no one can register unless you create an account for them, then it's perfectly fine. If you had this box checked, for example, then anyone can create an account and then they can create listings. So that's what I was double checking. Now that I've checked that, it actually makes a little bit more sense. So if we go back into our settings over here, we could enable it in the header, but there's no need because we already have it in the CRM, or we're going to. So it's just a matter of where you want the button, I suppose. So as you can see, I'll save the changes, refresh the page real fast. So it's up here. Now notice I'm logged in as my admin account in WordPress, right? But if you come to this website and you're not logged in under an account, so if we Control C, I'll open an incognito tab, which doesn't save your login. So if I'm just a regular visitor and I come to this website, you'll see I don't even have the account button because I don't have a WordPress account with this website. So I'm just some regular person who doesn't even have access to create an account or log in or anything. So I can't create a listing either. But obviously I can still view the properties and contact agents, right? So that's pretty cool. We'll close out of that. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from my header. I just wanted to show you guys that that's where you can do it. Disable, save changes. But we're going to put that inside of this CRM board later, which by the way is this. So whenever you click on this right here, go to board. It's not here right now, but I'm going to create a button where you can create listings as a realtor, because this is the realtor dashboard, which we're going to be talking about in like later steps. Anyways, that's the header right there. So now we can talk about the top bar. And so this top bar right here is this guy right here. It's this black top bar up here. You can choose your currency, and you can also choose if you want square feet or square meters. And when you click on that, it's going to refresh the page and put everything in square feet as opposed to square meters. So you guys can enable or disable this right here. You can change the layout to boxed or full width. If you change it to full width, instead of having it boxed right here to these edges, it would go all the way out to here, the sides of your screen. I think boxed looks better, but you can always go full width if you really want to. You can choose to hide the top bar in mobile because on a smaller screen, it might just start to look really congested. So it looks like by default they have yes, but you can enable it, I suppose, on mobile. All right, and then after you hide the bar on mobile or not, the rest of this is just deciding what's up in the top bar. So the top bar left side has contact info, which as you can see has contact info, which we need to change. So we could probably change that to something else if we want, like social icons or a slogan, currency switcher. You can choose from a lot of different widgets that they have. And then the right side has the currency switcher and area switcher, which are these two right here, as you can see. So maybe we want to switch this over to social icons, and then we can save our changes, for example, and then we can refresh this page, and now they've got all of our socials up here, which is probably better anyways. But yeah, so that's the top left, top right, and then you can also change the contact information right here. So if you did want your contact info, you can just change it right here and change it to your email. So, all right, so example at email.com. Save changes, and when you refresh the page, you'll see that now oh, hang on. I forgot to switch it over to contact info, didn't I? Oh, that's the right side. That's hilarious. So let's go with currency switcher and area switcher, and we'll go contact info on the left. That's what I meant to do. And then you'll see, if I refresh the page this time, now I've got the phone number and example email, as well as the currency switcher and area switcher. And then you can also put in your slogan if you want, and then that's where you would have the slogan right here. All right, so that's everything in the top bar, and then you also have the currency switcher as well as the area switcher, which you can obviously change what you want to add in here if you want, but we'll just kind of skip over this. Okay, so next we have the splash page right here. Now, honestly, this is kind of a useless tab. I wouldn't even go through it. You can do everything in here with Elementor, so and we already customized the website, so there's really no point in trying to pick a background image and put in, you know, your text and everything like that. I don't know why they even have this here. You've got welcome title. We're going to skip this one. Login and register. So this is where you basically decide if you want people to be able to log into your website. If you guys remember when I checked this out on an incognito tab, this wasn't even here, so you're not able to log into the website. You can turn this on like this and hit save changes. And so now if I were to open up our website on a incognito tab, which again, by the way, anytime you go incognito, it just basically logs you out of everything and pretends like you're someone else. So now you'll see that I have an option to click right here and I can try and log in or register to create a new account. But right now we can't register because if you remember in our WordPress settings, I disabled where anyone can register. I have to create the account. So if I check that box, then I could register. You'll see it says user registration is disabled. So if I wanted to enable that, I would have to go into my WordPress settings again, way down here, if you guys remember right here under general. Anyways, so you guys can decide if you want the login and register buttons to be visible on your header or not. Otherwise, people just have to log in through your WordPress account. So I'll go ahead and leave these on. You guys can leave them on or off. It's up to you. Next, you get some basic settings to kind of customize your login experience. If you want to show an icon or if you just want to show text, if you want to use first name, last name, all of this stuff, you guys can kind of play around with these if you want. The biggest thing is if you want people to actually be able to register and create accounts or log in from your header. So I'll leave those on and we can go ahead and move on to user roles. And so under user roles, this is actually where you get to choose if people can register or not. So you know how on our website it said it was disabled right there? You can enable it right here. And then now people can actually register as well as log in on your header right here. You also get to choose by default what they're going to be when they create an account or when they register. And then for some reason, you can also just change the names, which... Again, this is kind of like the translation tab where I don't really think you need to do anything here, but you can enable registration right here and click on Save Changes. And then anytime someone creates an account, you can always go into your WordPress user settings and change them around. Which, by the way, I mean, I'll just show you really fast. If you go to your users tab, this is just everyone who has an account on your WordPress website. You'll see a list of everybody here. I can add a new user. So if you want to disable the setting for registration so that people can't just log in and randomly create their own account, you could probably disable it right here and then only create accounts for the real estate agents that you plan on having on your website. And the way you do that is you would create a username right here. So let's just say Levi Hagen agent, just for an example. You would put in an email that's actually required. So I'm just going to put in the same email there. And then next you can enter in their name. Let's go Hagen. Website, you don't really need to put there. You can generate their own password for them, and then you can let them know via an email notification that you just created the account. And then from here, you can decide what they are. I think this is a little bit better than just letting people register. I like having control of who's going to have an account on my website, but it's just how you guys decide to run your website. But you could, if you're signing up a new real estate agent, you could say he's an agent, and then under that role, he has access to create listings. Click Add New User. Oh, and this email's already registered, so I'd have to pick a different one, but I'm too lazy to do that right now. But that is how you would create a user. So we can leave that page, go back to the options. So that is the login and register. So next we have price and currency. And obviously under the price and currency tab, this is where you're going to change the default currency for your website. Inside of the Houzez options, which is way over here, this is where you can add new currencies, but this is what's going to be shown by default. So depending on whatever country and whatever states or wherever you are that you're going to be selling properties, you might want to adjust these before you even touch the Houzez currencies right over here. So this is where you can do multi-currency and short price. I would just leave those both disabled. You'll see it's things like 12K or 10 million or 10 billion or something like that. It just makes the currency switcher not work, and I don't see a point in enabling it. Just show the full prices. But this is where you can change things like the default currency symbol, the default currency position, basically all the same things as when we actually created currencies. You would just do it here. You've got the decimal separator, the thousand separator, price separator, all of that stuff. So when you're done with your price and currency, we can go to typography. And so typography is where, oh, it looks like we need some updates, which we can do the automatic updates in a little bit. But typography is where you can change the default font that's being used on your entire website. So if you want to change the font all with one click, you can change the fonts here. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Most people know how to change fonts here, and you can increase letter spacing and all of that stuff, depending on what you're doing. So maybe you want the headings like H1, H2, H3 to have a different font. You guys can decide your fonts. Next, we've got styling, which has a ton of tabs. But really styling, all this is remember when I told you you can change the colors individually or you can change them all with one click? This is where you change the styling. So the styling, you would change the color. So the primary color is this green, and that's why it's showing up everywhere. It's this green right here, the green right here, the green over here. If you were to change this color to something different, for example, let me just copy this real fast, Control C, so I don't lose it. If I were to change it to like red, for example, and then save my changes, you'll see that the red is going to start appearing everywhere on my website. So refresh, and anywhere that's actually using that red by default, like you see the red button down here, there's the back to top button that's using red. It looks like whoever created the template didn't use perfect theme colors for every widget, but here's the red down here. There's the red for this button. Some of the things that were built with Elementor are using default green, so you'd have to go in here and change these manually. But if you go to like the for sale page, all of the buttons are going to be red. So as you can see, that's how you change the colors technically from one click of a button, but nothing's ever perfect. You always have to go through and change everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that green color again and save those changes. But you get the idea. You can change the primary hover color, which is like the lighter green, change that to like a lighter red, change this to a red. You guys can come in here and change everything. So if you're like, ooh, I want to change the top bar color. Well, remember the top bar is black and white with a green highlight. Well, here's black, white, and then here's the hover color, that green highlight. So you guys can change everything you want inside of the styling. We'll move on to property detail. Property detail is pretty cool. You get to choose how your property pages are displayed. So here's your property banner right here. So let me show you guys what this actually does. Let's go ahead and open up a property really fast. Let's just pick the 505 or the 5505 example that I created right here. So basically these two right here, property banner and property content layout, these are the two main settings that massively affect your website. It's just going to change everything except for the homepage, how it's displayed. So this is where you're going to make the biggest changes. For example, let's choose, instead of having this boxed layout like this, let's choose something that's full screen, and we're going to click on Save Changes. So if I go back and refresh the page just like this, now you'll see that it's got like this whole full screen banner, right? This only refers to the pictures and kind of like this top text right here. All of the product data down below is still going to be in the green box. It's still going to, you have to scroll down. You have all these tabs and down here. So the product information down below is going to be affected by the content layout right here. So this one down here, where you have all these different ones, is going to affect all of this information down below. The only thing that the product banner is doing right here, or the property banner is doing, is just kind of like this top portion, the first look right here. So I could choose something like this one and click on Save Changes. It's kind of cool that they have little previews so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. That one's not bad. Depending on your picture sizes, like obviously these pictures are very small resolution. They're not like 2K or 4K. You might not want to do full screen banners like this, knowing that your pictures are low resolution. So we might want to do something like this one because the pictures will look a little bit better. So we'll refresh the page. And yeah, it looks so much better when it's not being stretched across the screen. So I'll probably stick to this one. Next, what you have is the property content layout. And so this is what's going to affect down below all of your content like this, right? So right now it's kind of boxed in like these little squares, and they call that default, I guess. We can do tabs, for example, save the changes. We'll go back and refresh the page and you'll notice it's going to look, yeah, totally different. So now we've got description, address, details, features, and floor plans. It's not going to change how it looks. It just changes the layout, right? Because obviously it says layout right here. I don't know what all of these look like. I haven't really played around with them. I usually just leave them default, but if we save changes, let's go check out one more before we move on. Okay, wow. So it totally changes the layout, spreads everything out to be full screen. Kind of cool, actually. Okay, and then we have like first floor and second floor. So it's almost like you have, 7 different websites built into one website template, which is kind of cool. But I'm just going to go back to the default for now. Click on Save Changes. So that is the Property Content Layout tab and the Property Banner. Next, what you have is the Property Banner Active tab. This is basically just choosing what do you want to show first, the image in the gallery, the map view, 360 view, or the video. I think it's pretty standard practice just to show the image in gallery, maybe a video, or 3D, but I'd probably just stick to the gallery right here. Other than that, you guys can choose, columns and rows and alignment and all of that stuff for all of these settings down below. Again, it's just gonna be layout of the single property tab. Let me refresh this again. It's just gonna be layout settings, so you'll probably have spacing options and stuff like that. I'll let you guys kind of play around with them. Always hit Save Changes and go check out what they do by refreshing your page. You guys can kind of have fun with this, but I'm going to leave it the way it is. And not only is it affecting this page, you can also check out how it affects all of these different places. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of skip over most of these because it would take too long to try and show you every single layout of every single page that you have on your website. We're probably going to start moving on to the next tab, but this was a pretty big one. Okay, so that's kind of how you have some layouts for your property pages here. Next, we have property content layout. Oops, I didn't mean to highlight all of that. We've got property content layout right here. So basically what property content layout does is what we just did was changed up how the pictures and kind of this top area looked. What we're about to do, the content layout, is how all of this information down below, all of this is going to be displayed. And it's basically just layout. That's all it is. It's not like it's going to change colors. It's not going to make everything look completely different. Well, I mean, it's going to make things look completely different, but it's just layout. It just moves things around basically. So for example, right now we're on default and it looks like this, right? They're just kind of these white boxes. Here's another white box right here. And then here's another white box right here. That's kind of how all of our information is displayed. And you'll notice we have description, address, details, features, right? Next, we have tabs. So if I do this and I click on Save Changes and I refresh this page, now you'll see that I have those as tabs: description, address, details, features, and then floor plans. It's just a different layout, right? And then obviously mortgage calculators down below and then getting in contact. But information about the property, the content of the property, the layout is changing. So then you can go to address and you have this box, details, you have the green box, features, You have this right here, and then floor plans where they can still click and see the pictures, right? So that is tabs. You can also go down to tabs vertical, which basically is the same thing, but they're just vertical tabs on the left-hand side. So we'll refresh the page, and then they're going to be tabs over here on the left-hand side. Same thing, features, details, address, and all of that stuff, right? And then we also have luxury homes. Save changes. Let me refresh for you guys. Luxury is kind of cool. I actually kind of like luxury more than all the other options. It basically makes it like this full screen where you scroll through, you have all your features on one side, all the additional features on the other, which you might want to add some more so that it kind of looks symmetrical. But it makes everything kind of full screen, and then you've got the floor plans right here for different floors, which is pretty cool. I kind of like this one a lot, but again, I'm just going to go back to default for now. Now, I haven't tried out all of these. I guess you could try minimal and boxed as well. I'll let you guys just play around with it because all you have to do is just hit save changes and you can undo whatever you just did. So now we're back to default, as you can see. So that's the property content layout right there. Next, we have the property banner active tab. And you're basically just choosing right here, is it image and gallery that's going to be first? Is it the map view 360 or video, for example? Which I don't have any of those three right now, so I'm just going to leave it as image. But again, you guys can just try out what video looks like, go hit save changes, refresh the page, and see if you like having an image displayed first. That's completely up to you guys. But again, I'm just going to stick to the default, which is under image gallery. So next we have Media Tabs Manager, which is basically where you can enable and disable different parts of the information you're viewing or showing. So as you can see, it's image gallery, map, 360 video, image gallery, map, 360 video, and then you also have Street View, which is going to be an option when we have the Google API key set up in a couple steps from now. You can basically choose by dragging and dropping what order they're in, and then you can also disable image, for example, or you can re-enable it and make it on the top. So you can basically just choose what's enabled and what's disabled and in what order they're going to be displayed. Other than that, down below, you just have a bunch of other settings for like how many columns and how many rows and stuff like that. You guys can kind of play around with this if you really want to. I'm going to go ahead and move on just for the sake of keeping the video short, but these are just kind of layout settings again. But you'll notice that we have a ton of different tabs down here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Again, I'm just trying to show you the most important stuff, and then we're going to move on. The stuff that you need to just customize this yourself. Everything else can kind of get advanced, or you can always just Google or look through the documentation, of course. But that being the case, the first three options right here, you'll see it's Layout Manager Default, Layout Manager Tabs, Layout Manager Luxury Homes. You'll notice that when we're looking at the content layout, we have tabs, luxury homes, and default right here. So just a heads up, these three tabs only correlate to whichever one of these three options you select. So if we're on default, for example, we should go to the default tab, just to give you guys a heads up. But again, go back to property detail. If you guys were on tabs, for example, you would go to the tabs page. And then if you guys were on luxury homes and that's what you chose, then you'd want to go to luxury homes. So we'll go back to default, save the changes real fast. I'm going to go into the default tab. And under the default tab, the exact same situation's going on here. We have everything that's being displayed. See, there's the mortgage calculator. I could disable the mortgage calculator and then it wouldn't be visible. I could enable schedule a tour, which actually, let's go ahead and throw that in there. Scheduling a tour. That's another widget that we can put in. Save changes. Let me just show you guys what that does. Refresh the page. And then if I scroll down, now people have the option to schedule a tour with Levi Hagan, who's the realtor. And this will automatically show up in Levi Hagan's dashboard whenever he goes to all of his dashboard right here. But you can say the tour type, I want in-person or video chat. I can select a date, and then I can select a time, as you can see. And then you would put in your information just like a regular contact form and submit. And all that's going to do is just send an email to Levi, and then you can also keep track of it in the board. But it'll send an email to Levi saying what type, date, time, and then all of this information as well. So you can schedule tours as well, which is pretty cool. And that's just by enabling it right here. You can also enable energy class right here. Remember when you're creating a listing, you can add the EP, the kilowatt hours per square meter, I think, or something like that. Save changes. Let's refresh the page. And now, where did I put it? I don't even remember where I put it. Details, features, mortgage calculator, floor plans. Oh, maybe because I left it blank, it's not even there. Where did I put it? Energy class is above schedule tour. Yeah, so I don't even have anything there, so that's why it's blank. If you actually entered in the energy class, it would display. But I think if you guys remember, I left that blank when I created this property. If I click on edit property real fast, I bet I can find it. Let's see, we'll go to energy class. And yeah, so I left everything blank. If I put some information in here, I bet you it would show up, but I'm not going to right now. We'll go back into my property here and we'll click on view the property. There we go. Okay, so that is how you guys can enable and disable certain objects here. And again, the same thing, if you go to the tabs, you can enable and disable as much of these options as you want here. Same with the luxury homes. It's the exact same thing. Just depending on which one you have enabled as your actual primary layout, then you would come in here and decide what you're displaying and what you're not displaying. And of course, you can always move objects around, same thing. You can reorder them however you want. So I'll let you guys kind of play around with that. By the way, if you want to change the times that you can schedule a tour, that's down here. So schedule a tour right here. I'm going to open it on a new tab because we're going to bounce right back in here. Okay, that was a glitch. I'll just click on it then. There we go. So now you can choose the number of days, number of available days to schedule a tour. The default is 14, but you can change it to however many you want. You have the time slots, which is 10 a.m. all the way to 5 p.m. But instead of 10 to 5, maybe you want 9 to 5 or something like that, depending on your hours of operation and your realtor schedules. You would put in each individual option separated by a comma. And that's why whenever you click on select a time, each one of these individual times was inserted by comma separators. So if you guys want to change those times up, you can do so right here. Okay, so now we've talked about the first three and we've talked about schedule tour. Energy class right here is just where you can add colors for each class, depending on obviously in order of A+, A, B, C, all the way down to H. So you guys can put in the colors right here. By default, they go from green to red. So, I mean, I'd leave them there, but if you want them to just all be the same color, you can. I don't know why you would want to do that. Over here, we also have, let's see, show and hide is just another set of enable and disable. For example, if you want to disable status on the individual property page, for some reason, I don't know why you would want to, but if you don't want to show if it's for sale or for rent, you can disable it. If you don't want to show the labels, right, like these labels right up here, you can disable them. If you want to disable the favorite property where it would show a little heart, disable. I'll let you guys kind of play around with this, but you know, there's a bunch of show and hide data. You basically get to decide what you want to show and what you want to hide. A lot of this kind of gets complicated, so we'll probably skip over it for now. Let me know if you guys want a more in-depth tutorial on all of the theme options, because I mean, this could make the tutorial like 5 hours long. But as long as you can decide what you want to display and how you want to display it, I think you're going to be fine. So next, let's go ahead and jump on down to add property. Add property is something that we need to fix our website for right now. So first of all, let's save the changes just in case we made any. So right now, you'll notice that if you go to your dashboard as a client right here, well, I mean, you can actually tell right here because the same options, there's no add listing button. The only way that you can add listings to your website right now is by coming in here and going to the real estate tab as an administrator and adding a property right here. That's the only way so far. I don't know why the Houzez theme doesn't install a create listing page right off the bat, but it doesn't. So before we can change these settings, we actually have to create the page. Don't ask me why they don't do that. I have no clue why they don't have the page already built. So right now we're gonna go to the Pages tab and click on Add New. So let's go to the Pages tab and then click on Add New Page. And we quite literally just have to create a create listing page. I'm not joking. So for example, right now, let me just show you guys. If we go back up to the headers right here, and remember when we said create listing button? If we were to come, oh, it glitched out. Hang on, headers. Let me refresh this page. So create listing button. There we go. Just refreshing the page sometimes fixes it if it doesn't show you the settings you're looking for. Remember when I said you can enable this and then any Joe Schmo can go into your website and create a listing? Well, see this button right here? If I click on it right now, see how nothing happens? Create listing. Nothing happens. It's the weirdest little glitch. It's because there is no page for creating a listing. It's, again, I don't know why that's the case. So let's go ahead and disable this button real fast. And we'll save changes. Well, actually, okay, go back, save the changes, leave it enabled just so you guys can see what happens when you actually create the page. So this is the create listings page. All we have to do is go to the page tab right here, go to template, change it from default template. Look at all these page templates that come with the Houzez theme. Oh my God, there's so many pages. But we're gonna go down here to user dashboard and you'll see right here, create listing. Boom, click on publish, publish again. And just like that, we didn't do anything. All we did was give it a title, chose the template. If you view this page, you'll see that now all of a sudden there's a create listing button. There's a full page for creating all of the listing options right here. And also, if I refresh this page and I click on create listing, now I can create a listing. Again, please don't ask me why they don't have that built by default with the entire demo website, but they don't. So there you go. That's how you fix that problem. We're going to disable this right now and save changes because I don't want that button in my header. Refresh the page. I just wanted to show you that's how you get it to work. When I first downloaded this theme a long time ago, that would always confuse me. So there's your little fix for you. That being the case, let's jump back down to new property. First thing you'll notice right here is add new property mode. It's multi-step or one step. Right now, multi-step means if I click on create a listing, I have to add all this information, click next in the bottom right corner. And then I'd finish the information, click next. And then I'd add some pictures, click next. There's multiple steps involved. If, for example, I change this to one step and say save changes, and I refresh this page, now you'll see there's no next button. It just says submit property, and I can scroll through all of the information that I need to add. It's up to you whether or not you want everything on one page like this, or if you want the next button. That's totally up to you. Personally, I just like the one step. I think it's so much easier to just have everything all in one page, but that's up to you. Completely up to you. So you get to decide. Next on the list, we have new submitted listings approval, edited listings approval, and reactivate listings approval. Basically, it's just asking, do you want to request approval from an administrator on the website anytime this happens, or this happens? So anytime someone adds a new listing to your website, yeah, I'd want to make sure that an administrator can review everything. Basically, by the way, just make sure everything's yes. The reason being is as the administrator, you always want to know and approve everything that goes on your website before it goes live. So anytime someone wants to edit a listing, make sure you approve it. Anytime they want to reactivate a listing, make sure you approve it. So that's what those next three do. I would always have these as yes. I don't really see any time you'd ever want to have them as no, but that's just my personal opinion. You guys can run your website how you'd like. Next, we have multi-agent mode, which basically allows you to assign multiple agents to a specific property. This is just use case. So whether or not you have multiple agents on a single property, then you'd want to enable or disable. Next, we have range values for bedrooms, bathrooms, and rooms. And you'll see right down here the little description below. I keep accidentally highlighting everything when I'm just trying to highlight this, but there we go. It's basically just allowing you to add like 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 4. So again, personal preference, you can enable or disable. After that, we have multi-selection. So if you enable any of these 3, it allows you to add multiple property types to one property, multiple property statuses to a property, and multiple labels to a property. It's pretty self-explanatory. So if you have property types like apartment, home, single family home, luxury villa, all that stuff, you can apply multiple types when you're creating a listing. So instead of just clicking and selecting one, there's going to be a bunch of checkboxes, and I could select apartment, loft, and single family home. You'd have to have a pretty special use case to want to have multiple types or multiple statuses, because this is like for rent or for sale. But you know, if you need that, you can say yes and yes, and that's how you guys do it. All right, so next on the list, we have display drop-down menus. And so as you can see, again, it's going to tell you right here for the property location text field, you would change it from a text field to a drop-down where they can select city, area, state, and country rather than physically having to type it in. So you guys can choose yes or no for that one. After that, you've got the default area prefix, which I have as square feet. So there you go. And then just some extra stuff down below like file sizes. So you guys can play around with your file sizes if you want. Oh, and right here you have the, where is it? The auto generate property ID. So you can enable it, and then as you can see, you can have an auto generate, and then ID right here you would change. So you have the option if you'd want it to automatically generate, or if you just every time you create a property, you generate it yourself. So that's up to you guys. So anyways, save those changes, and then we can move on to the next little sub tab of add new property right here, which is layout manager. Again, it's just rearranging what's being displayed. So right here, you'll see price, description, media, video. You'll see price, description, media, and where's video? That's weird how it's not showing, but property details. Oh, video is probably part of media, and then here's the details down below. You're basically just changing the order in which people would create listings. So if you want media to be first, save the changes, and now whenever someone tries to create a listing, first they have to upload a picture, then they have all of the information down below. So that's completely up to you guys. To be honest, I don't think you really need to change this around, but if you really want to, you can. The more important part is when you're creating a listing, do you want to include things like energy class? Do you want to include things like privacy notes? Those kinds of things. So you can choose what's enabled and disabled. So we'll save those changes. Next, we have show and hide form fields. Again, you basically just get to pick exactly what's going to be shown and what's hidden on your form fields. So, you know, for example, if I wanted to, what's one? So bedrooms, for example. When you're inserting all this information, bedrooms right here under details, if I wanted to hide this for some dumb reason, you could hide bedrooms, for example, by just dragging it over to disabled. But these are all the things that are being displayed. You can also include options, which remember how we included barns, for example, when I created a field in the form builder? You can include barn down here if you want to. Basically just picking what's enabled and what's disabled. So we'll save those changes. After that, you can choose, I believe, add new property form fields. And so basically adding, it's just another checkbox where you can say, oh, do I want to hide city, for example? So there's that for you guys. They have a lot of options for showing and hiding. Next, we have required form fields, which is kind of a nice one. I personally use this quite often. You basically right here get to choose what are required fields when you're creating a new listing. So sale and rent price is required and area size is required. You probably want title to be required, bathrooms, bedrooms, maybe garages, maybe city and state, for example. Click on save changes. So someone can't finish and hit submit property without enabling these required fields. So that's pretty important. Okay, so next, after we finally finish the create or add new property section, we can go on to searches. Now, searches is going to affect how your website search bar works. So if I go back to the website, we're talking about this one right here. There's a lot of duplicate settings inside of these search settings down here that you really don't need to touch because we know how to edit it here inside of Elementor. There's only a few that I'm going to cover that you need to know in the back end. First of all, whenever you have your header search, this is talking about what it looks like when you actually go to your search page. So your search page happens when you click on the search button right here. This is your search page, and you'll see that this search bar is inside of your header. So you can choose how it looks. Right now it looks like this. You can choose this one or you can choose this one right here. They basically look the same. There's just like a different size search button, and the advanced button is kind of mixed in with the go button. Like it's very minimal. But you can disable it if you want, and then it will remove the search bar from the header on your search page, if that makes sense. But I don't see any point in doing that because you want people to be able to search again or change their keyword right after they search something. It would be annoying if the search bar disappeared, so I would definitely leave it enabled. Down below, you just have a bunch of like search layout. Is it boxed or full width? So if I change it to full width, for example, you'll just see that it stretches across the whole page. So I'll refresh this real fast. And I think that looks terrible. I like the boxed a lot more. So these are all just kind of sizing settings down below that you don't really need to worry about too much if you're not planning on trying to change up the demo content too much. So I'll refresh the page and now everything's kind of centered again, which looks a lot better. You can change things like search position and search pages, but what down here is kind of important is you've got the search builder. So as you can see, we have all of these options here. And again, kind of similar to what we did inside of Elementor. When they click on the advanced tab, they have all of these filters that they can use. You basically can choose what's actually going to be displayed and what isn't. And again, it's the same situation as enabling and disabling. So that's kind of the only thing that I would really touch inside of the search bar here. So the half map option is really cool, especially when we select this one. It's going to shove your search bar over to the right-hand side and put a map that has all the pings of all your properties on there, which I think is a really cool option. But what they don't tell you is no matter what, even if you do enable this, it's not going to be visible on your website until you actually turn this setting on, which is in a completely different place. You have to go down to search page results over here, and then under search page results, you have to change it to half map, just like this, and then click on save changes just like that. Now that you have half map enabled, if I refresh my page, it looks completely different, as you can see. I only have one property in Chicago over here and then Example Street in Texas, but it doesn't understand where that is, so that's why it's not displaying here. But now you can see all of the properties as you're looking at them, and as you hover, it's going to show where those properties are, which is kind of cool, which is they're all over here in Los Angeles. But anyways, you get the idea. The half map is a really cool option. They have all of their features where they can search for. They've got the price slider as well that they can look through, and it's going to affect the map, which is really nice. You do have some settings here, so we'll go back into search settings and we'll go to half map. You guys can pick how it looks, which honestly, the whole point is having a half map, so this is what it looks like. But you can scroll on down and change the search builder right here for the half map, which is separate from the regular search builder, but you're basically choosing what the filters look like, so you can enable and disable them as you guys want to. So next we have enable radius search on the half map, and so you can enable like a radius option to say, hey, I want it within 25 miles or something like that. And then after that, you also have the price range slider, which is this guy right here. So if you don't want to have that price range slider, you can disable it here. After that, we have banner search and settings. Doc search and banner search, I'm just going to kind of skip over because I don't think they're very necessary. Banner search is actually outdated, so we're not even going to use that one. But we'll drop down to the settings tab, and this is where you just have a bunch of settings, how the search settings are going to work. And these are basically just adding or removing filters to your search bar. That's pretty much all this is. You've got like your default radius settings, is it kilometers, or do you want to use something else like miles? I don't need to go too deep into these settings here. You'll see that right here, you can also enable like state, city, area drop downs if you wanted to. If you scroll on down, you'll see all of the values that display anytime you click on one of the drop downs. So for example, like if I were going to go like bathrooms, you see it says 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I go over here and find bathrooms, bathrooms right here, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You guys can change these values if you want. So if you want to say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and go up by 2s, for example, you totally could. Same thing for prices. And so you guys can also show like your maximum and minimum prices right here. You guys can change your values if you want to, but for the most part, you don't really need to change these settings that much. Other than that, click on Save Changes and we can move on to that search results page that we were just on a second ago. And the search result page is very easy. First of all, you have to decide if you want normal or the half map. So again, the half map shows the map and it has all your listings down below. So again, anytime someone searches for anything, they go, hey, I want a house in Oak Hill or something like that, and they hit search, which for some reason it's not showing. Oh, because I guess my house isn't in Oak Hill for some reason. But if they search anything or they go off of cities and they hit search, that's what they're going to be met with. If you don't like the half map, you can always just switch back to normal page and then click on Save Changes. Now, when you do normal page, you'll probably recognize that we have the sidebar on the left and the search results on the bottom, right? Or on the side. You can change the order if you want the sidebar on the right, for example, or if you want it full screen. So you could do, full screen, for example, refresh the page, and then it just looks like this. And then on top of that, you can also do property layouts. So you've got list view and grid view, and there's version 1 and version 2. If you do grid view, for example, save changes, instead of looking like a list like this, it just changes it to grid with tiles. So something like this, which actually I think the grid view looks a little bit better. So I'm probably going to stick to this one. And then down below, it's just the default order and number of listings. All right. So next we're going to talk about the listing options right down here. So when you click on listing options, basically all this is just another show, hide, enable, disable section. So whenever you're showing listings, so for example, all of these listings down below, you'll see that you can remove the compare button right here. So enable, disable, you've got the add to favorite, enable, disable, preview button, enable, disable. That's all of this stuff. So do you want to enable or disable this button, or this button, right? Because that's compare, favorite, and preview. And there's compare, favorite, and preview. Do you want to enable or disable the address that gets displayed? So the little address that's right here. Do you want to show the agent name, the property date, details button? The agent name is right here, the date right here, the property details button right here. You're basically choosing how these listing tiles are going to be displayed, and you have your enable and disables right here. Next, under Composer, you have some further settings of these tiles right here. So these little icons right here are what these are. So the listing meta composer, I don't know what's called meta composer. They could have just said icons, because here's your icons right here, just to make things simpler for you. But you have bedroom, bathroom, garage area, and you'll see it's bedroom, bathroom, garage area right here. So you can just enable or disable whichever icons you want, and you can also rearrange them. So like if you for some reason wanted bathrooms in front of the bedrooms, for example, you could refresh the page and you'll see that now bathroom is before bedroom. It's completely up to you what you want to display right here. Oops, I'll put bedrooms back on top and click on Save Changes. It's completely up to you, your order of operations there, but I just wanted to show you that's where you have some settings for the listings right here. So next, let's move over to taxonomies, and we are only about halfway through all these settings, so bear with me. But again, we're going to skip over some, move through others kind of fast. We're going as fast as we can, so I know this is a lot, just try and stick with me. So now we have taxonomies and layout right here. So basically, anytime someone clicks on a taxonomy, so one of these options right here, so it's basically categories. You see taxonomy, just think categories. Whenever someone clicks on, for example, if this wants to open, and there we go. If they want to click on one of these categories, where is it? Where it says city, state, and all of that stuff. Well, this is a type. That's a taxonomy. Features are kind of technically taxonomies, but let's just say villas, for example. Whenever someone clicks on villa, which is one of the taxonomies, which is, where is it? Type. Right here. So type is what we used. You can also go by for sale status. So again, if I clicked on it, you can go by for sale. This is another taxonomy. It's like a category page. If you want to go by country, city, state, features, for example, so I could click here and go by a feature, which is down below. Here we go. I could click on like air conditioning. This is a taxonomy page. So any category page is a taxonomy page. Anytime they click on this, do you want the sidebar on the left, the right, or no sidebar? So right now it's on the left, as you can see. You can also change some other settings down below, whether you want this to be grid view or list view. It kind of takes from the same as all the others. So it's grid view because my listings page is grid view. And you'll remember a second ago that we actually selected that. And then after that, you also have things like default order and the number of listings that you want to show, which honestly, you don't really need to change. But I just wanted to show you, you can change the layout of even these individual taxonomy pages. Okay, so next we have contact forms. And under contact forms, you just want to make sure that your agent form type is using the Houzez contact forms, because these are the contact forms that come default with the Houzez theme. And that's what's going to allow you to have every single contact form on your website. And they're all over the place. I don't know if you've noticed, obviously on the contact page, you have the main contact form. Anytime you look at a property and you have a little contact form to get in contact with your real estate agent, that's another one of the Houzez forms that's built with the demo content. So just make sure that you have this one selected. After that, you can basically just enable or disable which contact forms you want on your website. So for example, if you don't want that agent form, or is it agent profile page form right here, you could disable it and then it wouldn't appear on your listings. And you guys can pick which ones you don't want to show. And then you also have like view listings button, phone number, mobile number, and WhatsApp. You can disable if you don't want those to be visible on specific contact forms. You guys can always kind of click around and see which ones you like the best, but this is where you can kind of customize which forms go where. Okay, so next after that, we're going to skip webhooks and go over to Google reCAPTCHA. Google reCAPTCHA is a great thing to have on your website. It's going to reduce the spam on your contact forms, so I would strongly recommend doing this. So you've got just one option, reCAPTCHA. You're going to enable it. You have to go to this link, choose which version, and then put in your site key and secret key. It's super easy to do. Let's go ahead and just do it right now, and I'll go kind of fast. We're gonna open up this link on a new tab. I'll throw it way out here. Inside of your Google account, it's gonna ask for a label to kind of label this website, which is actually your URL. So let's go ahead and just pull that from our homepage really fast. And I'm too lazy to type it, so I'm just gonna copy it right here. Control-Alt, Control-C, and we're gonna paste it right here. It's going to ask if you want version 3 or version 2, which is a score or a challenge. I'll just leave it on the default. It's going to ask for your domain name, which is basically this. Oops, not that. This, and we're going to put www. In front of it. So that's the domain name. And then for your platform, you can change the project name. You could say that this is CAPW Real Estate, for example. Just like that. And we could click on Submit. All right, so first, all you have to do is click on the blue button for the site key. And you're going to go ahead and paste it under site key right here. We're going to go back and copy the secret key and paste the secret key right here. It's literally that easy. And once you're done, click on Save Changes and you're done. So now you'll go back to your website. We can refresh the page. We can go to the contact form and reCAPTCHA is enabled. And we made sure that it was V3, which we're using V3, yes? So actually I need to change that to V3. Let me go back. Change it to V3 and click on Save. There we go. And now let's refresh our page again. And there we go. This is what I was looking for, was the protected by reCAPTCHA. So now we're good to go. It should show on the homepage as well. Yeah. So it's protected by reCAPTCHA right here. So very important to do. When you select V3 on your reCAPTCHA, just make sure you also select V3 right here, because I guess by default it has V2. So just make sure you do that. But anyways, that is how you guys can enable reCAPTCHA on your website to reduce spam. And that is a huge deal. I'd make sure that you guys have that on your website. After that, we have the membership tab right here, which is where you can kind of change whether you want it to enable a paid submission or not, and expiring for memberships and stuff like that. You don't really have to make too many changes here, but if you plan on having members, I can do another video on the membership tab. After that, we can go all the way down to, let's talk about email management. So email management is another one of those important settings that you want to make sure that you change. This is the information that people are going to see whenever you submit to purchase a property or contact an agent or something like that. Obviously, you're going to basically be structuring your entire email. So you've got the email header right here, email footer, and then also all of the social links. Anytime an email comes out of your website, this is the information that's going to be displayed. So first of all, you can upload your own logo. So when you decide to create a logo for your website, you'll just upload that logo and you can select it from your media library. So you'll upload your logo right here. You can select the header background color, which you probably just want to match your website color or your company color. And then down below, you have the email footer. This is where you can actually put in some content right here if you want to. You can change the background color and then you can just enable and disable it. And then down below you have all of your social media icons. And so if you have a link for that icon, you will upload the logo for the icon, because I guess they don't know if you're Facebook, Google, or anything like that. They don't have preset templates. So upload the logo. You might have to go online and get it. And then you enter in your link to that profile right here. But you might want to change the logo, which is the demo logo from Houzez. You want to change that to your business logo. Otherwise people are going to be confused as to why they're getting emails from from Houzez. But anyways, that is your email management for now. Let's talk about, we're going to skip banner slide because that's kind of useless as well. We'll talk about the 404 page. The 404 page happens anytime you accidentally visit an incorrect page on your website. So for example, if I just put some jumbled mess behind this, oh no, the page is not found. We're sorry. You can try to go back to the home page right here. You click that link, takes you back to the home page. That basically just happens anytime you have some kind of an error, or they go to a broken page, or maybe on the back end, you made a change and it ruined that page. It happens. This is where you can change the text that displays. So instead of saying uh-oh or uh-oh, page not found, you can right here change the text to say something else. So you could just say page not found instead of uh-oh, for example. Save the changes. And then you'll see that whenever we refresh the page, it just says, page not found, please go back to the home page. And you guys can change the text right here. Make sure you save those changes and then we can move on. Next, we have the footer, which is kind of important. The footer of your website, let me show you guys, is down here. You have different versions of it. So if you look over here, we've got version 4 by default. We can go to version 1, for example, just to show you guys what it looks like. We'll refresh the page. Well, we're on page not found. I might as well just go back to the home page. Scroll down to the bottom. This is version 2 or version 1, I think is what I'm on right now. We could go to version 2, version 3, version 4. It doesn't really matter. This is where you can also upload your logo right down below version 2. When you upload your logo on your website, it will display right here. So that'll make it a little bit more personalized rather than having the Houzez logo right here. But anyways, you also get to choose your layout. So whether you want full screen, a sidebar on the left, menus on the left and right, menus on just the left, 2 of them, or if you want 4 menus like this, or 4 columns, I guess. You're basically choosing the number of columns. So if you want to go with like the 4, for example, click on Save Changes. We go back and refresh the page. And now you can see that everything was set into these 4 columns, which there's nothing in the 4th column right here. So you guys can play around with how you want your footer to look based on version and footer layout. But you'll want to make sure that you upload your logo to it. You're going to want to make sure that you change the Houzez theme copyright and change it to your own copyright right here. And then after that, you can just enter in all of your social profiles like Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, and those are all the ones that are going to pop up down here. Okay, I think lastly, the only thing we have to talk about is optimizations. Personally, I don't think you need to enable any of these. Actually, I'd strongly recommend you don't enable any of these. Instead, I would recommend using a plugin that's built for it rather than just having, you know, this plugin do it for you or this theme do it for you. Combining JS scripts, so like that's JavaScript. This is CSS styles. You can minify your code on your website. Just keep in mind, if you do enable one of these 2 options, minifying your code, sometimes it can break objects on your website. That's kind of just a common thing. So you want to turn it on and then go check out your website, go interact with everything. And if it didn't break anything, then you're fine. I have a video that's dedicated to speeding up your website, and it's on the channel. You guys can go check that out. And I talk in depth what all of this means, but I recommend getting a plugin that's built for it rather than just using these. So that being the case, I wanted to show you that you do have some optimization settings in here, and you can try enabling each one of these and just double check that your website works. But I would recommend using a plugin, for example, like Lightspeed Cache, which comes by default with Hostinger. So if you guys followed along with me and you guys got your website through Hostinger, you guys will have the Lightspeed Cache plugin, which the Lightspeed Cache plugin, I deactivated it so that every time I refresh my page, the changes happen. Whenever you have a caching plugin, it changes whenever you refresh, you're refreshing from a cached file. So that's the only reason that it's deactivated. But you'd want to install a plugin like this because they're kind of tried and true. They're proven to do a very good job of speeding up your website with all of those settings. And I actually have videos that talk about Lightspeed Cache as well. So if you guys are interested in those, you can go check out the channel. So I would just personally recommend using a plugin rather than doing any of these. But that is all of the theme options for today. So we can go ahead and close out of that and go back to our WordPress dashboard. And I'll also just make sure we're on the home page here. Well, we'll just go back to the dashboard and call it. All right, friends, on this 3rd part of chapter 2, I'm going to show you guys how to create web-related items that you want to add to the site, like pages, users, new links, and navigation menus and all of that stuff. First, let's talk about how to add pages to your website. All right, so in order to add a page to your website, it's incredibly simple, and we actually just did it in the last step for the create a listing button because you have to. Super simple. Just go to pages and you can click on add new page, or you can go to the pages tab and just like every other page inside of your WordPress dashboard, if you want to add a new item, it's going to be in the top left corner right here. Click on add new page. From here, we get to create the page. And so either you're going to create a default template page for, you know, if you're going to add to this template, which I would recommend you kind of be a little bit more of an intermediate if you're going to start building a bunch more template pages. I just wanted to show you guys that to kind of fix your website. But other than that, if you guys were on your website, for example, let me go ahead and open this up, and you guys wanted to add a services page, for example, or maybe an about page. Well, there's already an about page. So let's just talk about a services page, for example. You would go ahead and title the page services. And then after that, instead of default template, we're going to change default template to Elementor full width, just like this. And now we're using Elementor to build the website page instead of using the Houzez theme. So we would click on publish to save our work and publish again. All right. And so now you can either view the page and click on edit with Elementor, or you can just click on edit with Elementor right here. And now this is how you can create a page from scratch inside of your website. And you'll notice here's the header, and here's the footer, and there's like nothing in the middle. This is how you would literally create a page from scratch. And I'm not gonna go through Elementor again, but you would create a section here, and let's just create a hero section, just for an example. We'll put a heading text, and we'll also put in a button, and then let's go ahead and duplicate this and make a subtitle. Services, we'll center it really fast. We can increase the size, and then we can go to the subtitle, reduce the size, so something like this. We can make it uppercase, and we can increase the letter spacing, you know, something like this, center the text as well. And then we can add our button right here as well, which I'm honestly just gonna center just to show you guys. We're gonna be very lazy about this page. Edit the container, and I'm gonna make a max like this. We'll center the content in the middle. We can add an image into the background. This is me just kind of throwing this together, by the way. You really don't need to follow along. Again, I'm just showing you how to create a page. And let's go ahead and add a background overlay of white. Just like this. This is the services page. Okay, so let's pretend you just built an entire page inside of Elementor, which again, the reason I went so fast is because I don't want you to follow along with me. I just wanted to show you how to create a page, not how to use Elementor to build an entirely new page with all these different widgets. Once you're done, you click on publish to save your work, and that's it. You close back out of Elementor. And now, if you go to createaprowebsite.com/services, you'll be taken to that services page that you just created, right? But that's not how people usually go to pages on a website. They don't go up here and just instinctively know that there's a services page and type in /services on the back of your URL. Right? Normally, they go up to the navigation tab up here, or the navigation menu. So next, I'm going to show you guys how to add this new page that you just created to your navigation bar. But I just wanted to show you guys the page is live on my website. It's just not up here in the navigation bar. And also, if I were to go to my pages tab to see all of my pages, you'll see the services page is right here. And so it is created, it's live, you just created a new page. So next, we'll talk about how to add it to the navigation bar. Now that you've added your new page to your website, let's make sure that we add it to the navigation menu at the top of your website as well so that people can actually access it. Okay, so in order to make sure that we can actually access that services page, we have to add it to our navigation menu up on top. Now, there's really two ways of getting to the same place, but the first thing that we're gonna do is just go to the appearance tab right here, and we'll click on menus right here, and we can open it up on a new tab. And you'll see that we have, let me go ahead and close this up, we have a bunch of different menus right here. All right, so don't get too overwhelmed looking at all of this just yet. Focus on this top bar right here. First of all, we're editing the wrong menu. We need to edit the main menu first. When we click on the main menu, you'll see, sorry, we have to click select. I forgot, it's really weird. First select the main menu, then select the main menu. Once you do, you'll see all the same options that appear in our actual navigation menu up on top. So you'll see we have home, about, for rent, sale, agents, blog, contact. And we have home, about, rent, sale, agents, blog, contact, right? We can rearrange our navigation menu. So for example, if I want home to be at the very back of my navigation menu, I can save right here by clicking on save, refresh the page, and now you'll see home is way back here on the end. Right? So we can totally rearrange our menu however we want. We can also make sub-menu items by just dragging to the right like this. And you'll see it says sub-item. So now home has a sub-item and it's called about us. I can click on save right here, refresh the page, and now you'll see home has a drop-down and about us is a sub-item, right? Very simple. Drag it back to the left, and now it's a main menu item. Click on save just to make sure that's good. Okay, next what we can do is we can go over here to the left-hand side. This is the menu. This is where we can add items to the menu. And so we can add 4 different types of objects to the menu. We can go to categories, which are like your blog post categories. We can add a custom link where we add like a URL. So I could like add YouTube, for example, and then I could put in the word YouTube. And so then you would see YouTube up here and you could click on it and it would take you to the YouTube website. You could add a custom link. You could add posts like your blog posts. So I could add one of my blog posts to the navigation navigation menu, or you can add pages. If you click on pages, you'll see services page that we just created is right here. You can click on it and say add to menu, and now I have my services page right here. Save the menu. And so now, for example, we're on the home page. Oh, gotta refresh the page first. There we go. Go to the home page. And so now you'll see from the navigation menu, there's services right there. Click on it, and now people can visit the new page that I just created. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that page though, because I don't want it on my website. So we'll go over here to pages, and this is how you delete a page. You go over here to the page you want to delete and click on trash. And then you go to trash and you can permanently delete the page, just like this. And so now that we've done that though, you'll probably notice, okay, so it automatically removes it from the menu, but it's not gonna automatically remove it from down here. So we're gonna go back into menus under the appearance tab, and you'll see, well, no, it did automatically remove it. That's nice. Sometimes it doesn't automatically remove it, I've noticed after building websites for years. So sometimes you have to come in here and you click on the menu item that you wanna delete, and you can say, well, hang on, hit the drop down. There we go. And then you can say remove right here. So that's how you would remove an item if the services item was still here, even though the page was gone. But anyways, it doesn't look like we have to make a change. So we can just click on save and go back to our WordPress dashboard. All right, so now that you know how to add new pages to your website and link them to your navigation menu, let's talk about how to add new users to your WordPress website account. Now, this isn't the same thing as adding agents who are visible on the website. Rather, we're going to be creating additional WordPress accounts to allow those realtors or agents to create listings and modify other listings. Now, it is incredibly easy to add a new user, and we actually already did it a little while ago, but I'm just going to do it again for you. We go over here to the users tab in our WordPress dashboard, and from here, we're going to click on add new user. But before we do, I'm just going to show you a list of all of the users on your website. Same if you click on pages, same if you click on posts. Whenever you click on posts or pages, you see a list of all of the pages or posts on your website. So when you click on users, you see a list of all the users on your website. I only have the one right now, and it's my admin account, correct? So next, what we're going to do is click on add new user. Now you're going to have to be required to add a username and an email, and then everything else is optional. The only thing that I usually don't do is just website right here. But for username, let's just create a username. Let's just say we're creating an account for a new agent, and it's going to be Levi Hagen, the agent that we created earlier inside of the website. So maybe I would say Levi Hagen is the username. The email, we'll just say, let's just use example@email.com. So now we have the email ready to go, and each account can only have one email. You can't have duplicate emails. So next we have the first and last name. So I can just put Levi, and then we'll put Hagen. I usually skip website, and then you can either generate a password, which this is one of the generated ones, or you can create an easy password for them, just like this, for example. And then you can send them a new email. And then when they log in with this easy password, they can change the password to be something for them. That's usually what I'll do, is I'll create an account with some easy password like this or some dumb password. I always make sure I have this box checked that says it's going to send this email, an email saying, hey, you just got a new password and a new login credential. Go change your password. So that way they can type this in and then they'll get, a better password. Whenever you have a weak password like this, it's going to ask, are you sure you want to use a weak password? If I made this a lot more complicated, you'll notice that little check mark goes away. So it's just like a little checkbox saying, hey, are you sure that's a really bad password? You can say confirm, and then you would click on add new user. Now, here's the deal. You also get to choose the role, and this is the most important part of adding a user. When you click here, you can choose what they are. And each one of these rules or roles is programmed to specifically have specific rights to different parts of your website. So if you create a subscriber, basically the only thing they can do is just view your website. If you create an editor, they can create posts and edit posts. If you create an author, they can create posts, edit posts. And I think they can edit posts of other authors as well or something like that. Or no, I think editor is the one that does that. If you create an agent, they're going to have access to the CRM board where they can actually create listings and view all their information. So for example, we're creating Levi Hagen as an agent. We should probably make him an agent right here. You can make an agency account as well. And this is just a WordPress account. So it's basically just a login for the back end of your website. And then you can also make an administrator. So for example, if you have a website tech and you want him to also have the exact same rights as you, or maybe you have a partner and you want him to have the exact same rights as you or whatever you want, you can also create another administrator who has the authority to delete other administrators and do anything to the website they want. So be careful who you make admin, but there you go. You can make them if you want. So once you select the role and you have all the information filled out, you click on add new user and you're done. It'll email them automatically saying, hey, here's your new login. And then they can log in whenever they want and they'll have a different login than you, obviously. Now, just a heads up, you can also add and delete, right? So if I want to remove a user, I can delete the user right here. And then you can also send a password password reset. So if, for example, Levi the agent says, hey, I forgot my password, you can send an email to his email with a password reset function. But if you want to remove a user, you just click on delete right here. It's going to ask, hey, are you sure? And you say confirm deletion, and that's it. That's how you can remove users from your website. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is integrate Google Maps into your website. The Houzez theme comes with these really cool Google Map widgets where you can have little pins display where your properties are on that interactable map, and it's the coolest thing ever. Now, in order to get that to work, we have to go to Google Maps and connect that widget with API keys. So let me show you guys how to do that right now. All right, so setting up your Google is super easy. We're gonna go back into our theme options right here. You'll hover your mouse over it and then click on Map Settings. So if you guys remember a little while ago when we were doing our theme options, we were going through each of these tabs, and then map settings, I was telling you guys this is where you guys can choose between your OpenStreetMap, Mapbox, and Google. OpenStreetMap and Mapbox, I think Mapbox is free. OpenStreetMap is free. Mapbox I think is free. All you gotta do is create a free account and then you can hook it up. But Google's kind of the big dog here, so I'm gonna show you guys how to set up Google. And it's really easy. All we need is a Google API key right here, as you can see. So I'm gonna show you guys how to create a Google API key and then how to link it to your website. Now you do have to have a credit card, so be ready because Google Maps API keys aren't free, but we'll move on here. I'm going to click on the little link right here. So you can get it from here is your API console key. So click on here. It's going to open up a new tab and instantly throw you into your developer tab for the Maps platform. From here, just click on get started in the top right corner. And then once everything loads, you're gonna have to create an account with Google and also have a credit card attached to your account, which they're like before you can even get to this page, because I'm already logged in, by the way, before you can even get to this page. But because I'm logged in, it sends me straight to this page. But you guys will have to log in. It's immediately gonna ask for you to insert a credit card so that you can have it hooked up to the account. And then you'll be taken to your dashboard like this. It's super easy to log in and attach your account. So once you're on this page, what you're gonna do is go over to the API keys over here. You're gonna have to create a project, which by default, it should create a project for you, but if not, you can just click on new project right here. And it's gonna ask you what kind. You have to add your billing account, which you should have created a second ago when it forced you to add your credit card. And then you can also create your organization, which right now I've got no organization selected, and you would say create. But I'm gonna cancel that because off camera, I already created the project. I just called it my Maps project for now. But once you create your Maps project, we're gonna go over here to the API and services, and we're gonna click on Maps right here. And what we're looking for is JavaScript API. That's it. You just wanna make sure that it's enabled. And if it isn't, you'll see a blue button right here. You just click on enable and it's good to go. But as you can tell, I've already used this for a couple other YouTube video tutorials on how to add maps to your websites. So it's already enabled. But anyways, that being the case, we'll go over here to keys and credentials. And then from keys and credentials, all you have to do is click on create credentials up here in the top. We're going to create an API key and it's going to do it for us. So it's creating the key and then any second now it'll be done. And that's it. So we've got the API key right here. You can just click on the little copy to clipboard button just like this, and we can close that, go back into our website, and then we'll paste it right here. And that's it. Now we have Google Maps API key pasted into our website, so we're good to go. We can click on Save Changes, and then we can go and preview our website. And then everywhere where there's maps, it's now going to use Google Maps for your API key. All right, you now have a fully functioning real estate website at your fingertips. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Currently, you have to manually install new listings to your website one by one. It's going to be you adding in all of those fields. If you want to learn how to integrate IDX software into your website so that you can automatically import MLS listings at the click of a button, let me know down in the comments and I can create a new tutorial to show you guys how to do that. For now though, you at least have a real estate website ready to go. But if you are interested, definitely leave some comments down in the description because I'm checking them all the time and I can make a new tutorial on MLS software. So I'll see you guys in the next video.